Let's dive into a story where Ikoma wakes up on the brink of madness, trapped at home after being kicked out for having a thief class. It was unbelievable. While his old teammates soaked up all the glory, he was the only failure left behind in the dirt. Suddenly, a monster alert blared. Ikoma thought he actually stood a chance, but he got wrecked by a single, devastating blow. But then, he activated his class ability and snatched a legendary item, the Divine Pocket Watch. It gave him the choice to travel 10 years back in time, and naturally, Ikoma took the leap. Armed with a legendary class, he slaughters monsters, clears dungeons, and outpaces every single student in the academy. The scene shifts to a terrified man who can't believe what his companion just muttered. He thought it had to be a joke. They started this team together and finally reached S-rank status. He simply couldn't understand why this was happening to him. Staring him down grimly, his companion made it clear he would repeat the harsh truth one more time. Then, the man barked out his name, Ikoma Ichinose. To his horror, they officially booted him from the glorious sword team. 15 years earlier, mysterious portals began tearing through the world. These portals were gateways to supernatural realms, unleashing terrifying monsters that began flooding into our reality. Meanwhile, some people started awakening game-like abilities and levels, giving humanity a real fighting chance. These awakened individuals were sent to shut down the portals. The world called them hunters. Someone was deciphering a strange, foreign script, while simultaneously logging into his newly awakened system. Hunters can choose any class they want, but mages have slow casting times and are notoriously hard to master, which leads to high mortality rates. Our protagonist was torn on which path to take. He ultimately chose the rogue class for its high agility, prioritizing quick experience gains and getting stronger fast. His plan worked perfectly. He racked up massive experience, eventually becoming a high-level hunter, famously known as the Swift Blade. The portals kept bringing more ruin to the world. Suddenly, a pair of magnificent wings appeared. It was a massive monster that looked exactly like a griffin. He fought on the front lines to protect the entire world, truly believing he would be a hero forever. Now, pay attention here, because his leader just demanded he leave the group immediately. Ikoma was stunned, asking why. But the leader had zero patience left for his questions. The monsters were evolving and getting stronger, making his teammates' attacks completely useless against them. To make things worse, he was a terrible support player. Ikoma clenched his fist, fighting back his rage. His leader claimed that while rogues were once fast, those days were over. He argued that nobody picks rogues anymore, because even low-level mages can deal way more damage. Even worse, the guild stripped his S-rank status, supposedly to keep Ikoma from getting himself killed inside those high-level portals. Ikoma tried to plead his case, admitting he knew he had flaws. He pointed out how he risked his life for the team, claiming that nobody else could distract or poison monsters as well as he could. They locked eyes for a tense moment, until the leader noted that at least Ikoma wasn't giving up yet, telling him to continue. Ikoma asked for clarification, but his companion just flashed a smug smile and walked right past him. You and I both know that look, he was officially out. The leader walked away, leaving Ikoma standing there, completely paralyzed. Ikoma stood frozen, unable to process the betrayal that just went down. Later on, we see him in a room overflowing with empty bottles, trash, and cigarette butts. He was in tears, slumped on the floor with a lighter in his hand, when suddenly, something unusual caught his eye. He confessed that being a hunter was his entire life. He thought his hard work would eventually be recognized. He watched the ash drop from his cigarette, realizing this pathetic moment was his only reward for everything. He remembered always feeling like he wasn't good enough, which is why he spent every cent of his own money on gear. Now, he was completely broke. Having lost his S-rank status, he couldn't even enter high-level portals anymore. Suddenly, a notification popped up on his phone. The glorious sword team had just completed a massive expedition over in China. They successfully cleared the Taudi Palace, a portal that the entire world considered impossible to beat. While the whole world celebrated their victory, our protagonist sat there, completely frozen by the news. He stared at the live chat buzzing about the event. And trust me, you and I are watching a man at his breaking point as he smashes his phone after being called dead weight. He wondered why he even became a rogue. If he sold his gear, he knew he would at least survive. But it was not simple. Stick with me, we are about to watch his world fall apart. He screamed through tears, shouting about how he sacrificed everything for them. Collapsing, he realized he had nothing left. Suddenly, his phone buzzed with an alert. One look, and our hero was completely stunned. An S-rank monster appeared in Tokyo's Mima ward. The emergency evacuation order was sent out, making him extremely nervous. After all, the elite glorious sword team was currently out of the country. 0 hunters in the area could stop a beast like that. He was no different since he could not do anything alone either. But his eyes landed on his gear. Even while terrified, he knew he had to try something. Luckily, he had not sold his gear yet. Pay attention, this armored beast is the monster that changes his destiny forever. This was Kronos, the space-time dragon. A legendary being far more terrifying than anything he had ever imagined. Ikoma told himself that this would at least be a glorious end to his career as a hunter. Despite his fear, he declared it was time for their final battle. The dragon roared, causing massive stone fragments to rise. Charging forward, he reminded himself he was a hunter. He needed to buy time for the evacuation and the others to arrive. He leaped to attack. Kronos charged right back at its enemy, preparing for a devastating strike. Terrified, he realized the dragon was incredibly fast. His dagger was instantly shattered into pieces. He desperately tried to dodge the follow-up attack. He barely succeeded, but then, a massive explosion erupted behind him. He stared in shock at that power as the dragon roared at the helpless man. Ikoma knew deep down he would die if he stepped any closer. He pulled out his double-bladed scythe, Hydra, but it did not leave a single scratch. Panic set in when he realized it was immune to poison. Suddenly, Kronos launched another vicious claw attack. Using his speed, Ikoma managed a narrow escape. He admitted to himself that winning this way was completely impossible. He would be dead already if he was not a rogue. Now cornered with nowhere to run, this was his only shot. He grabbed a bladed rope and began to spin it. With one desperate move, he threw it at his enemy. This was the Klepto Claw, used to steal items from targets. He hoped this monster had something powerful inside that could give him a real fighting chance. His eye gleamed as those massive claws swung directly toward him. The slash was so powerful it completely pulverized his equipment. Wounded and bleeding, he just laughed, accepting this was the end. Lying in the rubble and soaked in blood, he wondered if his life was over. With his eyes rolling back in agony, he could barely see a thing. After a lifetime of saving others, he could not believe this was how it all ended. He declared he would give anything just to start over again. He felt something in his hand and grew confused. The Klepto Claw had actually managed to steal something. You see that, right? He just stole the divine pocket watch, an epic item that can rewind time 10 years. He was stunned, questioning if he really had the power to go back 10 years. Still writhing in pain, he asked if it would truly work. He saw the dragon coming back to finish him. Ikoma felt hopeless as the blow approached. He realized he did not have any more time to second guess. Using his last bit of strength, he squeezed the watch and shouted that he wanted to return to the past. The massive paw was closing in on him. A claw finally pierced his chest. He felt his consciousness fade away into the darkness. Suddenly, loud noises woke him up. Opening his eyes, he realized he was on the floor by his bed. His alarm clock showed the date was now the year 2030, a Friday, at 8 a.m. Flustered, he complained and wondered if he was just dreaming. He opened his window curtains, and the former S-rank hunter was completely shocked by the view. Looking at his phone, he saw it was the calendar from exactly 10 years ago. He remembered the divine watch and checked his status. To his surprise, his class had not been set yet. Realizing he had truly traveled back in time, a slight smile finally spread across our hero's face. And that is where we leave it, with a legend about to be rewritten as the strongest hunter ever. A reporter was announcing deaths, warning that service entry into the portals had to be strictly restricted. He watched the video while brushing his teeth. Another man warned that monster numbers and strength increased every year. Alright, you and I are watching a world where the powerless are just casualties. Ikoma says the watch truly sent him back 10 years, an impossible fact people eventually stopped debating. Everyone just had to learn to protect themselves. Knowing the future is a massive cheat code since only he knows where the best items and experience points are hidden. Still, his first priority is picking a class, which requires reaching level 10. Low-level portals for classless hunters are rare, so the guild strictly regulates all uncleared dungeons. He is currently grinding in an F-rank goblin den, hoping to reach level 6 soon. Another hunter starts slaying goblins right beside him. The man laughs and asks if Ikoma is okay, but our main character is just confused. He warns that the kid cannot solo this place because goblins are dangerous in a pack. With a friendly smile, he says his name is Kenji, a level 16 hunter with a massive sword who protects rookies from getting killed, so everyone calls him the tutorial guy. Ikoma silently thinks this guy must have way too much free time. Kenji explains that, since hunters never really retire, this is actually a pretty solid income source. But wait for it, our guy finally hits level 10. Trust me, you are going to want to see this. The system confirms his level up and grants him 2 skill points. Kenji starts slapping the boy on the back, celebrating that he finally reached level 10. While Ikoma thanks him, he realizes that keeping this pace up could make him famous. While the boy dreams of reaching S rank, Kenji explains he can finally pick a class and offers his expert help if he ever needs advice on his future. Every class offers unique abilities that can only be acquired by spending skill points. The old man suggests becoming a swordsman or even a rogue since the kid is so agile. He is confused why the boy has not picked yet and asks if he knows the system. He wonders if anyone told the kid to take mandatory skills like light steps and fortitude first. These skills are vital for boosting physical attributes. Beginners need them because most starting hunters have absolutely no way to defend themselves. But Ikoma wants to be the strongest ever, so he refuses to waste points on basics. Watch closely here, because Kenji thinks this is a huge mistake. But we know better, right? He claims that wasting points on fall damage resistance is just completely useless. The system confirms he has acquired fall damage resistance. Kenji asks if he is afraid of heights and begs him to be more careful next time. Ikoma ignores him and dumps another 25 points into the skill to reach level 3. He is devastated that the kid wasted everything on fall resistance. He thinks the boy is stuck as a swordsman, but Ikoma knows another secret path. Shocked, Ikoma picks the Gravity Master class. This hidden class only appears if you dump every single starting point into fall resistance. For the longest time, nobody knew it existed because the requirement is so insane. Gravity manipulation is notoriously difficult, but Ikoma was once a top-tier S-rank hunter. He knows this is the ultimate class, but Kenji is screaming for him to stop. He begs Ikoma to switch back to swordsman, but the boy is completely locked in. The notification confirms he now possesses gravitational magic and the power to manipulate reality. Knowing he succeeded, the main character starts celebrating his new life as a mage. This time, he will reach S rank and never suffer that same humiliation again. Kenji is visibly sweating as he tries to explain that mages are not that good. He warns that mages are vulnerable glass cannons with a much higher mortality rate. He suggests the boy quit being a hunter. Everyone doubts the mage class, but you and I know he is going to be legendary. Alright, you and I are dropping right into chaos as a level 17 Red Hood Goblin spawns out of nowhere. Terrified, the hunter can't believe such a high-level beast is stalking these low-level grounds. The monster targets a female hunter, forcing Kenji to scramble and help her get away. He admits he just doesn't have the guts to face stronger monsters, which is why he never leaves this zone. But everyone else is level 10 or lower, leaving them totally defenseless. With nobody left to stop this thing, his mind flashes to our protagonist in a panic. He charges in with his blade, shouting that he'll handle the goblin, even if he's shocked a Red Hood is here. In his head, he figures Kenji should be able to take this monster down at his current level. But Kenji is just stuck on defense while the goblin shreds him. Aoma realizes the old man has zero experience fighting anything stronger than himself. The old guy starts screaming for help, begging for any hunter level 15 or higher to step in. People point out Kenji is level 16, but he yells back that he can't face something above his rank. Aoma knows he should probably stay back. After all, this beast is way out of his league. He can barely even track its movements, and one single hit would mean instant death for him. His Gravity Master stats are garbage, and he barely knows his skills, but he remembers Kenji helping him and feels a surge of worry. He can't just let a good guy like Kenji die. Now, pay attention, because this is where Aoma decides to take a massive gamble. He's going to see if he can smash through his class's biggest weakness, even if he's terrified. Kenji warns him his level is way too low. Mages are glass cannons in close combat, and a monster this fast could end him in the blink of an eye. Tuning out the warnings, our hero calls out directly to the Red Hood. The frenzied beast glares at him as the boy announces he's using this monster to test his Gravity Master powers. He truly believes this is the ultimate class, and he won't waste his second chance at life by running from something this weak. As he lunges forward, he tells himself there was no point in picking this class if he couldn't handle this. Kenji screams for him to run just as the goblin draws its blade and targets the rookie. The biggest downside to being a mage is having trash, physical stats, and needing protection. But this guy, he's built different. See, as a Gravity Master, he can actually manipulate his own attributes for a temporary boost. He uses his manipulation to slice gravity in half, allowing him to effortlessly zip past the goblin's strike. Kenji is stunned by his speed. You and I can see exactly what's happening. His skill is basically supercharging his movement by having gravity's pull. The catch is he can only move in straight lines, but that's not an issue if he can predict the enemy's path. The monster swings again with everything it has, but Aoma dances right around it once more. He's fought thousands of monsters before using nothing but his old rogue speed. Now, the Red Hood is about to feel the consequences of a direct hit. The old man is losing it, wondering how a low-level mage is suddenly hitting like a freight train. By mastering mana control, a skilled Gravity Master can actually push their physical stats to match any melee class. Aoma notes that weak monsters follow predictable patterns, so as long as you have the speed, they're easy pickings. Kenji is still in shock, but the kid snaps him out of it, shouting for him to deliver the final blow. Kenji charges in, blade ready. The boy keeps the goblin's focus while the old man prepares to strike with every bit of his remaining strength. With a confident grin, Aoma asks the beast how it could be foolish enough to turn its back on him. He unleashes his gravity magic, pinning the goblin to the spot. The beast is completely paralyzed as a deadly sound fills the air. The old man descends with a crushing final blow. The impact is huge, and Aoma immediately gains 2 levels from the kill. Staring at the goblin's lifeless corpse, Aoma realizes his crazy plan actually worked out. Relieved, He tells himself this fight is the ultimate proof that he can become the strongest hunter to ever live. The crowd is buzzing. This rookie just took down a Red Hood like it was nothing, and everyone's noticed. Kenji realizes Ikoma somehow managed to completely outclass the monster's speed, even at such a low level. He can't believe the kid doesn't even realize how insane this is. Shaken, he admits the rookie has talent that's way off the charts. He wonders who this kid really is. But suddenly, Ikoma feels a sharp sting of pain and slumps against a rock, gasping for air. He's completely out of mana. He realizes he's going to have to train much harder to master his skill consumption and power. Meanwhile, the old man looks genuinely relieved and happy just to see that Ikoma is still in one piece. He thanks him for the help and offers a ride. Trust me, you and I just watched a legend being born. You and I are about to watch our hero accept a pretty embarrassing situation. Inside the portal, everyone else froze, but our new hunter was the only one brave enough to step up. Kenji couldn't stop thanking him, realizing the kid gave him the courage he desperately needed to survive. He had let fear rule him, sticking to low-level monsters to stay safe, but it was time to stop being the tutorial guy. He decided right then and there to start walking like a true winner. Meanwhile, Kenji said it was an honor to see a hero being born and thanked him one last time. That portal proved his gravity master powers were real. Now, it was time to level up fast. But solo grinding is risky and slow. He needed someone at his back he could actually trust. The guild attendant admitted she had never even heard of a gravity class and doubted his low hunter stats. Ikoma ignored the doubt and asked if any parties were recruiting. She mentioned one group that didn't care about class or level. They were literally taking anyone who applied. A bit nervous, the boy asked if she could introduce him to this group leader. She warned him that being a mage with such terrible attributes would probably lead to an instant rejection. He knew rare classes were a headache to handle, so he already expected people to be pretty skeptical. The main character asked for their contact info so he could try to handle it himself. Suddenly, some guy chimed in, telling the kid he was annoying the staff and should just give up. Ikoma asked who he was, and the guy just laughed, claiming the kid should definitely know him. He introduced himself as Kakeru from the famous Thunder Knights. Our hero immediately noted they were likely a melee-only squad. Kakeru agreed, calling mages useless cowards who are too scared to even get close to a monster in a fight. He claimed people like that shouldn't even be hunters, telling the boy he should have researched classes before picking one. Plus, the kid's stats were so trash that Kakeru felt offended seeing him give rare classes a bad name. Ikoma simply questioned if that meant the jerk had a rare class too. Watch closely, because Kakeru is about to show off his power while pointing his sword right at our hero. He summoned lightning, boasting that his class was the absolute best because of its insane attributes and high-tier skills. The crowd was stunned, never having seen such a powerful rare class before. Kakeru looked incredibly smug. The attendant warned him that using skills inside was banned, but he insisted the kid needed a serious reality check. With a mocking sneer, he said it wasn't any of his business, but he called the boy arrogant for even trying to join a team. While he bragged, Ikoma was busy analyzing the Thunder Knight class. Sure, it deals heavy damage, but the movements are too simple for anything more than basic combat. He would be in deep trouble against anything fast or immune to electricity, which the guy clearly didn't realize. Meanwhile, the crowd started whispering that mages were trash, and the kid was just causing a scene for nothing. On the other hand, plenty of people were staring at Kakeru with pure envy. Ikoma noted that portals were still a new thing back then, so the ignorance wasn't actually that surprising. Let's pause. It's wild seeing how badly mages were treated back then. Everyone thought stats were everything, so he figured he might just have to go at it alone. The attendant spoke up, telling Kakeru he didn't need to be so harsh. Our hero thanked her, admitting he shouldn't have asked and deciding to stick to solo hunting for now. Kakeru warned him to reconsider being a hunter because he didn't want to find his corpse lying around somewhere. As he walked off, Ikoma just calmly thanked him for the advice. Kakeru kept a sharp eye on him as he left. Later in the guild archives, Ikoma realized earning trust would take forever, meaning temporary teams were definitely off the table for now. He needed a long-term partner with perfect synergy, someone he could actually count on in a pinch. But before doing that, he had to level up and make a name for himself. After crushing the Red Hood, he finally understood the true potential of his gravity powers. He wondered if he should challenge himself in a portal with much higher-level monsters. While searching for the ideal one, he noted the level 25 Temple of Statues seemed like a great choice. Controlled portals like this are guild-managed, kept open specifically for hunters to gain experience. The strongest beast inside that place is the Stone Knight, and trust me, once he conquers this boss, you and I will see the big teams finally notice him. Stick with me, because we are about to watch a low-level hunter break every rule in the book to survive. Closing his research, Ikoma knew this crazy plan might actually work. The goal was the Temple of Statues, but elsewhere, a frantic hunter is sprinting down a dark staircase. Bleeding and desperate, he screams that this is impossible. Then, he suddenly trips hard. The boy hits the floor, screaming, staring in terror at a massive, blood-stained shadow. A stone monster looms over him, dripping with fresh blood. The receptionist is absolutely stunned. A level 12 hunter wants to enter the Temple of Statues alone? He just says there are no rules against it. Nervous, she warns him that this is basically a suicide mission. That portal is level 25. Plus, dungeons are famous for lethal, unexpected surprises. As Ikoma walks off, he tells her he is just taking a quick peek. He says he will not stay long. At the portal, he knows he needs risk to grow. He always picks fights with higher levels. It is the only way to get enough experience. It should be fast. One big kill could grant him several levels at once. He moves past the statues. One of them has a glowing crystal embedded in its forehead. It lunges at his back, but he dodges easily. He saw that coming from a mile away. Checking his status window, he sees this thing is level 20. He thinks he can handle it and keeps dodging. But suddenly, he realizes he is cornered. The stone giant closes in. Fast. He activates his gravity reduction skill immediately. He slips away and lands a hit, but the monster does not have a single scratch. He is not worried. He can see every weak point this thing has. He unleashes a flurry of strikes. It does some damage, but this is going to be tough. Its defense is even higher than he imagined. The beast attacks again. He decides it is time to test a new theory. Using gravity reduction to dodge, he suddenly ramps the pressure up, while pointing his blade. Now watch this. One clean strike pierces the chest as a red glow erupts from the wound. The statue splits in half. Lightening his own body made him move like a blur. Then, he used gravity to slam his sword home. That combo is absolutely devastating. He jumped several levels instantly. Time to spend those points. Opening his window, he already knows exactly what he wants to upgrade. He can only boost one skill. Gravity manipulation is the obvious choice. The system confirms it. Now, at level 2, he can fully control his own weight. He is satisfied. He can now manipulate both the force and the direction of gravity. Anyway, you and I both know the real reason he came here was for the demon stones. These cores are the only proof that he took down a stone knight. He still has plenty of mana. He looks back, hunting for his next target. Seeing more enemies, he prepares to test his new power. But then, a sudden explosion. A massive lightning bolt vaporizes a statue. The Thunder Knight squad has arrived. Kakaru is a beast. His teammates are floored that he killed it in one shot. The girl notes that even with lightning resistance, his power was just too much. He laughs, asking if all portals are this pathetic. It is taking way too long to level up now, so he suggests they head to a portal with much stronger monsters. He carelessly stomps on a piece of smoldering stone. The man just glares ahead in total silence. His friend asks if he was too mean to that guild kid. Kakaru just scoffs. He claims he did the boy a favor. That kid was going to get himself killed. Trust me. You and I are going to want to see exactly what happens next. Stick with me. A massive crash just echoed from the next room. Drawing his sword, Kakaru wonders if it is the same monster. His friend notes how much higher the ceiling is here, but Kakaru does not care about the architecture. He figures some monsters are just big. Nothing special, but then, a massive stone warrior looms over them. His crew is shaking, but Kakaru's eyes light up with excitement. A level 30 statue? Now things are actually getting interesting. It is way stronger than anything they have faced. His terrified friend screams that they cannot handle a level 30 beast. Kakaru stays calm, admitting he has been thinking about something lately. Dealing with weaklings at his current level is just boring. It is too easy. Since Thunder Knights are elite hunters, he wants to test his luck against this stone giant. The monster raises its massive weapon. The floor shatters under the weight. His friend asks if he is crazy, but Kakaru reminds them there are 3 of them. He grips his sword, calling stone knights slow, dull statues that are nothing but moving targets despite their high level. Now, pay attention here. The monster strikes, and Kakaru barely manages to dodge the incoming blow. Kakaru starts to sweat, realizing its high level makes it way faster than he expected. Leaping at the enemy, he claims he can expose its weakness after one good hit. He slams his lightning sword into the stone body. The nerves start to kick in. Its defense is way higher than he thought, making this a much tougher fight. The stone knight quickly readies its greatsword again. Swiftly, it unleashes a powerful strike. Pumping his Thunder Knight power, Kakaru hopes to block the hit and slide out of range. Suddenly, the statue moves incredibly fast. Just like that, Kakaru is hit, his chest slashed wide open. Lying there, he wonders how it can be so strong. He has high-level items, but this thing is on another planet. His partner screams his name in pure terror. Terrified, the man yells for everyone to watch out. But the statue is already moving toward the girl with lethal speed. She barely blocks the impact, but the force sends her flying. Her teammate yells for Karen as she is tossed aside. He gets caught in the stomach, spitting up blood from the sheer force of the blow. With both allies down, Kakaru is losing his mind. He panics, unable to process how everything went so wrong. He stares up at the giant, wondering if it was always this terrifyingly huge. Channeling every ounce of his strength, he screams that he is special, unleashing a massive bolt of lightning at the knight. He puts his entire soul into that single, desperate electrical blast. You and I saw that coming, right? Except the monster catches the lightning blade bare-handed, leaving Kakeru totally stunned. He remembers a warning about lightning resistance, and in that moment, all his hope completely vanishes. The statue effortlessly snaps his sword like a twig. He just watches, powerless, as his weapon breaks in two. Desperate, he jumps back, breaking down into uncontrollable, sobbing tears of pure fright. But the monster does not stop. It keeps marching forward as he watches in total disbelief. The beast raises its sword as Kakeru screams that it cannot be happening. He does not want to die like this. His broken blade lies in the dirt. The stone knight looms over him, treating him like a pathetic insect. Shaking with fear, he bows his head and starts begging for his life, pleading for mercy. He shrieks for a savior. Suddenly, a leg wreathed in purple magic appears as the stone blade descends. That is when the protagonist uses gravity reduction, freezing the giant statue in its tracks. Confused, the monster scans the area before spotting a purple glow coming from its own rib cage. The boy lands nearby, sighing because he knew that simple move would not be enough to end this. Kakeru is shocked, asking if this is the guild newbie who picked the mage class. The boy says nothing. Annoyed, Kakeru yells at him to stay back, claiming there is no way a rookie can win this. The protagonist reached level 16 and knows the hunter is right. This will not be easy against a level 30 knight. It probably reached this level by eating other hunters, turning into a total irregular. Still, he admits the thing is massive. He claims he just wanted a quiet walk, maybe find one monster to kill before heading home. And that is where we leave it, trust me. He never expected to find something this massive. Still on the ground, Kakeru tells him to stop staring and just run, since they were crushed before even landing a hit. Alright, you and I are about to watch this kid pull off the most insane gravity-defying stunt. The beast charges up a massive blast, but Ikoma is too quick, dodging it with ease. The statue shifts its stance instantly to counter him, but Ikoma leaps into the air the second he touches ground. By soaring over the monster, he evades the smash and drives his blade straight into the knight's heavy helmet. Watching from below, Kakeru is stunned. There is no way a low-level rookie mage should be doing this. He is holding his own against a titan. Ikoma realizes that despite its terrifying level, the monster is slow enough for him to easily outmaneuver it. But here is the catch. He does not have a single skill strong enough to kill it. The Stone Knight's defense is massive, meaning his regular attacks barely even leave a scratch on its armor. With the massive level gap and his mana draining fast from gravity manipulation, he is officially running out of time. Now pay attention, because as the statue strikes again, he is about to try something completely reckless to survive. The titan swings wide while he narrowly evades the blade. Kakeru admits he knew it was a gamble, but he hoped it would land. Sadly, that strike failed too. Using his gravity reduction drains his mana like crazy, but he cannot survive without that extra mobility. He cannot let this drag on any longer. As another massive slash comes his way, the boy dodges once more. He uses his power to leap again, spinning through the air to build up massive centrifugal force. He shifts his weight to pin the enemy sword down, then narrowly jumps over a crushing follow-up punch. Landing right on the monster's head, he leaves Kakeru, wondering if this insane movement is even humanly possible. The hero leaps off the beast's helmet once more. He admits he wanted to save his level 2 skill, but he has no choice. Activating reverse gravity, he falls upward, stuck to the ceiling. You and I both know that was a genius move. Using the gravity skill on himself has left the enemy totally baffled. From this height, he can deliver a killing blow. Preparing for the drop, he activates gravity increase for maximum impact. Ikoma readies his blade as his body weight skyrockets. With that added weight and the speed of the fall, his momentum is unstoppable. It is over for the monster. Crashing down with meteor fall, he cleaves the giant stone knight in two before it starts to dissolve away. As the monster crumbles, the system notifies him that he has earned 524 experience points. He jumps from level 16 to 23, banking 14 brand new skill points. Killing a monster twice his level paid off big time. Ikoma takes a breath to celebrate his massive victory. He collapses to his knees after boosting his fall damage resistance all the way to level 3. The landing was brutal, but he is thankful he had the foresight to grab that resistance skill beforehand. Kakeru is absolutely speechless. His own lightning was useless against that thing, yet this low-level mage just took it down like an absolute pro. Awkwardly, he asks why Ikoma helped him after how poorly he was treated back at the guild hall. The guy starts panicking, suddenly terrified that Ikoma might actually be here for some cold-blooded revenge. Making him even more nervous, Ikoma just asks if he is okay and if he can stand up. Kakeru is shocked. He starts to laugh, realizing he totally misread the situation. Reaching out his hand, he finally thanks the boy for saving his life. Back at the guild, the receptionist is losing it. She cannot believe a level 30 Stone Knight actually appeared, let alone that a rookie like Ikoma was the one to defeat it. He simply confirms the kill without revealing his secret techniques. She says it is impossible for a solo rookie until he slams the monster's massive demon stone on the counter. The receptionist admits a core that big only comes from a boss level 30 monster or higher. She finally agrees to register it, offering 200,000 yen to exchange the stone right now, but Ikoma tells her he is keeping it for himself. After all, he needs that trophy to prove he actually has the skills. Suddenly, Kakeru catches up to him, saying he was looking for him just to say thanks one more time. He also has a massive offer for the kid, asking if he wants to join the elite Thunder Knights. And trust me, seeing that core in his hand, you and I both know Ikoma's legendary journey is only just beginning. Alright, you and I are about to watch this underdog play his cards perfectly. He tells Ikoma it is a rare favor, but the protagonist just is not feeling it. Despite the kid's encouragement, Ikoma flatly refuses the generous offer. Surprised, Kakeru demands to know why. Weren't you desperately looking for a team? He says he was, but he's changed his mind. He simply walks away, leaving the other hunter completely stunned. If he keeps grinding like this, his goals are finally within reach. The Theater of Maniacal Dreams portal is coming, hiding an item beyond imagination. With his past life memories, he will be the first to clear it. He drops stones on the table, demanding cash. The crowd gets tense. The receptionist is baffled how one solo hunter can kill this many monsters. He ignores her chatter and asks for a promotion to D rank. F ranks only jump to E rank after choosing classes, and portals require D rank. She tells him level 25 is a strict requirement. Ikoma pulls up his status window. He is already level 26. The woman is floored. A solo mage reaching this level? Unheard of. She finds his explosive growth rate incredibly suspicious. Are Gravity Masters really this broken? Finally, the D rank promotion is official. Now he has an elite class paired with 10 years of S rank expertise. Fast leveling draws heat, but he's running out of time. D rank opens better portals and far more team opportunities. Watch closely, this is where the real power grab begins. The last hunter with that weapon became a legendary serial killer. He will not let history repeat. He just needs a partner. Large teams are too messy. A small squad is safer. He needs someone specific to stabilize his gravity powers. Which skills will survive the nightmare theater he's about to enter? A solo specialist open to teamwork is perfect, but he realizes he is being demanding. He hits every guild in the region. Half the day gone, and this is already his 4th stop. He considers lowering his standards, then spots a leader berating their companion. A girl is sobbing, but her team leader doesn't care. Ikoma watches closely. Satsuki is fired. She begs for just one more chance. Her leader calls her skills garbage, complaining about the long cooldowns. She claims Satsuki owes them money for being such dead weight. Satsuki is crushed. See that? Our main character knows exactly what it is like to be discarded. He cannot choose a partner out of pity. His life is on the line. The ex-leader mocks Satsuki for picking such a useless class. A sorceress? Absolutely pathetic, just like her. Ikoma is intrigued while others tell her to just quit. Sorcery and gravity are a perfect match for that boss. Should he recruit her? Suddenly, the girl snaps at him, asking what he is staring at. He introduces himself as a D-rank hunter looking for a squad. She sees the D-rank license and immediately starts acting sweet, offering a spot. But Ikoma ignores her, asking Satsuki if she wants to join him. Everyone is completely blindsided by his offer. Trust me, you and I do not want to miss what happens next. Alright, you and I are diving into a world where status is everything and the weak get left behind. Satsuki timidly thanks him for the offer, but reminds him she is only a D-rank hunter under level 20. Ikoma grabs her hand and promises her a fast level up, insisting that he truly needs her unique help. She worries her class is useless and will only drag him down, but he doubles down on his promise. The girl admits she has absolutely zero confidence and considers quitting for good, but he insists he won't ask for much. Begging for just one chance, he promises to help her find the confidence she needs. Satsuki bows and says if he truly wants her, she would love to join his group. Her old teammate is shocked he chose someone so useless, laughing that he is definitely going to regret this decision. Our main character thanks her for the advice, but he lets her know there is one more thing. Walking past her, Ikoma makes it clear he knows more about classes than anyone else, his new partner right behind him. A sorceress covers a gravity master's weaknesses perfectly. Best of all, this class is a beast in the theater, making it just as powerful as his own weapons. A little while later, they arrive elsewhere. Ikoma thanks her for coming along, but she still feels like her mage class is pretty much garbage. Ikoma reveals he is also a mage, telling her that while she feels weak now, everything will change in just a few years. Now watch this part closely, because Ikoma is about to reveal a secret about a brand new, undiscovered portal. Feeling determined, the girl agrees with him, but his next words about an uncontrolled portal make her incredibly nervous. Ikoma says they are entering a portal that hasn't even appeared yet, with a recommended level of 30 or higher. Terrified, the girl realizes the level is way too high for them, and it is an undiscovered portal to boot. Undiscovered portals are the most dangerous ones because no one has had enough time to analyze them yet. Shaking with nerves, she reminds him she is only level 17 with a weak class. Ikoma tells her to relax and promises he will do all the fighting. After all, he has records from his past life on every portal imaginable. That is how he built a winning strategy for the theater, declaring they will clear this portal with ease. He tells her to just trust him. He feels a bit guilty dragging her into this, but he must protect that weapon at all costs. Satsuki asks the obvious question. How does he know about a portal that has not even appeared yet? Ikoma keeps the details vague, blaming a rare item, but she is not buying that excuse for a second. There is simply no way any item could predict a portal appearing that far in advance. Suddenly, everyone's phones erupt with an emergency alert, and she quickly grabs her device to see what is happening. Ikoma checks his phone too. Everyone is buzzing about a portal alert that just triggered near a neighborhood in Seiko. You and I both saw that coming, right? This is the exact portal Ikoma was waiting for. He explains that while most people could not clear this in a week, killing the boss grants a massive reward. A little later, they are searching for the entrance while the girl asks if Ikoma is absolutely sure. They notice the Ministry of Portal Eradication has already set up base. Suddenly, a woman runs up and asks if they are hunters. She asks them to report any intel they find, whether it is the dungeon layout or the skills the monsters use. However, they must stay safe, as deaths are common when dealing with these undiscovered and mysterious portals. They agree to help the ministry. Satsuki asks why he hid the plan to kill the boss, but he says she would have stopped him. Once inside the portal, he warns her that this place is different and asks if she is still anxious, causing her to start stuttering. Our hero apologizes for asking such a big favor, but he promises her that he will handle every single monster alone. He promises to retreat if things get bad. Satsuki, afraid of being abandoned again, vows to do her absolute best. She even offers to be used as bait, but Ikoma tells her that is not necessary. She just needs to cast her spells. The girl admits she barely knows any useful skills, so he asks if she can use something called mana drain. This ability sucks the mana right out of a target, making it a lifesaver during long battles against high-level monsters. Since she can give that stolen mana to a teammate, it is the perfect support skill for a gravity user like him. With her help, our main character will never have to worry about his mana while facing off against these deadly creatures. The girl argues the skill is too slow and inefficient, suggesting it is better to just use magic that actually hurts enemies. So stick with me, because you and I are about to find out if Ikoma's wild gamble on this girl's potential actually pays off. Come along as Ikoma fights a massive clown bear. While weaving through the strikes, he calls for his partner to use her skill, and she fires a shadow ball at the beast. The bear screams in agony as the spell connects. Seeing the monster drop its guard, our main character prepares to launch himself at the enemy. Like a flash, he's already looming over his opponent. He activates a gravity boost on his own body, crushing the bear's skull. Once it's down, Ikoma sheathes his blade, ready for the next round. He calls it a cakewalk, while racking up another 212 experience points. Shocked, the girl realizes she just jumped 3 levels, but she still feels guilty, worrying that she's just letting him handle all the heavy lifting. Ikoma promises her that they'll need each other once they go deeper. They're a team she has to get stronger. Satsuki asks if they're really partners. It feels so different compared to how it was back with Aioi. With a smile, she vows to be useful next time. Meanwhile, Ikoma tells her not to push herself into the ground. He's a bit on edge, telling himself they'll be fine once they take the boss and those rare items. Now, pay attention, this is where the story gets dark. A criminal named Cow once used these items to become legendary. Since the theater portal only opened 2 days ago, that psycho shouldn't even be here yet. But elsewhere, a man is locked in combat. He swings a massive hammer, but his target dances out of reach. The killer starts laughing. Activating a skill called Life Eraser, he delivers a single, lethal strike. Blood coats his dagger as the body hits the floor. Cow scoffs that the man shouldn't have picked a fight. He notices another level up. To this psychopath, these losers are nothing but bags of experience points waiting to be harvested. He figures humans are way easier to hunt than monsters since they don't expect to fight. Now at level 36, the focus shifts back to Ikoma, who's currently using gravity increase to summon a dark orb. He uses the sphere to smash a jack-in-the-box clown right into the dirt. Blushing, Satsuki admits that even just casting from the backlines has pushed her all the way to level 22. She feels like a total moocher, assuming Ikoma could have easily cleared this whole dungeon by himself. But he disagrees, saying it's only easy because they haven't run into any truly high-rank monsters yet. These mobs are predictable. He tells her sorcerers are powerful, though she doesn't seem to believe him at all. Quickly changing the subject, Satsuki notices his mana is nearly depleted and suggests they head back to the exit. He explains that constant gravity manipulation is what's eating all his energy. The guild warns them to leave at 50%, but Ikoma has much bigger ideas. You and I are about to see a very unconventional move. In front of them stands a clown goblin. Ikoma asks if she's ready before pinning the monster down. It's time to start. He tells her to use mana drain. Satsuki is stunned. Tying up monsters to siphon their energy is absolutely genius. Once she's full, she can just transfer that mana directly back to the main character. She agrees but begs him to cover the monster's face. He bluntly says he can't do that without wasting a skill. Having no choice, Satsuki starts the drain. Ikoma realizes that with this method, they can finally pull it off. Meanwhile, the poor goblin just lies there, looking completely defeated after being used as a battery. As she prepares the transfer, Ikoma asks why she's blushing so much and tells her not to make it weird. The energy flows into him. The main character watches his mana climb from 16 up to 25 points. Satsuki is really disappointed. It took a long time just to get a 9-point boost. He tells her not to worry, they'll just harvest mana from 6 more goblins. She's terrified, but Ikoma knows this is a golden chance to level up. Soon after, he lands a killing blow on another monster. That makes 6. He asks about her status, and she confirms her mana is finally back to full capacity. Satsuki jumped 2 more levels, while Ikoma only gained 1. The girl is starting to get excited. She thinks they could do this all day, but Ikoma warns that taking too long to recover could be dangerous. Still, he's confident he can handle these weaklings forever without breaking a sweat. Checking her stats, Satsuki can't believe how many levels she's gained in just a few hours. This is nothing like the cautious guild expeditions she's used to, where they never fight anything above their level. Ikoma stands up, showing us that breaking the rules is the only way to reach the top. You and I know the drill. Getting stronger means hunting high-level monsters for their skills and experience. She watches him talk, and suddenly, she's filled with a new sense of determination. Fast forward a bit, they're walking through a massive cathedral, while Satsuki nervously asks if they can actually clear this portal. He stops right in front of a massive set of doors. This is it, the Theater of Maniacal Dreams boss is waiting just inside. He reaches out, ready to face whatever's on the other side. With a grin, he bets the Eradication Ministry never expected them to reach the boss in just 2 days. Satsuki starts trembling, realizing the nightmare is real. She's never seen a boss up close, and she's paralyzed with fear. He notices and asks if she's feeling anxious. He offers to come back later if she's too scared. But she shakes it off, there's no turning back now. She remembers Aoi getting angry at her for quitting, but she pushes those negative thoughts right out of her mind. She's done being weak. She wants to change right here, right now, so she can actually be useful to him. She's giving it her all. Seeing that fire in her eyes, he gives her a small, proud smile. Ikoma crosses his arms and tells her that's the spirit. He promises they'll win, but she's still worried the plan might fail. As the doors swing open, he tells her to just remember the plan and stay calm. Now watch this part, he says. Her sorceress class makes this boss an easy kill as they step into the dark. Suddenly, a chilling laugh echoes. Standing before them is the level 35 boss, the maniacal clown. Satsuki gasps that it's the portal boss. Ikoma stays silent, his eyes locked on the massive, twisted creature. Deep down, he knows that winning this fight means finally getting that legendary item he craved in his past life. He tells her it's time to end this. She agrees, unaware of a dark silhouette lurking in the shadows behind them. Kao is watching from the dark. That psychopath smirks, thinking this kill is going to be easier than he expected. The giant clown starts waving its hands and laughing like a lunatic. Ikoma gives Satsuki the signal it's go time. They both charge forward. His job is to draw the boss's aggro while she stays back at a safe distance. These bosses have insane health and recovery, so a head-on fight is basically a suicide mission. You and I both know they need a trick to win. Meanwhile, the boss starts charging a glowing ball of light. It launches the attack, but Ikoma activates gravitational reduction. He times it perfectly, dodging the blast by just 1 meter. Over on the other side, the girl gets into position and quickly activates mana drain. She starts siphoning energy from the boss's back, but the monster senses her almost immediately. With just a glare, it completely paralyzes her. Ikoma screams for her to snap out of it and run. He warns her that the boss is about to use its deadly teleport attack. He yells that the attack can't be cancelled once it starts, telling her to reach the center, as the clown's twisted eye begins to glow. Satsuki sees a massive shadow loom right behind her. The boss is inches away, mouth wide open, charging a massive fireball for the kill. It fires, but Ikoma throws himself into the fray, reminding the monster that he's the real threat. The clown just keeps laughing. But Ikoma manages to completely shut down and dispel that fire attack. Watching him, Satsuki realizes that attack was moving at an incredibly high speed. Ikoma knows he needs to back away, so he jumps toward the clown's back. The boss's eye flares up again as it turns to face its enemy. It teleports instantly right in front of him. Ikoma is shocked it just used the same skill twice in a row. The giant clown is closing in for the final attack. Worried sick, Satsuki screams out for her companion. Suddenly, he triggers gravitational reversal, and a massive explosion rocks the entire room. The clown keeps laughing, but it's confused. Ikoma is suddenly hanging upside down right in its face. The boss's eye glows for a third time. It's tougher than he thought, but everything is still going exactly as planned. She remembers asking if they were really never going to attack the boss. He explained that the boss's magic is too fast. One wrong step, and they'd both be turned into ash. Long-range attacks just trigger its teleport, bringing it within striking range. But luckily, this monster has one massive critical flaw. Back in the fight, Satsuki activates her mana drain again. The clown's head snaps toward her. It spots the opening it wanted. Satsuki is terrified, realizing she's too close and Ikoma might not be able to protect her. Trust me. You and I are about to see that this was his plan all along. Alright, you and I are about to see a massive turn. Satsuki is terrified, but that monster? Its magic is officially gone. Ikoma grins, knowing the boss is tapped out. All those flame bursts and teleports drained its mana pool completely. Without its skills, the clown is useless and tries to bolt. But Ikoma isn't letting it escape. He prepares to launch. He rockets toward the enemy using Meteor Fall, slamming his weight directly onto the boss's head. He warns the beast that it can't run since it even needs skills just to crawl. Satsuki follows up, blasting it with dark magic. Now watch this part closely. The monster screams in agony as the final blow draws near. Ikoma cranks up the gravity and crushes the beast. The boss falls, giving him 1043 experience and pushing him to level 30. Satsuki is absolutely thrilled that they actually took down the dungeon boss together. She asks about their next move, and Ikoma says they need to clear out before the gate seals shut for good. She worries about being trapped, but Ikoma tells her not to rush. The gate stays open for 12 hours, and the monsters are dead. Blushing, she admits she had no clue. Suddenly, the clown's corpse begins to emit a strange, bright glow. Satsuki is confused, but Ikoma knows exactly what's happening. He finally got what he came for. There it is, the clown blade. Ikoma says this weapon is a perfect match for a gravity master like him. It's basically a cheat code. Satsuki asks if this was the legendary gear he'd been hunting for all along. The blade boosts attack by 11 points, while cutting down skill activation time and mana costs significantly. Satsuki thinks the stats look a bit average, but Ikoma knows better. To him, this sword is incredible. He explains that the raw damage is just a bonus. What he really matters is the hidden item effect. Okay, I know what you are thinking, but trust me, this item makes skill-heavy classes absolutely unstoppable. Gravity masters are wide open when switching skills and burn mana fast. This weapon fixes every single one of those flaws. She's stunned by the news. In his past life, the hunter who found this blade reached a legendary rank because of it, but that same man eventually became a brutal criminal, turning other hunters into his prey. By taking the sword now, Ikoma is stopping a future disaster. Meanwhile, Satsuki can't stop staring at the blade. She starts getting in her own head, thinking about how this sword covers all of his combat weaknesses. Suddenly, she gets super anxious and asks if this means he doesn't actually need her help anymore. Ikoma says no way the blade doesn't stop him from running out of mana. He asks if she'll keep working with him, and she agrees. Ikoma is totally confused by her vibe, while she gets fired up, declaring that she's officially in a competition. He decides to invest his new skill points. Since he's aiming for the top, he's going all in on gravity master abilities. He weighs his options, deciding exactly which specific power-up will serve him best for the future. After a moment, he makes his move, bumping his gravitational magic up to level 2. He hits level 3 in manipulation and unlocks a brand new skill, the super gravity bullet. He relied on manipulation before, but this new item makes magic effortless. He's hyped to go test these powers out. Suddenly, a voice echoes through the chamber, claiming they've arrived just a little bit too late. It's Kao. He notes that the kid already cleared the boss and gives Ikoma a creepy, lingering look. The protagonist gets a bad feeling. Mentally, he realizes this is probably the worst time for a surprise guest. He also realizes that guy was using a stealth skill to hide and watch, likely gathering information while they did the work. Kao probably expected them both to die. Ikoma's seen this kind of vulture behavior plenty of times in his past life. He stares the man down, trying to figure out exactly who he's dealing with. Then it hits him. This is Kao, the man who originally found the blade and became a legendary hunter of hunters. How is this possible? In his past life, it took much longer for this psycho to reach the portal. Ikoma is panicked, wondering what this maniac is doing here so early. But then, the realization finally hits him. The guy must have been camping in the boss room the whole time, just waiting to snatch the loot. Kao is waiting for the winner to get exhausted before striking. Satsuki senses the tension and asks what's wrong. The guy eyes the sword and asks if that's the drop. He asks Ikoma if he can take a closer look. Ikoma says of course, reaching his hand out. Internally, Kao is laughing, calling him a total fool. And that's where we leave it. You and I just witnessed a monster fall, only for an even worse psycho to take its place. Alright, you and I are about to watch this psycho approach them, telling them to be careful as his eyes glow red. Pulling his dagger, he triggers the life eraser skill, but Ikoma dodges instantly. Kao turns back, looking absolutely thrilled. However, Ikoma was already mid-swing with his sword. Despite his insane speed, the assassin barely manages to sidestep the lethal strike. In that split second, our main character realizes he has lost track of him. He wanted to land a blow before things escalated, but this guy is just too fast. As his friend trembles in fear, he admits that Kao is far stronger than either of them. This assassin thinks it is strange, asking the kid how he knew exactly what was coming. He honestly thought the kid was a total fool, but it turns out he is far more capable than he expected. Satsuki asks what is going on, and the main character reveals that this man is actually out here murdering hunters. He explains that the assassin class makes him fast and silent. Kao is shocked the boy figured all that out so quickly. His expression shifts as he tells them to hand over the item, glad he does not have to waste time explaining. He promises to let them live, but the main character knows better. Dungeon crimes are perfect because they leave absolutely no evidence behind. Because of that, he knows the killer has no intention of letting them leave alive. Kao goes silent for a moment before breaking into a wide, creepy grin, admitting that he likes this attitude. He admits the boy is smart and incredibly brave for someone so weak. Now, he wants to watch the main character spit blood as he marches straight to hell. On the other hand, Ikoma shows no hesitation at all. The main character admits that things are looking pretty bad. Pay attention here, because this killer decimated countless hunters and took the clown's blade in a past life. He never thought he would be hiding in this portal. Once their blades clashed, he knew there was no normal way to win. Satsuki calls out to him, worried for his safety. Suddenly, the main character barks an order, telling her to get behind him. Ikoma explains that assassins rely on high speed and massive critical damage when they catch someone off guard. If he gets close, she is dead, since a sorceress is meant for support, not a brutal close-quarters brawl. He tells her to stay back and let him handle this, even though he knows fighting this monster alone is insane. He cannot let Satsuki face him, especially since this guy has vast combat experience and deadly skills on his side. More importantly, he knows the girl would completely lose it if she saw the twisted things this man does. He triggers gravity reduction again, and their weapons collide in a burst of sparks. Even with his unique item, Ikoma was physically trembling. Kao compliments his sword skills but says he has some bad news. He can tell the boy has no experience when it comes to killing people. Throwing Ikoma off balance, the killer brags that he has murdered dozens and will never lose a fight. Kao thinks most people will panic, but the main character prepares to strike again. He believes people cannot handle the pressure of a real death match and always make mistakes. However, even the assassin gets nervous when another blade swing whistles just inches from his skin. You saw that too, right? This kid is not backing down at all, and he is actually tracking the assassin's movements easily. Kao calls it ridiculous, refusing to believe a low-level kid could actually be putting pressure on him. Satsuki watches the fight unfold, feeling incredibly nervous as she stands by. She realizes her friend is not just book-smart, but is actually an absolute beast when it comes to combat. Mentally, Ikoma is so relieved he got this blade in time. It reduces his skill activation delay, allowing him to rapidly switch between increasing and decreasing gravity without missing a beat. Without it, he could never survive these attacks. He would be out of mana without the sword's buff. Suddenly, Kao yells that the game is finally over. The assassin puffs out his cheeks to reveal his hidden trump card. He spits out a dark red poison needle. Luckily, Ikoma saw it coming. With a skillful flick of his blade, he bats the needle away, leaving Kao terrified. He shouts that it is impossible as the main character lunges at him. He tries to dodge, but Ikoma predicted the move and blocked the needle, leaving a cut across the killer's cheek. Furious, he yells that the kid just got lucky. Kao attacks again, vowing it won't happen twice, while Ikoma remains perfectly calm. The killer uses his life eraser skill, trying to land a single final blow, but Ikoma activates his gravity power, pinning the enemy down and knocking the dagger right out of his hand. So stick around, because you and I just saw Ikoma figure out that the assassin uses a specialized skill to strike the neck. The guy's amazed and confused. Stick with me as we see how Ikoma figured him out. Ikoma explains that simple movements are just too easy to read. He even mocks the guy, saying he would never use such basic skills against a real threat. Satsuki isn't just standing there though. She starts charging up a shadow sphere. Kao senses the attack from behind and nearly trips. But when he looks up, the kid is already there, sword raised. Our hero swings fast, leaving a nasty gash right across the assassin's face. The guy loses it, screaming and clutching his eye while blood pours out. He can't believe a mere kid actually managed to tag him like that. While the assassin panics, Ikoma realizes he can do more than just read the guy's movements. He can counter every trick and match his speed using gravity manipulation. There's just one massive problem: his mana is almost tapped out. After that brutal boss fight, he's running on fumes. If he hits 0, they're both as good as dead. Kao charges back in, screaming that he's going to end the boy's life right now. Reaching for his knife, the assassin starts to feel a chill of fear. He's genuinely frustrated that this kid is so hard to kill. The boy sees through every movement and trick. Plus, his raw power is completely off the charts. Kao watches Ikoma dash side to side and realizes something's wrong. The kid is purposely aiming for his blind spot. He uses shadow steps to dodge the strike, but his energy is fading. Even Ikoma is starting to get worried now. Another slash flies out. Kao knows the kid has the upper hand, but notices the desperation growing in the boy's eyes. Now watch this, the villain starts laughing, glad the kid killed the boss since he's so strong. He admits Ikoma is strong enough to be a hero if he actually got out alive. Stomping the ground, he laughs like a total maniac. He promises that unfortunately for the kid, he's dying right here and now. Both Ikoma and Satsuki watch him, feeling the heavy tension in the air. They clash again in a frantic blur, but the hero is clearly wearing down. Satsuki tries to help with another shadow sphere. The attack flies toward the assassin, but he's too fast, dodging easily with shadow steps. The girl is paralyzed with fear after seeing him dodge everything. She's trapped in her own head, convinced she's just a burden now. She watches her friend fight a losing battle against a much stronger monster. You and I can see it, the pressure is mounting. The psycho's screaming how much he loves this. Trading blows, he yells that it's rare to find a fight where you don't know who's going to die first. He tells them both to savor every second of this battle while it lasts. Ikoma tries one more slash, but the lunatic slips away. Anxiety is finally starting to take hold of our hero. Using the sword's weight, the boy throws a desperate kick. It connects, slamming right into the assassin's chin. The guy is livid, backing off to reset. He realizes the kid still has plenty of tricks left to show. In his mind, Ikoma knows he can use gravity reduction to make his body feel light as air. It lets him pull off insane acrobatics to dodge almost anything the assassin throws his way. But the enemy sees the truth: Ikoma is running out of mana. The guy just keeps laughing like a demon. He thinks that Ikoma is using an active skill to push his physical abilities past their limits. Once that buff fades, the boy will be wide open. That's exactly when he plans to finish him. The assassin mocks the boy for reaching his limit and launches a final, relentless assault from every single angle. Ikoma's mana is gone. This is his final attack. As the boy leaps into the sky, Kao is completely shocked. Looking up, the assassin wonders if this is just another one of the kid's weird abilities. He laughs, saying it's over since you can't move in midair. But Ikoma has one last trick, a single burst of increased gravity. He has to put every single drop of effort into this one final chance. Gripping his blade, he pours his remaining soul into the strike. Meteor Fall slams the assassin into the dirt with crushing force. Kao struggles, asking what kind of incredible power this is. No matter how hard he pushes, he can't stop the weight of that blade. The assassin's defense finally buckles, and the sword carves a deep, bloody gash across his chest. Our hero is completely spent. A notification pops up: his mana has officially hit 0. Satsuki rushes over, shouting his name. She's crying with joy because they won, but Ikoma can only mutter an apology. He faints, still apologizing to Satsuki. Trust me, we won't forget this win. Alright, you and I are about to watch a struggle as the wounded assassin, Kao, stumbles back to his feet. He laughs, sensing Ikoma is out of mana, while our hero begs Satsuki to run. Ikoma uses every ounce of his remaining strength, promising that the killer won't be able to catch her. But she has to move right now. Even Kao is impressed, admitting Ikoma is a beast for still standing after that grueling boss fight. Despite the exhaustion, he keeps swinging his weapon just to keep the psycho away from Satsuki. Satsuki is completely paralyzed by the scene. Meanwhile, Kao mocks Ikoma for protecting someone so pathetic, though he admits he is starting to admire the guy's resolve. Ikoma is visibly irritated by the killer's praise, especially when the man laughs about not even knowing his full name. On the other hand, Satsuki can't stop thinking about those cruel words, wondering if she really is just a burden to Ikoma. With tears streaming down her face, she feels Ikoma was right. She should have quit being a hunter long ago. If she wasn't here, he would have crushed this guy easily. Remembering how he saved her before, she mentally screams for help one more time. But then, something deep inside her finally snaps. The girl's entire expression shifts, and the very air around her begins to crackle with a new, dangerous energy. Ikoma growls that he would never give his name to trash like Kao. The assassin just smiles, calling him the first person he has ever truly respected. Because of that respect, he promises to remember Ikoma's face forever as he raises his dagger to strike. Watch closely as Satsuki summons a shadow sphere that feels completely different from anything we have seen before. Kao tries to dodge, laughing that she will never hit him, but a sudden sharp pain stops him cold. Satsuki didn't use the spell, she bashed him with her staff instead. The assassin curses her, realizing his injuries are catching up to him. She struck from his blind spot perfectly. As she rushes to her companion, a shocked Ikoma demands to know why she didn't run. Activating a new skill, Satsuki declares she is done running, because Ikoma gave her the courage to fight back and make things right. She initiates a mana transfer, pouring her own energy into him so he can finally get back into the fight. The assassin is baffled by the sudden surge of power, but he screams in rage, vowing to kill her first. He activates his Life Eraser skill, but as he lunges at Satsuki, he finds her staring back with nothing but cold indifference. Ikoma thanks her for the save as he rises to his feet, catching the enemy's blade with ease. Ikoma finally begins to recover his precious mana. Kao is terrified, wondering if his opponent already has enough energy to use that devastating skill again. It shouldn't be possible. But Ikoma reminds him that they have been a team from the very start long before the ambush even began. With his mana restored while Kao is still bleeding out, Ikoma declares the real fight starts now as he launches a lightning-fast strike. The psycho gets scared, desperately trying to dodge. Ikoma gives him zero breathing room, increasing his strength and speed with every single strike. The guy claims he is not finished and summons a dark magic circle. Satsuki prepares to face the attack, but Ikoma tells her to stay back and watch how he handles this. He unleashes his massive gravity magic. Now, pay attention to this. Ikoma tells his enemy that his magic is too slow for real combat, revealing that in his past life, he used a jester's blade to fix that exact casting delay. Seeing the black hole forming in front of him, Kao realizes it is all over. The massive sphere of shadows swallows everything in its path. The hit is direct and devastating. Kao can only lament being defeated by a kid who was supposed to be low level. Ikoma stands tall over the fallen villain. In this world, the government still hasn't created specific laws for incidents that happen inside portals. The Ministry of Monster Eradication usually ignores these cases, leading to an unspoken rule that whatever happens in the gate, stays in the gate. But with Satsuki watching, Ikoma knows he has to follow the rules. He decides to keep the man under close observation until they can escape. He tells Satsuki to head for the exit and contact the ministry immediately, and she quickly agrees to the plan. Since monsters don't respawn in cleared portals, it is safe for the girl to navigate the dungeon alone. While Kao lies broken, Ikoma keeps his guard up. He's breathing hard, realizing he almost lost because he underestimated a higher-level opponent. He notes that the kid had insane battle experience for his age, and starts to wonder who he actually is. Later on, Ikoma and Satsuki are relaxing in a busy coffee shop. Suddenly, a breaking news alert pops up about the capture of a notorious hunter-killer. He checks the phone, seeing that the ministry actually arrested Kao. Satsuki is surprised they didn't even ask any questions. Ikoma explains that portal crimes are nearly impossible to prove in a court of law. Unless the suspect is caught red-handed, the ministry rarely bothers with investigations. These portals have completely changed how the entire nation functions. So, what do you and I take from this? As crime rates drop and corporations take over, our heroes are just trying to survive the new world order. You and I are diving into a world where society is crumbling. The government offers zero help to the poor. Satsuki admits that even though portals are lawless, she never expected to actually face a serial killer. He asks if she's terrified. He warns her that being a hunter means facing this horror constantly. Watching her closely, he acknowledges that things are getting pretty rough for her right now. He points out she could always find another job if hunting becomes too much. Clutching her cup, Satsuki admits she's definitely scared. Ikoma simply thanks her for all the help. She explains that inside that portal, she finally felt like his true partner, a feeling she really treasures. Despite the dangers ahead, she wants to stay by his side and give it her all. Then, she smiles. Ikoma tells her he's counting on her and reaches out his hand. Satsuki nods with a bright smile, and they finally seal the deal with a handshake. Ikoma thinks to himself that she's a genuinely good person. Satsuki feels differently, thinking she's just naive and too slow to keep up. She's always felt like she never does enough for others. She assumes that's why Aoi never liked her, and honestly, she doesn't like that part of herself either. She believes she can become a better person while a memory of them in the portal flashes by. Even knowing her own flaws, she asks to keep hunting by his side. Ikoma gives a small smile, once again thinking she's a remarkably kind soul. Still, he feels a bit awkward while Satsuki just radiates pure joy. He notes that she's way more talkative than he ever expected. Two people nearby are staring, and one of them nudges the other to take a look. Now watch this. A woman holds up her phone and asks if they're the famous duo who cleared that boss and caught a killer in one day. Suddenly, Ikoma notices the cafe is getting packed with curious onlookers. Utsunomiya walks up and tells them they've become the talk of the entire guild. He's busy typing, explaining that while their names are still a mystery, they're trending on every video and blog out there. The screen shows a viral clip of the rookie hunter, though the specific details aren't fully public just yet. Even without their names, Utsunomiya says everyone knows who they are and is dying to know what happened. He points right at Ikoma and Satsuki, bragging that he knew they'd be famous, making them both cringe a little. He insists he's not leaving until they agree to join him. Out of nowhere, Aoi shows up to scold him, announcing her arrival with the Thunder Knights. She smiles at Satsuki, claiming she's been looking everywhere. She grabs Satsuki's hands and apologizes, admitting she was way too hard on her the other day. She says she realized they need each other as friends, and that the end of their last mission must have been painful for everyone. Aoi smiles again. She asks how much cash Satsuki made and how many levels she gained. She tries to say she's there for her, but Satsuki cuts her off, telling Ikoma they need to leave. He agrees. Aoi and Utsunomiya desperately try to stop them, begging the duo not to walk away. But they just keep walking. As they pass a car, Ikoma asks if she's sure about leaving her friend Aoi behind like that. And yeah, you and I saw that coming. She coldly declares Aoi isn't her friend and checks the viral videos. The screen shows a video of the rookie hunter facing the assassin with millions of views. Satsuki explains that people love filming inside portals for the views. Ikoma thinks it's dangerous, since these creators only care about clicks and making a quick buck. She's surprised, asking him if she should just unsubscribe from all the channels she follows. A phone screen pops up showing 1 million views in just 1 month. Meanwhile, Hosa spots the news about a mysterious rookie hunter taking down a serial killer. She's annoyed that this video is outperforming hers. A knight explains how viral trends work, so Hosa decides she's going to make her own viral hit. She can't believe the attention this hunter is getting, just for clearing one portal. Surrounded by knights, she makes her hatred for the hunter clear. Later, back indoors, Satsuki asks Ikoma if that weapon he mentioned is for her. Ikoma confirms. He explains that fighting powerful monsters is a much faster way to level up than hunting weak ones. He emphasizes that an expensive weapon is vital to boost damage since enchanters have low attack stats. Then, he suggests they find portals where they can actually make money. But trust me, you and I both know Ikoma isn't taking no for an answer. She tries to apologize. Alright, you and I are about to see Ikoma reassure her, saying a weapon for his partner benefits them both. At this, she reacts with surprise, her eyes sparkling when she hears the word partner. Satsuki eagerly expresses her excitement, confirming they are finally partners, while he reflects on her innocence and his desire to protect her from being used. Satsuki asks where they can find this portal, and he points to the tablet in front of him. He reveals he already has a portal in mind, showing her something on the tablet. The destination is the Tomb of the Ancient King, a new, undeveloped location with a high chance of massive rewards. As he works on his computer, it is revealed that special locations are incredibly rare portals and nobody else knows the Tomb of the Ancient King is one of them. Ikoma has this knowledge because he spent his past life studying every detail about portals. Selling items from there is extremely profitable, and he wants to trade them for cash. It is possible to find rare gear in portals like this one, just like this detailed weapon. He notes there won't be much competition, so they can take their time and grab everything. Now watch this part. Satsuki notices Ikoma laughing in a weird way as they reach the tomb entrance. Walking through the thick mist, Satsuki looks back nervously while he marches straight ahead. Suddenly, a level 29 skeleton soldier appears. Ikoma summons his power, which reduces the enemy's gravity. He strikes the skeleton with his sword. He is moving so fast that Satsuki is stunned by his combat skills. Ikoma states that direct attacks are not effective against undead monsters. He tells his partner to cover him with long-range spells. She quickly agrees and summons a magic circle. He leaps over the skeleton as the monster attacks. The skeleton is struck by Satsuki's shadow ball. Ikoma looks at the screen message, which indicates he has gained 240 experience points. The skeleton's remains vanish, leaving a glow behind. Satsuki notices the monster dropped a demon stone and an item. Ikoma says they got lucky seeing the weapon glowing on the ground. She is shocked it is worth 400,000 yen. She questions the value and he explains it is not easy to find weapons like that one. Even without flashy effects, it is worth a fortune. She asks what their money goal is, and Ikoma says they need 3 million yen for gear that will last. You and I see Satsuki reacting in total shock at that price. He explains that rare portals with easy items are hard to find, so they must make the most of it. Ikoma also mentions it will take time to move the items. He explains they will be hauling loot out for the next 3 days straight. Surprised, Satsuki calculates that this means 1 million yen per day. That amount is way beyond any salary she's familiar with. Soon, sounds of combat indicate someone is fighting nearby. Ikoma decides they should go check it out. Ahead, a knight and Hosa face a mummy. The knight charges, telling Hosa to finish it while she asks if the camera is ready. The knight, who is also her manager, confirms that everything is set with the camera. He then instructs the girl to be quick and activate her fire magic. Hosa prepares, wielding her weapon with a fiery aura for the lens. She then leaps, striking the mummy with her flaming weapon. Just like that, Hosa finishes off the enemy, which collapses to the ground. She flashes a smile for the camera, announcing she decided to try out an undeveloped portal today. Hosa claims to have killed it in one hit, concluding that clearing the portal might be easier than she thought. Ikoma and Satsuki realize she is a portal streamer. Satsuki reveals she has seen Hosa's channel a few times. Ikoma watches her with disapproval. Satsuki remembers that he does not like portal streamers. She recalls he hates Hosa's behavior, since she only cares about views and profit. He wonders if she even realizes how dangerous portals are. Hosa notices something and asks in confusion. She complains to Ikoma and Satsuki, who are visible at the top of the stairs. Hosa scolds them, saying they are in the shot and ruined her chance at getting views. Ikoma calls her out for finishing a monster someone else nearly killed. She claims it is part of the show. In the entertainment business, it is not about skill, it is about looking charming. So what do you and I think? Her manager says the footage is ruined and they can't be edited out. Stick with me, you are about to watch a streamer get her big introduction ruined by a couple of random hunters. She is Hosha Sayangji, a famous portal streamer. Ikoma apologizes and introduces himself along with Satsuki Kisaragi, who gives a polite little bow. He tries to explain that crashing her shot was a total accident. Hosha brushes it off, saying she will let it go since she is on the hunt for new material. Ikoma asks why anyone would even want to be a portal streamer. She says the answer is obvious. Then she flashes the OK sign with her hand and says it is all about the cash. Ikoma knows portals are provocative enough to farm views and big ad deals. Hosha adds that if she gets famous enough, she will be a true celebrity. But he warns her that being a hunter is no joke and she should quit before she gets hurt. Her voice gets loud as she demands to know what he just said. Ikoma warns that these portals are dangerous and she should take her celebrity games elsewhere. If she does not get serious now, she will definitely regret it when her skills are put to the test. Hosha just stands there in total silence, staring him down. She complains that he did not just ruin her footage, but now he is actually mocking her. Satsuki tells him he did not have to be so harsh, but he says it is just friendly advice. Her manager tells her to just ignore him. She agrees, telling herself she should just ignore the haters and keep moving. Then she catches him off guard by ordering her manager to start filming. She asks if his name is Ikoma. As she walks up, she says he must be pretty confident to be handing out advice like that. Now pay attention to this challenge. She proposes a game to see who can gather more demon stones, and if she wins, he has to apologize for every word he said. She also makes it clear she will be filming and uploading everything. Ikoma narrates that she even plans to put a censor bar over his face, making him look like some random hater who started a fight with her. Hosha finishes by promising that if he wins, she will give him anything he wants. Ikoma accepts the offer, leaving Satsuki in shock. Hosha laughs and calls it a deal, telling them she will see them at the entrance in 3 hours. She smiles and warns him not to run away. Torches light up the long passage as they head further inside. Her manager asks why she even challenged him. Hosha just imagines how viral a video of her beating a hater would be. She says this is exactly the viral hit she needs to make a massive amount of money this month. But more than that, she really wants to teach this guy a lesson. She vows to make him eat his words about her not being serious. Meanwhile, Ikoma and Satsuki watch a mummified monster staggering toward them. He launches his meteor drop attack, slamming it right into the monster. Ikoma gains 364 experience points, reaching level 31 and getting 3 skill points. He notes that these undead monsters are actually pretty slow. You and I both know his gravity skills are broken. He dodges their hits easily, using reverse gravity. Then he finishes them with increasing gravity. A demon stone appears with a flash as the monster falls apart. Ikoma celebrates getting another one along with an item called a D-rank ancient relic gauntlet. Satsuki asks why he accepted that bet. Ikoma explains he did not like the idea of her filming him losing. He says he will not lose, and hopes she stops filming in portals if he wins by a landslide. He also mentions that carrying all this loot will be a real problem if they keep finding more items. The two of them push forward toward a blinding light ahead. They find a massive Sphinx statue and Ikoma wonders if it is a dead end. Suddenly, the statue comes to life, its eyes glowing with intense light. Satsuki stares at the giant statue in absolute shock. The exit is suddenly sealed, trapping them inside. Ikoma realizes they tripped a trap and notes that portals are full of various creatures and tricks. Most are simple, but rare portals like this one can offer some of the most valuable items in the world. The creature with glowing eyes demands answers to test their knowledge. It says it will keep asking questions until they can no longer give a response. Then it warns that it will kill anyone who fails to get at least 3 answers right. Satsuki asks if it is a monster. Ikoma warns a fight will break out if they fail and tells her to be ready. She is worried, but he tells her not to sweat it because he is smart. The creature prepares itself, its eyes glowing as it announces the very first question. It asks how much experience is needed to reach level 10. And trust me, you and I are about to find out just how much of a genius Ikoma really is. The beast confirms his answer, and he realizes he's only 2 correct questions away from a win. Alright, You and I are about to see how past life research pays off. Question 19. A monster with 3 heads and 4 legs. Without missing a beat, Ikoma calls it out. It's the scary doll. Sitting beside Satsuki, he dares the creature to keep going since it promised to ask until he finally fails. Satsuki, watching the drama, jokingly suggests he should just miss one to give the poor thing a break. Fuming with rage, the creature screams out the 20th and final question. It asks about a monster leaving green slime trails, but Ikoma knows there are no such portals currently active. He exposes the trap, explaining that green slime is strictly an alchemy trick. The creature screams in total disbelief that he actually got all 20 questions right. As rocks begin crumbling around them, the monster stares at Ikoma in total shock at his performance. In his narration, he notes the door finally creaks open, leaving the statue looking completely baffled. It's like he just aced an open book test. As they turn back, Satsuki points toward the statue and tells him she sees something hidden deep inside it. Now pay attention here, he's just stumbled upon a glowing, rare rank B storage ring. He grips the ring, knowing this kind of utility item is incredibly hard to find. Satsuki asks if it's really that valuable. Ikoma explains it could fetch between 10 and 100 million yen. Her eyes go wide, stunned that a single item could be that rare and valuable. Ikoma admits he never expected to find something this rare in a low-level portal. Maybe it's a reward for acing those riddles while that creature watched in total annoyance. Satsuki worries they're losing time on their bet, but Ikoma explains the ring will actually speed them up by carrying their loot. He flashes a confident smile, knowing their luck has just taken a massive turn for the better. As they move deeper, he realizes the monsters in this zone aren't actually that hard to handle. He engages a skeleton warrior, noting that while they resist physical strikes, he needs to get in close. He dives in for the kill while Satsuki provides long-range support with her devastating spells to finish them off. Hosa's group notes that the mummies are slow, making them perfect targets for gravity manipulation and powerful attacks. She adds that these slow-moving mummies are basically just walking mana batteries for her to drain. Ikoma can't believe the drop rate here. He's already jumped from level 31 up to 33 and found 2 rare weapons, which he easily stores inside his new ring. He tells Satsuki the new ring is huge for them. They've already got 6 demon stones enough to win, but he's here to make real money. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Why stop now? Let's hunt every last undead monster before time runs out. The scene cuts to a completely exhausted Hosa, gasping for breath. She celebrates their victory, admitting these monsters are relentless and incredibly tough for her team to put down. Her knight companion grumbles that they've only managed 2 kills so far. This is taking way longer than planned. He agrees, frustrated that they'd usually be done with a gate like this on any other day. He tries to play it cool, assuming Ikoma's team isn't doing any better than they are. Hosa actually thinks about bribing them to fake a loss, but her teammate tells her to stop with the fake videos. Just then, Ikoma and Satsuki walk up and surprise her. He casually remarks that she must be doing pretty well if she has time to just sit around. She snaps back, claiming she's doing fine and offering to let him off easy if he just offered an apology. Ikoma just ignores her and activates his brand new storage ring to show off the massive haul. Hosa screams in total shock as a literal mountain of rare items and demon stones erupts from the ring's light. Stunned, she demands to know where he got all this loot and what that crazy ring even is. He just grins at her. Hosa is totally speechless, thinking back to when she said she'd forgive him. Furious, she declares the contest isn't over yet and storms off with her manager in tow. Satsuki asks why he was so cold to her. He says he's just trying to keep her motivated. He just hopes she doesn't get too motivated and do something reckless. Then Satsuki asks why he hates gate streamers so much. He explains it's not hate, it's their lack of respect for how dangerous being a hunter really is. One wrong move in a gate and you're dead. This isn't a game to be taken lightly. He points out that streamers like Hosa are only in it for the fame and the views. He warns that without true commitment, she'll regret her choices the second she faces real danger. Trust me, you and I are about to see Hosa do something absolutely desperate to flip the situation. Alright, you and I are about to witness a high-stakes bet where her pride as a hunter is totally on the line. Her partner warned her. They were too deep in, and their mana was hitting 0. But she refused to quit. She needed every drop for the trip back, demanding to know who dared say she wasn't a real hunter. 8 years ago, the world was a nightmare of fire, explosions, and endless screaming. Chaos ruled. Back then, gate incidents were death traps, claiming far more lives than today, while massive monsters roamed free. Young Hosa was begging for her life. She and a small boy watched in horror as an orc slaughtered both their parents right in front of them. Running fast, she gripped the boy's hand with everything she had. In a crowded shelter, survivors huddled together in fear. Everyone watched the 2 orphans, 2 kids who had just lost their parents to the chaos outside. She stared at her phone. She watched a broadcast about Miss Kwan, the 5th-ranked hunter in the country. In that moment, Hosa realized she hated being helpless and swore to get stronger. She never dreamed of standing before a camera or getting this far, but it filled her with genuine joy. Giving hope to people living in fear of monsters? That was her real mission. She didn't need to be the most powerful, she just wanted to be a light for others. Now pay attention, this is where she vows to make Ikoma eat his words and prove her commitment to the world. Just then, she told her partner they needed better footage. Something big. She heard a noise and headed straight toward what sounded like a massive beast. Dashing forward, she joked that luck had always been on her side. While her companion hesitated, she peeked around a wall. A perfect filming opportunity was standing right there. A golden pharaoh loomed ahead, multiple weapons in hand, towering over a person collapsed on the ground. The system identified it a level 40 undead pharaoh, the boss of the tomb of the ancient king. A B-rank boss? Here? Panic set in as she realized this was way out of her league. Her companion realized the truth. Someone probably dragged this nightmare here while trying to flee. They had to get out, right now. Forget the footage and the bet. Hosa agreed, hoping the monster couldn't follow them into the narrow passage. But as the survivor cried for help, Hosa saw her younger self again, and you and I both know there is no way she can just walk away from this. In that split second, she finally understood Miss Kwan's message. She wouldn't be the person who runs when someone is in desperate need. She apologized to her partner and lunged forward, her sword clashing against the monster's massive weapon. She yelled at the survivor to run while she held the pharaoh back. The survivor fled as the monster unleashed a violent flurry of attacks. Suddenly, her partner stepped in, blocking the blow and declaring that these attacks were useless against him. He fanboyed out, claiming to be Hosa's #1 fan. The manager wasn't running, he wasn't leaving her alone. He wasn't a fighter, but he could be the bait as the pharaoh closed in. Gasping for air, Hosa stood her ground to protect the fallen manager. A glowing blue shield erupted around the warrior, but the monster was already mid-swing with a lightning-fast strike. Impact! The shield shattered like glass. Hosa realized they were outclassed in speed, strength, and raw power. This is what a real boss-level monster looks like. Total devastation. She trembled as the enemy loomed over her, crossing its twin blades for the final kill. Fear gripped her. But then, Ikoma appeared out of nowhere, calling her actions reckless and dangerous. The pharaoh struck, but a barrier held firm. She opened her eyes to find Ikoma holding her close. Stunned, she asked how he found them. He explained he had doubled back specifically because the hunter she rescued told him exactly what happened. Ikoma Jusaihu. He reminded her once again that being a hunter is serious business, and if she won this bet, he would have to swallow his pride and apologize. With a small smile, he admitted she'd won. Right there, holding her, he finally apologized for doubting her. Now, you and I are about to see him break the laws of gravity as he charges the beast. Alright, let's watch Ikoma block this monster's lethal first strike. He uses gravity reduction to kill the weapon's momentum, throwing himself back to create some vital breathing room. Satsuki jumps in, firing a shadow sphere that slams directly into the beast with a burst of dark energy. She managed to draw its attention away from Ikoma, even if the blast didn't leave a single scratch. He spots his two injured teammates, reflecting on how he rarely ever gets a fair fight against high-level monsters. Standing before them is the undead pharaoh, a terrifying level 40 nightmare. He knows his weapon can boost his gravity skills, but there is no easy way out of this. He realizes the odds are stacked heavily against them. Hosa insists she can't abandon the others since they only came here because of her. Ikoma claims he actually enjoys a challenge, then asks Satsuki to help replenish Hosa's mana while he holds the line. He'll draw the monster's aggro to give her time to recover her strength. Watching her use fire magic, he realizes she is a swordswoman who uses spells to cover any openings in her combat style during a fight. He bets she has healing magic too, so she can fix herself up while he keeps the pharaoh busy. With Satsuki providing support, Hosa starts recharging her mana, preparing to dive back into the fray. Ikoma considers how his gravity reduction trades raw power for a massive boost in movement speed. Moving like a blur, he's relieved that for now, he just needs to distract it, not kill it. The level 33 hunter knows he just needs to dodge, even if the level gap is completely insane. He believes his gravity manipulation will keep him out of reach. When the injured hunter offers to assist Hosa, Ikoma tells him he can count on him. He leaps past a strike, noting the boss is massive, incredibly fast, and wields 4 deadly arms. Watch this, the creature slams the ground with world-shattering force. The pharaoh strikes with blinding speed, leaving Ikoma wondering if that massive shockwave was actually the creature's ultimate move. He'll have to stay sharp to avoid getting crushed by a power like that. The fallen hunter struggles on the floor, his body feeling like lead as he wonders if he's even alive. He checks on Hosa and realizes the battle is still raging as Ikoma flies over the charging beast with incredible, surprising agility to save the day. Confused, he can't believe how fast Ikoma is moving out there. He reaches for his camera while Ikoma literally runs along the creature's massive forearm to stay safe. Ikoma charges forward. Seeing the epic scene, the hunter starts filming, calling the moment absolutely glorious. But his attacks aren't doing anything. Reducing gravity makes him faster, but it kills his striking power. The level gap is just too wide to win this alone. However, he believes they still have one last trick left. Satsuki and Hosa suddenly release a blinding flash of energy, activating a reverse mana drain. Hosa smiles, declaring she has more than enough mana now, as her powerful healing magic finally surges back through her entire body. Alright, you and I see it. Satsuki takes the rear while Ikoma prepares for the real fight. Even with their team back in action, they're still at a massive disadvantage. If this battle drags on, they won't last long against such a boss. Ikoma stands his ground against the undead pharaoh. The pharaoh unleashes a flurry of attacks, but Ikoma dodges every single one while scanning his environment. He suddenly finds himself face to face with a smaller creature. Satsuki screams out a warning that he's been surrounded. Ikoma uses his ability to make a massive stone statue weightless, before hurling it directly at the pharaoh's towering figure. He yells for Satsuki to aim her next big attack right at the creature's mask. A blue aura explodes around her as she prepares a massive sphere of dark energy and fires it point blank at the boss. The smoke clears, finally revealing the area around the monster's eyes. No damage, but they got the vital intel. Ikoma realizes that mask is a heavy shield, meaning the face is actually the boss's only true weak point. Hosa quickly maneuvers herself into the pharaoh's blind spot for a strike. The forearms make it almost impossible to dodge, but she pushes through the monster's relentless onslaught. She struggles to get close even with help, wondering how Ikoma was doing this all alone. He tells her to use her magic to shatter that mask while he pins the enemy down. He's going to stop its movements entirely and create the perfect opening for her. Trust me, you and I are about to see if his weapon can actually smash through that god-tier armor. Hosa nods and triggers her ability, causing her blade to glow with intense light. Stick with me, let's see if he can actually stop this massive monster. Ikoma lunges forward, instantly positioning himself right above the pharaoh to launch an attack. He tells himself that the beast's power is concentrated in its four arms. If he can lock them down, its movement will be crippled and wide open for an attack. With that strategy in mind, he activates his gravity ability to bind the figure. He notes that he used his technique specifically to lock the pharaoh's arms rather than its torso. With its shoulders immobilized, it can no longer use its arms to break free. Ikoma reflects this only works on massive monsters with multiple arms per shoulder. As he watches the figure being completely restrained by his gravity ability, he prepares his next move. Meanwhile, Hosa focuses, knowing she finally has a clear shot at the target. She then unleashes her power, firing a devastating blast of energy that hits the undead creature directly. The pharaoh's mask cracks and shatters, revealing a horrifying face with multiple eyes and a deformed, twisted mouth. They both stare in shock. Ikoma notes its weakness is exposed, while Hosa is visibly startled by its appearance. Ikoma rushes toward the figure, determined to take it down while it is still completely bound. Immediately after, he reverses gravity, leaping to dodge the pharaoh's counter and shattering the ground on impact. Watch closely, he predicts the beast will use all its arms for one final strike, planning to strike back then. He realizes this move will force the monster to lower its head, exposing its one true weakness. Then he shouts that this is the end, delivering a massive, decisive blow to the creature. In that instant, he triggers his Meteor Fall skill, launching a powerful attack that smashes the pharaoh's head. With a smile, Ikoma holds the golden ring and sees he leveled up after defeating the boss monster. Meanwhile, Hosa helps an injured warrior on the ground while another one just stands there watching. A glow emerges from the corpse, and Satsuki notices something. She calls Ikoma over to show him a magic weapon. In a brief moment, Ikoma offers the newly discovered weapon to Satsuki, saying it is perfect for her so they won't need to buy one. Surprised, Satsuki asks if she can keep it. He recalls she helped him get his own gear, and mentions that Hosa should also get something. You and I can see Hosa is touched, but she tells Ikoma not to worry since he saved them. She offers him the item and the demon stone, but asks to call off their bet instead. Ikoma reminds her she actually won. He admits she is a respectable hunter, and takes back everything he said before. Surprised by his kind words, Hosa reacts while Ikoma and Satsuki share a warm smile. Soon after, he suggests quitting streaming to become a better hunter, which makes Satsuki absolutely lose it. While the armored warrior claims it is impossible to survive as a hunter, Ikoma completely disagrees. He then recalls Hosa's father passed away and her mother is injured, leaving her to support 5 siblings. Hosa tries to silence the warrior who keeps talking about her struggles. Ikoma then sincerely apologizes for judging her situation without knowing the full truth. She turns away, stating she likes her job and telling him not to get the wrong idea. Hosa explains her goal is to make people smile because the portals are so terrifying for everyone, showing examples of her work. Ikoma smiles and promises to support her, leaving her blushing in silence. 4 people, including Ikoma, Satsuki, and Hosa, talk with 2 uniformed men who are holding several documents. The scene shifts, and Hosa nervously asks about the condition of her camera, remembering it was expensive and built for fast action. Luckily, a warrior confirms it still works perfectly. Even so, the warrior complains they barely got any demon stones or footage despite almost dying in there. Hosa thinks they should have taken the boss stone, but she stands her ground, refusing to accept anything out of pure pity. She asks repeatedly if the camera caught anything useful, begging them for just one good shot. The camera screen then reveals a crisp recording of Ikoma in the middle of the action. Later, at the Marima branch of the Hunters Guild, Ikoma reads while Satsuki watches her phone. Excitedly, she calls him over to watch a video that has just gone viral. And that's where we leave it. You and I know he's going to need expert help for what's coming. Alright, let's dive into the story of a rumored Supreme Hunter finally appearing. Hosa posted a video of Ikoma's latest fight, and it's blowing up. The comments are full of people losing it over his insane speed and fearlessness. He just smirks. Ikoma realizes the stairs are because of that viral clip. Satsuki says it hit 1 million views in 24 hours. Back in her room, Hosa is ecstatic seeing her upload reach such a massive milestone. She is literally cheering for herself when suddenly, her phone rings. It's Ikoma Ichinoze. Startled, Hosa answers quickly. She only gave him her number to share intel, after all. Her face drops when he asks, cold and sharp, how she dared to post that video. Heartbroken, Hosa thinks about deleting the content. But Ikoma remembers her protecting that struggling warrior family earlier. He lets it go, saying he just noticed the clip. Hosa finally breathes again. Since it's viral, she playfully suggests their next collab should be a portal date. Before she can finish, he hangs up. Satsuki asks why, but Ikoma just brushes it off. He's focused on his rising level. If he gets stronger, he can find that rare item, the Ring of Wisdom. Clenching his fist, he knows he can change history. Now watch this. The receptionist points. Ikoma is officially level 36. He's promoted to C rank right then and there. He and Satsuki head away from the desk. She's amazed by his growth, and he wishes her a fast promotion too. Behind them, the receptionist is stunned by this record-breaking pace. Knowledge is everything. The fastest way up is hunting high-tier monsters. Satsuki calls him the strongest C rank around and promises to work hard to reach his level. He doesn't stop there. He plans to hit B rank by month's end. Satsuki is worried. That's a crazy goal since even top guilds rarely have someone that powerful. But Ikoma has his eye on something. He needs to enter the high-level Library of Illusions portal. To do that, B rank is mandatory. The undefeated boss drops that legendary Ring of Wisdom. Confused, Satsuki asks how he knows exactly what will drop. She asks if this is about his secret goal. Ikoma confirms it. You and I both know this ring holds the secret. It was a priceless treasure that vanished in his past life. In the past, experts used it. They were studying how gates appear, and he needs it now. He wants the item for himself, telling Satsuki she is not obligated to help with this dangerous mission. She won't back down. He has helped her way too much. She feels happy being useful to him, and he gives her his thanks. Still, hitting B rank in weeks seems impossible. But he assures her his plan is solid. They just need to set a record that shocks the world. Boom! A level 32 red troll appears and gets instantly crushed. Satsuki follows up by taking down a mermaid chief. Then, an arachnid ogre gets hit by a meteor. Satsuki jumps from level 32 to 35. She can't believe they cleared 3 portals in 2 weeks. Even if the bosses were weak, Satsuki knows these fights are usually life or death. And trust me, you and I are about to see him climb even higher. He also drops a major bombshell. He knows every easy portal around the capital, and even has a complete list ready to go. Now check this out. He pulls up a map on his phone, showing they've already cleared 5 portals above level 30. A bit later at the guild, the receptionist checks Ikoma's record, and is stunned she can't believe one person has cleared this many portals. She explains they'll face a brutal evaluation for the B rank promotion, and will be contacted with the results in a few days. Suddenly, a massive, muscular man named Mr. Ukami shows up. He's furious, demanding to know if this brat is actually asking for a promotion to B rank. Ikoma eyes him carefully, spotting a guild crest and wondering if the man actually works there. Turns out, some top-tier hunters sign exclusive contracts to handle business directly for the guild. As the man argues with staff, we learn these hunters manage portals, respond to crises, and influence the organization. They hold massive sway over guild decisions, and Ukami is using every bit of that power right now. To him, the idea of Ikoma reaching B rank so young is nothing but a total joke. But the receptionist pushes back, noting Ikoma is nearly level 40, with a huge record of mid-level portal clears. Shocked, Ukami asks if that means the kid has already taken down multiple boss monsters. The tension is thick as they stare each other down. Ukami remembers it took him 7 years to become the only B rank here. Now watch his face. He's wondering how this kid caught up to him. Ikoma sees it and knows this guy is trouble. Ukami gets in his face, doubting how a boy who looks like that could ever be a B rank. Ikoma knows that without this guy's sign-off, getting promoted at the Mora branch is going to be tough. Still, he can't back down now. This is his hometown branch, and it's the only place he can apply. Thinking of all the support Satsuki gave him, he steels his resolve and won't back down. He turns to the man, confirms his name is Ukami, and demands a valid reason for the rejection. The hunter leans in close, snapping that B rank isn't for rookies who think gates are just some game. He aggressively demands to know if Ikoma even takes being a hunter seriously, waiting for an immediate answer. Everyone in the guild stops to watch the scene unfold. They whisper that Ukami is bullying people again. But then, Ikoma asks how many hunters reached B rank at 17. Confused, Ukami blanks on the question and asks what kind of nonsense the kid is talking about. Ikoma stays calm, mentioning it's been 15 years since the gates first appeared. Let's pause here. He notes 6 17-year-olds have reached B rank and asks if Ukami would have rejected them too. He states he meets every requirement and demands Ukami answer his question instead of just judging him for his age. Cornered, Ukami takes a step back, admitting the current rules about the gates aren't exactly perfect. He claims it's vital to listen to the experience of veteran hunters who actually work for the guild. But Ikoma fires back rules aren't based on feelings, but on hard data from past incidents. With a sharp look, he asks if that isn't the guild's official policy. As the receptionist agrees, she begins digging into her computer files to check. Satsuki watches, amazed that Ikoma's logic and knowledge actually surpass the veteran hunters in the room. People are whispering about how Ukami was left speechless, while the man himself calls it a bold move. He's humiliated. Now, he's planning to make Ikoma pay for what he just did. Vowing to make the kid regret this challenge, he asks for Ikoma's stats. The receptionist confirms he is a level 38 gravity user. He's never heard of that class before and wonders if it's some kind of incredibly rare specialty. Ikoma figures the class is likely mage type, and that having a powerhouse warrior helped him level up so fast. Suddenly, Ukami backs down, admitting he was being too harsh, and that a rejection without a good reason would be unfair. He announces he won't block the request after all. But there's a catch. He challenges Ikoma to prove his rank in a duel at the guild training hall. Over at the training hall, a crowd is already gathering and talking about the upcoming fight. Ukami repeats his deal. The promotion only happens if Ikoma can prove his skills in a real fight. Nearby, hunters whisper about Ukami's brutal history, recalling how he's nearly killed people in duels like this before. Others worry this won't end well, as Ukami usually uses these matches as an excuse to vent his rage. Satsuki looks on, worried. Watch what happens next. Alright, you and I are about to watch Ukami get hit with some serious karma. Looking at the levels, the kid is only level 38, while Ukami is already at level 47. Since he is a mage, Ukami thinks the kid only got this far with high-rank hunter help. He brags about being a beast warrior, a class that naturally boosts his physical stats to the max. Grinning, he plans to publicly humiliate the boy and destroy his future career as a hunter forever. As Ikoma pulls up a holographic screen, Ukami assumes he is preparing for some kind of direct combat. Knowing he needs an edge, Ikoma decides to dump his remaining points into gravity magic right now. He spends 25 points, boosting his gravitational manipulation all the way up to level 4. He expects a massive boost to his physical stats. It is a gamble, but he has no choice. Ukami starts trash-talking, mocking him for saving points and assuming he has had an easy life. With a sarcastic smirk, he warns the boy that accidents happen in the heat of battle. He tells him not to get hurt, but Ikoma just shrugs it off and draws his sword to fight. Now pay attention, Ukami is about to try and flex his superiority in front of everyone. He is smiling, dead set on humiliating Ikoma and stopping him from ever being a hunter again. Weapon in hand, Ukami tells his opponent to start the fight whenever he is ready to go. He claims he won't even use skills, but Ikoma stays silent, just carefully reading the situation. Standing in the center of the arena, everyone's eyes are glued to them, waiting for the action. Smirking, Ukami declares it is finally time for the boy to learn what real public humiliation feels like. The second the fight starts, Ikoma activates his skill, instantly dropping the gravity in the space around him. Ukami thinks there is no way the kid can touch him, and he will become a total joke. But Ikoma lunges forward with insane speed. Ukami literally can't process how he moved that fast. He barely blocks the strike, left wondering how a level 38 has that kind of explosive speed. Suddenly, Ikoma is behind him. Ukami freezes in shock, his brain screaming, "What just happened?" Telling himself it was a fluke, Ukami spins around and launches a counterattack with his heavy blade. Ikoma is literally hovering mid-air while Ukami stares up, grip tightening on his sword in confusion. That's when Ukami loses his balance. He's staggering. His gravity is gone. Then, Ikoma blasts forward again. A perfect kick connects right with Ukami's face, spraying blood across the arena floor instantly. He is coughing up blood, reeling from the blow. Even wounded, he is still trying to swing. He realizes he just got hit by a flawless combo. How can anyone even fight like this? You and I can see it clearly. Ikoma is absolutely dominating this entire battle right now. Meanwhile, the crowd whispers that Ukami must be holding it. Watching the boy move like a blur, Ukami finally realizes his own attacks can't touch the kid. He hears the crowd laughing. He is making a fool of himself while Ikoma hovers over him. In this moment, Ikoma realizes something that his opponent hasn't even begun to grasp yet. He explains that gravity users are the ultimate class, boosting physical stats way beyond what's normal. Plus, this advantage is lethal in short fights where he won't run the risk of running out of mana. He tells Ukami he's a fool for thinking level, and holding back skills would be enough to win. He remembers that Karu has far more direct combat experience, with more refined movements and an obsessive desire to win. Without a second of hesitation, Ikoma lunges forward, ready to finish Ukami off with his sword. He cranks up the gravity. Ukami is shocked. The weight of the blow feels like a mountain. He isn't just fast, he's powerful. For a split second, Ukami wonders where he went. Ikoma appears upside down in mid-air, while Ukami is still staring at the empty spot on the ground. Next, he's behind him, pointing his sword right at Ukami's back. And that's where we leave it. He dropped the gravity right after their blades clashed together. Let's dive in. You and I are about to see a fighter reposition perfectly for a win. Everyone watching this fight knows it. The veteran rank B hunter stands zero chance against Ikoma's speed. Satsuki is beaming, absolutely hyped by his performance. Meanwhile, Ukami is just standing there in total shock, like it is a bad joke. He refuses to accept the loss. For a high ranker, this kind of humiliation is just totally unacceptable. Ikoma asks if this win finally makes him an official rank B hunter. But then wait for it. The evaluator stops moving, sensing something strange. Consumed by a red aura, he lunges toward the boy aggressively. He roars at Ikoma, eyes glowing a demonic red as he triggers a deadly claw skill for a sudden, brutal strike. The impact slams into Ikoma, forcing the young man back several steps. Ikoma explains that he only took the hit because he let his guard down, thinking the duel was done. Ukami just looks at him, thinking the whole situation is completely pathetic. He explains that the weapon was just a decoy to set up his real killing blow. Don't blink, because what happens next is absolutely insane. The crowd shouts that this is straight up cheating since the match was already over. They all saw him promise not to use any special skills during this duel. He stays furious, even as the entire crowd starts booing him. A confused Ikoma asks what is going on and if the rank test continues while a swirl of energy begins to surround him. Ukami is shaking with rage, swearing he will turn this kid's life into a total nightmare for mocking him. Ikoma just wants to know if he passed the test. Ukami realizes that losing to a lower rank rookie would be a disaster, destroying his pride and his influence in the guild. So, he shuts it down. Promotion denied. The room goes quiet while Ikoma just stands there motionless. The evaluator claims Ikoma has agility, but lacks a decisive blow, making him weak against truly powerful monsters. He lies and says he gave him openings on purpose that the boy failed to take. Finally, he points out that Ikoma could not even dodge that last hit, proving he cannot handle the unexpected. I know what you are thinking. This guy is a fraud, and the crowd agrees it is totally unfair. Ukami glares at the crowd until they flinch. His friend warns him to stay quiet and not provoke the evaluator's petty, dangerous wrath. Suddenly, Utsunomiya shouts his name, asking if he has even an ounce of shame left. He accuses Ukami of breaking his promise by using secret skills, stating that Ikoma clearly held the advantage through the entire epic fight. The evaluator just tells him to shut up, calling him a literal nobody. Utsunomiya promises Ikoma he will fix this and make sure the truth gets out. The young man refuses the offer, questioning the use of the term best friend and why he even wants to help. Satsuki watched the whole thing, and knows in her heart he won. She wonders why he is acting like this, until she realizes he needed to show the world the massive power gap between them. He made sure to leave no doubt about who was really in control. He starts to think maybe he was too hard on the man's pride, but then realizes it doesn't matter now. Defeating him didn't change a thing. Then, someone important approaches to see what all the noise is about. It is the deputy guildmaster, Saruzawa. He was looking for Ukami this entire time for something. Ukami scoffs, telling his boss that evaluating this kid was just a total waste of time. Saruzawa looks at Ikoma's injury and asks if that was really necessary, even if accidents do happen in training combat. Ukami calls it a tiny scratch. Saruzawa just shrugs and tells him to forget it. Ikoma watches them leave as Ukami claims they have something much more urgent and important to discuss upstairs with the guild leaders. As Saruzawa walks away, Utsunomiya mentions with a look of pure surprise that he is the strongest hunter in the entire guild. Satsuki turns to Ikoma and asks what their next move is. He just sighs, saying they will find another way. Meanwhile, in the elevator, the deputy master asks if that brutal fight was really necessary for a simple evaluation. Ukami lies through his teeth, claiming he was just teaching an arrogant rookie some reality. The deputy master starts questioning the boy's actual rank B candidacy. So, what do you and I think? Is Ikoma about to get his revenge? Stick around to find out. Alright, stick with me as we dive into the Rank B Beast Temple Gate of the Morima branch. He says managing these high-level gates is insanely profitable for hunters. Hunters can level up and gather demon stones there. Then he points to the tablet, showing that monster distributions inside have shifted abruptly. He keeps going, warning that abnormal mana levels mean they should prioritize preventing a disaster over making money. The evaluator gets it. Serizawa wants to dump the Beast Temple before things get ugly. The other guy nods, admitting the ministry wants these rare Rank B gates open, and the Guildmaster is chasing the profit too. Apparently, the only reason they are stalling is because Ukami, a veteran hunter, swore the place was safe. Still, he has too many questions to trust it himself, so he asks the evaluator to give the Guildmaster a much-needed reality check. He starts wondering if that is the real reason he was called here. But Serizawa cuts him off, tells him he is not done, and then literally tells him to shut up. Suddenly, Ukami waves a paper, claims the gate is fine, and tosses it. Serizawa scrambles to grab the unread data. Then the evaluator stomps on the papers, asking what some data could possibly prove to him. With a smug smile, he brags that as a veteran expert, he guarantees the gate is secure, and that he will handle any mess that pops up personally. He slams his hand down. They cannot risk accidents when they do not even understand gate disasters. Serizawa stays silent, watching. Now, pay attention here, because while they argue, a sleeping beast finally opens its eyes. Ikoma realizes things are getting messy. He cannot believe how arrogant this Ukami guy is. He explains that since promotions happen through your own branch, there is no way to bypass that hunter. He states they absolutely need a Rank B hunter to enter the Library of Illusions. Satsuki could test elsewhere, but she just does not have the required level for a promotion. Now, they need to find a way around this. Hosa bursts in, demanding to know which guild hunter is blocking the promotion. She holds up her phone. A fan caught a video of Ikoma standing up to Ukami and sent it over. She wants to drop the video with a viral title, Guild Corruption, Ukami's Abuse of Authority. She is sure her 120,000 subscribers will protest this injustice. Ikoma asks if she is just chasing views, but she says she wants to pay him back for everything. Still, she would not mind if the action brought in some extra views and profit on the side. The boy tells her to kill the video. There is still too much they do not know about these portals. He explains that the guild relies on veterans, and public hate will not change guys like Ukami. Plus, it puts a target on her back. Satsuki reacts as she processes the warning. Hosa asks if Ikoma is actually worried about her, making Satsuki wonder if there is a crush brewing. Hosa looks shocked, asking where that even came from. She claims Ikoma is arrogant and annoying, even if he does have a pretty handsome face. She is only worried because he saved her, and as a celebrity, she cannot afford a dating scandal. Satsuki keeps staring until Hosa asks why, which she quickly tries to deny. Suddenly, an alert pings. Everyone checks their screens. A Rank B incident just hit Tokyo. Hosa points at the screen while Ikoma explains it is a dungeon overflow at the Temple of Beasts. Overflows happen when monsters invade our world. The only way to stop them is by killing the boss to seal the gate. You and I both know Ikoma lived through this, but this never happened in his past life. He wonders if this is all just one big coincidence. As memories of his past surround him, he realizes the timeline is finally diverging. Hosa notes that a supposedly stable portal has malfunctioned. She asks how the guild missed this after all their constant monitoring and analysis. She admits she has never faced a Rank B portal and lacks the power to really help anyone. Trust me, watching her remember her father's plea for help makes you realize why she is determined to protect the weak now. She announces she's finally heading straight to the location. Ikoma explains that it is impossible to know how dangerous a faulty Rank B portal can become once it starts causing supernatural phenomena and disasters. At the scene, Ukami faces off against a massive werewolf standing at level 34 amidst the rubble. The hunter leaps into the air to attack with his weapon, charging forward and swearing that no one will ever stop him. Internally, he worries that the situation is terrible, and that the portal's location will ruin his reputation. Nearby hunters praise the man for taking down such a strong monster with one blow. He scoffs, asking why there aren't stronger fighters here, instead of these weak Rank C hunters. They admit Rank B hunters are rare and reinforcements have no confirmed time of arrival. He claims his reputation is safe because he has actually fought the boss from this portal before. He identifies the boss as a level 47 Phantom Fox and insists it will be easy. Ukami intends to kill the boss monster quickly, to blame Serizawa and become the hero of Mima. The hunter declares it is finally time to eliminate the boss monster. Now watch this. A massive explosion rocks the street as a huge paw appears, and people start screaming in absolute terror. A giant monster with multiple fox heads engulfed in flames suddenly appears on the scene. The hunters cry out in alarm because the portal information never mentioned a beast like this. It is a level 55 summoner fox, a grotesque thing that leaves the boys questioning their survival. The temple boss has evolved, changing its form while gaining higher levels and brand new abilities. Mana accumulation in the portal caused this evolution, transforming the beast into an entirely new entity of disaster. Ukami realizes the boss has evolved, making the situation even more dire on top of the existing overflow. Utsunomiya sees the beast as level 55 and wonders how they can possibly fight it. Facing the situation, the two agree they must retreat and wait for stronger hunter reinforcements. Ukami calls them fools, stating that a retreat would ruin his reputation after insisting the portal stay open. He reminds them he's a rank B hunter who has survived plenty of dangers before. With a wicked grin, he suggests they act as bait so he can deliver the final blow. They refuse the reckless plan, knowing they wouldn't last 10 seconds as bait against that thing. Ukami gets angry as his companions refuse to follow his selfish commands. You and I are about to see how low this guy will sink, smiling as he activates his berserk skill to hit his own allies with a beam of dark energy. Red energy envelopes their bodies. They collapse in pain as the berserk spell takes hold, a beast warrior ability that spikes their power while completely stripping away their sanity and making them aggressive. The hunter reveals he frequently uses human bait to escape from monsters, though it has been a while. He kicks one guy, sending him flying straight forward. He then orders them both to attack the monster. With a sadistic smile, he plans to strike the final blow once they've provided a distraction, believing this will teach them that good people just don't survive in this world. Under the spell's effect, both men charge blindly at the massive flaming monster. They swing their weapons while the monster reacts, revealing a grotesque, pulsating eye on its back with eyelids made entirely of creepy, crawling human hands. The monster uses its poltergeist ability, levitating debris as it advances on the boys. Ukami is shocked, wondering how the creature managed to launch such a powerful attack. He dives for cover as debris falls, dismissing the screaming men as totally useless trash. A massive piece of rubble comes flying straight for his own head. He shatters it with a powerful blow, realizing the monster is using telekinetic powers. He realizes the monster's power is far beyond his own as it pursues him through the ruins. He desperately wonders if the enemy was always meant to be this ridiculously strong. The fox gets extremely close, forcing a terrified Ukami to draw his sword and raise his guard. Then the monster charges another telekinetic eye attack. You and I just saw a hunter become the prey. Let's see if he survives the next strike. Alright, you and I are about to watch a monster attack that gets absolutely brutal. He hits the dirt, finally feeling the beast's crushing and overwhelming power. Fighting this thing head-on seems impossible, but he decides it doesn't matter as long as he finds a way. He triggers his false death skill, stopping his pulse to trick the beast after taking a heavy hit. The creature scans his limp body, sensing no heartbeat, and finally turns its focus elsewhere. Ukami spots his chance and bolts, but the monster senses movement and snaps its eyes back open. The beast lunges with terrifying speed, catching the hunter and slamming him back into the ground. That extra eye on its back sees everything. He realizes escape is gone and dreads dying like this. The monster gathers dark magic, preparing a final strike to end him for good. Now, watch this. Mist invades his body while he screams in agony, realizing there is no escape from this cruel fate. Meanwhile, Ikoma finally reaches the city center amidst the total monster devastation. Hosa heals an injured civilian, who is surprised to see his wounds disappear, while Ikoma tells the man to run for safety. The man mutters his thanks and scrambles away as fast as he can. Hosa talks to a thoughtful Ikoma, who states they need to push forward and contain this overflow as fast as possible. The young woman nods in agreement, knowing he is absolutely right. She checks her phone. An hour has passed. Yet the problem is still not resolved. The Eradication Ministry should have defeated the boss monster by now, but Ikoma concludes they are taking far too long. He realizes he must assume the absolute worst, just as the possessed Ukami strikes a woman, sending her into shock. He then unleashes his beast claw attack, slicing right through the bald captain. The man grunts in pain, gripping his weapon tight before clashing steel against Ukami's frantic, mindless strikes. The attacker wears a twisted grin before a massive blow sends the captain flying backward. The woman screams for Kurokawa, while Ukami laughs, mocking how difficult it is to take down a rank B hunter. He claims this isn't some normal disaster, it's just a side effect of the coming calamity. In his eyes, the local troops and hunters don't stand a chance. Let's pause, because Ikoma arrives just in time with his gravity powers to stop Ukami from landing a lethal blow. He slams into Ukami midair, stopping the assault before anyone else gets hit. Ikoma realizes Ukami is under mind control, while the captain warns him that Ukami is no ordinary hunter and is dangerous. Without a word, Ikoma strikes with fast and fluid movements. The captain watches in awe as this kid dominates a rank B hunter with moves he's never seen before. He soon notices that Ukami is only using very simple attacks. It's nothing like his usual combat style, likely a result of the mind control, yet he still uses his beast claw. Ikoma dodges the strike easily, noting his enemy's restless movements as he begins to vary his own tactical approach. He instantly activates his gravity, increasing ability. Ukami is crushed into the pavement, howling as a powerful follow-up hit connects. He asks if Ukami can see clearly now. The dazed hunter stares back, confused, wondering if they're still in a match. Suddenly, he screams with pure rage, promising to kill everyone in sight. The possession takes hold again. Ikoma realizes his opponent's level is technically higher than his own. He decides it's time to stop holding back, even if it isn't personal. Launching into the air, he delivers a massive blow directly to Ukami's face. Ikoma cranks the gravity to the max, coming down hard with his meteor drop skill. With a massive impact, Ukami screams in agony as Ikoma suddenly severs his entire right arm. He then cuts the leg ligaments to keep him down, breathing heavily as the captain watches him. The veteran wonders about the boy's true power, imagining if he was holding back just to avoid killing the hunter. Hosa and Satsuki arrive breathless, and Ikoma apologizes for moving so fast. The captain orders an evacuation, and trust me, you and I will want to see what happens next. Stick with me, you and I will see Ikoma face a clock ticking fast. A massive two-headed summoner fox appears, killing any hope of a peaceful evacuation. Satsuki and Hosa can only watch, paralyzed with fear. The beast lets out a roar that sends massive shockwaves through the air. Ikoma draws his weapon, dead serious. Meanwhile, the monster just laughs as if it has already won. Satsuki stares at the grotesque nightmare, while Ikoma pulls up his system menu hologram to scan for data. The readout is terrifying, a level 55 summoner fox from the Temple of Beasts. Its level is way higher than any record, proving the energy overflow forced its evolution into this massive, terrifying monster. Ikoma realizes he has no clue what new, broken abilities this evolved beast might have learned. Hosa asks if killing it ends this nightmare. Ikoma says yes, but taking it down won't be easy. The boss summons dozens of level 30 phantom wolves. Suddenly, Ikoma and the girls are completely surrounded by predators. Hosa realizes the monster has summoned an overwhelming number of creatures. She panics, thinking about the massive casualties and destruction this overflow will cause if they fail. As the fox laughs, enjoying the chaos, Ikoma tells Hosa and Satsuki to hold the line and protect everyone while he prepares to charge straight ahead. Watch this, Hosa asks what he will do. He promises to end the boss and the overflow instantly. Hosa stares for a moment, then lets out a surprised, breathless laugh. She admits that while it sounds impossible, he actually looks like he can pull it off. She accepts the mission, vowing to crush the summons and keep the injured survivors safe at all costs. Ikoma lunges forward while the girls cover his flank. Captain Kurokawa watches in concern, calling it reckless for him to face a boss alone. Ikoma spots two spectral wolves howling nearby. He vaults over one of the wolves while the girls prepare below. He shouts he is counting on them, and Satsuki says they have it. He blurs into motion toward the fox. The monster counters with a high-level ability, Poltergeist. Massive chunks of buildings and jagged debris rise into the sky, clashing together. Ikoma watches the floating wreckage, impressed by the raw scale of the monster's power. Kurokawa can't believe a monster can use such a complex skill. The fox laughs, prepping its next barrage. You and I both know Ikoma is incredibly fast. But dodging this massive storm of flying debris is going to be absolutely insane. A spectral wolf lunges as the boss mocks them. Clearly, the beast thinks humans are mere playthings. Ikoma realizes he is being played with. He pushes his speed to the limit. He dances through the rain of debris, weaving closer to the boss with every step. Kurokawa is stunned by his speed, wondering how any hunter can move this way. He has never seen anything like it. Ikoma smiles, knowing his brutal years as a thief in his past life were finally paying off in this battle today. He keeps pushing. The fox's grin fades as Ikoma asks if it is anxious because its special move failed to hit him. Both heads snarl with pure rage. As Ikoma closes the gap, the beast lets out a deafening roar. This is it. Ikoma touches a final floating stone and activates his gravity reduction skill. He kicks the massive rock straight into the monster's mouth, the impact sounding like a bomb going off. The fox bites down, shattering the stone, but it takes the hit. Ikoma appears beside the beast, mocking its lack of defense. He charges his ultimate attack, Grante. A blinding flash erupts as the blow hits the enemy, followed by a piercing scream. Kurokawa stands frozen. One man just soloed a level 55 boss monster in seconds. He wonders who this young man is, concluding that with skills like those, he must be a top hunter. Ikoma knows that by killing the boss, the portal will close and the monsters will vanish. He has no time to waste. Hosa watches as the boy raises his weapon, declaring he will take down the beast as quickly as possible. Debris hangs menacingly. The monster's face is twisted in pure, unadulterated fury. Soon, the wreckage tries to surround Ikoma from above. He dodges the fragments, noting the monster's power is high but its aim is sloppy. He is an expert at escaping. He lands lightly, only to leap again. Hovering above, he concentrates his energy and forces the local gravity to its limit. Trust me, You and I just witnessed a meteor drop, a crushing finish to end it all. Alright, you and I are about to watch Ikoma strike this two-headed beast. Both heads shake as it hunts for him. He slams down the gravity on his foe, while following up with another crushing physical hit. As the beast hisses, Ikoma mocks it, asking if it thought he'd be helpless mid-air before circling around it. He laughs, explaining that gravity users can move however they want. Both heads growl, as Ikoma notes the fun is over. The beast screams a high-pitched shriek. Ikoma doesn't waste a second, diving in to deliver even more devastating attacks. During the clash, he realizes beast types are way easier to handle than humanoids who actually use strategy and skills. Ikoma strikes with his weapon, and the creature lets out another sharp cry as blood splatters across the battlefield. It roars, and though he has the upper hand, Ikoma knows the enemy's level is still far too high for him. He's running out of mana, and this thing's defense and aggression are way beyond what its level should actually allow. Even though he hasn't taken a single scratch so far, now, this is where things get really tense. Once his mana hits 0, he's a sitting duck. Should he start conserving energy? No, he can't back off. If he lets it recover for even a second, it's game over. He thinks about calling Satsuki and Hosa, but they just get caught in the monster's massive area of effect attacks. Besides, they need to save the wounded. Thanks to all the experiences from his past life, Ikoma can already accurately estimate the outcome. Looking at the attack, defense, and healing power of this summoner-type beast, he concludes that running out of mana equals a total loss. All the effort he spent cornering this boss would be wasted. Running away is the smart move, but instead, he chooses to take one more step forward. Hosa's face shows her deep concern about the mana overflow, which could cause even more damage. Ikoma just stares ahead with unwavering determination. He gives a small smile, refusing to retreat. Running away just wouldn't be right for someone like him. He charges the creature, focusing every ounce of his dexterity to make his skills as efficient as possible. He maneuvers above the beast, remembering the desperate lengths he went to in his past life to save his friends. He lands a direct hit, shouting that he survived way crazier things than this. The monster screams under the gravity crush. It actually backs away in fear. One of the heads glares at him, its eyes burning with a deep, crimson rage. Then, the beast summons a literal army of phantoms, filling the air with ghostly creatures. Ikoma realizes the boss has summoned a massive swarm of creatures again. He notices the fox still has plenty of mana, but is overusing it. The creature starts levitating debris all around it, launching a massive poltergeist skill attack. Chief Kurokawa shouts in disbelief, claiming that no hunter can take down a monster that spams skills without mana limits while fighting alone. Hosa panics, crying out that there's no way Ikoma can fight all those monsters by himself. You and I can see the danger here, but Satsuki notices something strange. The monster is actually shaking with fear. The enemy snarls, and suddenly, wolf phantoms lunge at him. Ikoma just raises his weapon, locking in his focus. He channels every drop of energy, dancing through the phantoms and tearing them apart with unreal speed. He slams his weapon into the main body, and the boss lets out a deafening howl. Everyone watching is in absolute shock, wondering how this young man can move with such insane speed. The monster growls as it finally slips. With one massive leap, he launches himself high into the air, hovering right above the beast. The demonic eye on the monster's back can't even track his movement, creating a perfect opening for a surprise attack. Ikoma strikes now. He executes a meteor drop, crushing the beast's eye. The boss lets out one final scream before crashing to the ground. The massive creature finally dissolves into nothing. As the threat vanishes, Ikoma shares a small, relieved smile. All that's left of the urban city is total ruin, with rubble scattered everywhere. He grips his weapon as a holographic menu flickers to life, announcing a massive amount of experience points and a jump of 6 levels. Defeating the boss grants him 6,480 experience points. He levels up from 38 to 44 and gains 23 skill points. The summoned wolves and overflow monsters finally vanish. Ikoma looks back at the battlefield, realizing that despite his victory, that fight was incredibly intense. His mana is completely gone. He bet everything on that one final hit. Satsuki can't help but cheer for him. She asks if the overflow is finally over, while Hosa wonders if she actually managed to help someone this time. As she remembers her father, Kurokawa is stunned. Trust me, you and I just saw an epic solo win. Alright, you and I are diving back in as Ikoma wonders about that kid while the trio hits the guild. Inside, the admin breaks some shock news. Despite being a C rank, Ikoma stopped the dungeon overflow all by himself. She tells them they prevented a total disaster and bows deeply, thanking all 3 of them for their heroic service. Rumors start flying. 2 hunters whisper about how these 3 took down a boss even the ministry could not handle. Satsuki quickly sets the record straight, telling everyone it was actually Ikoma who single-handedly shut down the entire overflow. The young man just looks embarrassed, rubbing his head and insisting he could not have pulled it off alone. He explains that without his team fighting the wolves, he would have run out of mana. Meanwhile, Hosa feels like an instant celebrity. Satsuki laments they did not film the action, but Hosa snaps back that you should not record people suffering during disasters. Ikoma watches her, thinking that even she can be surprisingly reasonable when it actually matters. Hosa's expression turns serious as she points out that many innocent civilians were still injured during the chaos. Across the room, Serizawa and his companion start walking away, moving through the crowded guild hall. He reflects on the disaster and how the eradication forces failed, wondering what would have happened if Ikoma had not saved them. As the crowd murmurs about the boss being defeated, Serizawa looks over and is stunned to see Ikoma standing there. The young man recognizes him too, but Serizawa can only stare with wide eyes, completely lost for words. He realizes this is the same guy who killed the boss, remembering how he totally underestimated Ikoma's strength before. Finally, Serizawa just smiles to himself, admitting that he clearly has zero eye for true talent. Now, pay attention here, because things are about to get ugly. Over in a hospital bed, Ukami is fuming, remembering the C-rank brat who cut his arm off. He is absolutely livid, hearing people actually believe a weakling like Ikoma stopped the overflow. To him, it is just absurd. He vows that Ikoma is going to pay the ultimate price for taking his arm. Ukami swears he will use every bit of his power and influence to destroy the young man and make him regret everything. But then Chief Kurakawa steps in, telling him he should actually be thanking Ikoma for subduing a B-rank hunter without killing him. He makes it very clear if it were not for Ikoma, the man would be in a body bag right now. Furious, Ukami barks back, asking how they dare mock a B-rank hunter like him. Then he demands to know why they are there. Chief Kurakawa just gestures for someone to enter, and the look on Ukami's face is pure, unadulterated shock. Kurokawa's companion is revealed to be a high-ranking member of the monster eradication forces. Ukami panics, remembering how he cast that berserk skill on those soldiers, wondering if any of them actually made it out alive. He looks cornered as Kurokawa confronts him, accusing him of using his skills to turn soldiers into mindless bait. Using mind-altering skills without consent is a massive crime, but abandoning his own troops in a red zone is even worse. Looking down at the hospital bed, they tell Ukami he should know exactly what the punishment is for portal-related crimes. Knowing his life is over, the villain explodes in a final fit of rage, cursing everyone in the room. Okay, I know what you are thinking. Reward time, right? Wrong. Back at the guild, Ikoma's promotion request gets flat-out denied. The attendant apologizes, explaining that the guild has to take the formal opinions of other high-ranking hunters into account. Since a guild hunter denied his previous request, he is stuck waiting 3 months before he can even try again. Ikoma is shocked, arguing that at level 44 he does not need a review, but she just apologizes again and tells him to come back in 3 months. He clenches his teeth, knowing that in 3 months, other hunters will have already cleared the library of illusions. His blood boils as he realizes that even from a hospital bed, Ukami has managed to ruin his entire plan. Satsuki jumps in, yelling that Ikoma is a hero who defeated the very man who denied him, but then the music shifts. The attendant reminds her that even though the man was arrested, guild policy is still guild policy, no matter the circumstances. Ikoma tells Satsuki to drop it, realizing that arguing with the front desk is not going to change anything. Still, he refuses to give up. He needs that ring of wisdom to change the fate of the entire world. He has to find another way to rank up. Suddenly, a voice from behind says they heard the whole thing. Satsuki and Ikoma spin around in surprise, and even the guild attendant looks like she has seen a ghost. It is Serizawa, the vice master of the guild. Ikoma asks if he is serious, but the attendant says it is not that simple. She warns that other hunters will complain, and the guild could be held responsible for breaking the rules like this. And trust me, we are about to find out if even the guildmaster can handle what happens next. Alright, you and I are about to see how our hero finally gets the recognition he deserves. Vice Master Serizawa reveals that while Ikoma turned down the promotion, the guild simply can't afford to wait. He knows the master might be annoyed, but he's confident he can smooth things over later. Ikoma is totally baffled, wondering why this guy is putting his own neck on the line. Serizawa explains the guild's job is safety, admitting they failed to act during the last disaster. Because Ikoma stepped up and stopped the carnage, the Vice Master is incredibly grateful. He extends a hand, offering not just his thanks, but his full support moving forward. With a confident grin, Ikoma accepts the deal, and they seal it with a firm handshake. Back at the desk, Ikoma and Satsuki wait until the official stamp finally confirms his new rank. Satsuki is absolutely losing it with joy, congratulating him on reaching the prestigious B rank. Our boy just gives a cool smirk, looking like he's exactly where he's supposed to be. Internally, he's shocked that he's leveling up way faster than he ever did in his previous life, but his expression stays serious, making Satsuki wonder if he's actually happy about the news. Now watch this. The mystery behind his return is about to get deep. He successfully stopped the gate disaster, but a B-rank catastrophe is still a massive deal. If this happened in the past, he'd know. He wonders if the entire timeline is shifting. He questions if his trip back in time is the reason for these strange events, but maybe the gates are just manifesting differently now. It could be a simple butterfly effect. Still, he can't shake this heavy, anxious feeling sitting in the pit of his stomach. He sighs, telling himself to stop falling into his old habit of being such a pessimist. He shakes it off and gets fired up. Just as a major news alert pings on his phone, his eyes go wide as he realizes the exact gate he's been waiting for has finally opened. The news reports the Library of Illusions just manifested a few minutes ago over in Kanagawa. Satsuki asks if this is the one he's been talking about, and he confirms it with a nod. That boss monster's Ring of Wisdom is the key, but they still need to register for the raid. He tells her he's heading there right now, asking if she's ready for another round. Blushing and clearly excited, she tells him she's absolutely sticking by his side. The scene shifts to a cold, official building, where a powerful older man answers a private call. Check this out, we've finally found our big bad, and he's definitely not playing around. The voice on the phone suggests blocking the gate, but the man says that's way too suspicious. He needs a proper excuse to act, otherwise people will start asking questions he can't answer. While looking at a caged bird, he decides to call in some mercenaries called Chimera's Fang. He stands up with a cold look, ordering them to move the moment the gate appears. Their orders are simple: kill the boss, destroy the loot, and eliminate every other hunter inside. It's the perfect plan to wipe the records clean without getting his own hands dirty. A sudden knock interrupts his plotting, and he tells the visitor to enter without even looking up. A young staffer walks in to report on the ministry's current status for the upcoming operation. He notices the phone and nervously asks if he's interrupting something vital. The man brushes it off, but his aura is terrifying. This is Kurabi Ho, the Minister of Monster Eradication. Cut to a high-speed train where our heroes are racing toward their next big challenge. Ikoma and Satsuki sit together, heading straight for the local guild branch to sign up. He explains that the Library of Illusions is massive, housing a dangerous level 60 boss monster. Satsuki looks worried about the power gap, but Ikoma promises her that everything is under control. With a bold smile, he tells her he's already mastered the strategy to take the boss down. They arrive at the branch, but Ikoma is stunned to find they can't enter the portal. You and I are going to have to wait to see why. Alright, you and I are about to see what happens when the guild plays God with a hunter's life. She claims other branches might allow it, but here, this is the final word, no exceptions. With casualties rising, the master is desperate to avoid bad press and keeps the pressure high. Ikoma snaps back, arguing that an unstable portal is far more dangerous than his solo run. He demands a B-rank permit, but she insists they'll just call in the heavy hitters to keep the portal in check. She mocks his recent promotion to B-rank, adding that his C-rank partner is basically dead weight to them. Suddenly, a guy in a hat walks up and asks if they're looking for adventure. Ikoma is instantly on guard. The stranger smirks and introduces himself as Jagoya, a level 43 priest. This B-rank priest claims he's looking to dive into that portal with some real talent. Ikoma realizes a healer is their golden ticket to finally getting inside. He needed to grind levels with Satsuki before the boss, but he can't shake the feeling this guy is bad news. Satsuki, however, is just hyped that they finally get to enter the portal. Jagoya grabs Satsuki by the face, checking Ikoma's name before calling out for more B-rank hunters to join them. Feeling the awkward tension, Satsuki timidly asks if she's even allowed on the team. Watch closely here, this silence says more than words ever could. He sneers that enchanters are hard to manage, then adds with a nasty grin that he doesn't want useless baggage. Satsuki is crushed, but Ikoma draws a line: if she stays, he stays. The priest glares, hating that Ikoma is standing up for her, and accuses him of trying to hijack the lead. Jagoya brags about his attack classes, but Ikoma counters that an enchanter's mana supply is vital for a long raid. The priest goes quiet, weighing the logic of Ikoma's argument. He gives a subtle nod. Jagoya finally agrees to take the girl and asks for their numbers to coordinate the raid start. He walks off, promising to register everyone and meet at the entrance. Later, the duo sits on a bench, nervously waiting for their phones to buzz. Satsuki is still on edge, wondering if they can really trust this guy, who seems way too demanding. Ikoma tells her they have to trust him a little. He figures a blunt person is better than someone hiding a knife behind their back. We both know Ikoma is just trying to stay positive here. They have no choice, they need those high-rank allies if they want any chance at taking down the boss. The scene shifts to the group meeting up in a dark, oppressive wasteland. A girl named Sion slams her scythe down, furious that Jagoya brought along 2 weak support classes. Jagoya explains they needed bodies for guild approval, but she's pissed he hid their low ranks from the team. With a smirk, he reminds her they're just there to fill slots. He admits Ikoma is high level, but Satsuki? She's just a carry-on. Satsuki quickly realizes this team is a total mess. She leans in and whispers to Ikoma, asking if they'll be okay. Ikoma thinks the priest was bad, but these other two are worse. Sion turns on them, threatening to kill them both if they try to touch the loot without putting in work. Ikoma just shrugs, saying he's fine with earning more for doing the heavy lifting. Sion scoffs, calling him a completely arrogant little brat. She asks her partner Hiru for his take, but he just hopes they don't get in the way. Ikoma notes their levels are high, but this team synergy is non-existent. Still, being the first ones in means they get the rarest loot first. Sion agrees. Even if the party structure is trash, and Ikoma knows he can't be picky either. So what do you and I think? Is this party doomed already? Alright, you and I are heading straight into a dungeon that's about to test everyone's limits. The priest is already acting high and mighty, desperate to prove his party is elite. Meanwhile, Sion and Hiru are treating the new recruits like garbage. Looking at this mess, Ikoma just hopes they don't all end up dead by the end of it. The dungeon entrance finally appears, with the name Library of Illusions glowing right there in the air. Without wasting time, the group steps through the portal and starts moving cautiously down the main hallway. Sagi notes that while the place looks elegant, it's actually a top-tier difficulty dungeon. He's already grinning, thinking about the fame and fortune that comes with clearing a rare portal like this one. San turns back toward them, double-checking if their names were actually Ikoma and Satsuki. She makes it clear they're just here to fill space, so they shouldn't try acting like heroes. But Ikoma isn't having it, pointing out his level is high enough and he didn't travel for nothing. Absolutely furious, Sion screams at him for even thinking about talking back. He just stays calm, explaining that if they're doing the work, they definitely deserve their fair share. Ikoma promises he understands they're just here for the numbers and won't go charging into any fights without reason. She scoffs and turns away, glad he knows his place since they definitely won't be needing his help. Satsuki is getting really nervous, but he tells her to just stay focused on clearing the portal for now. He keeps his face serious, already calculating every single move they need to make next. Now pay attention here, he knows it's only a matter of time before they need help. Suddenly, Sage stops. He opens an old book and looks completely stunned, admitting he can't read a single word of whatever strange language is written inside these pages. He starts wondering if this language is something unique to this specific realm. It's explained that besides items and stones, everything usually vanishes once you leave a portal. Because of that, scholars could only ever guess at the massive differences between our world and the civilizations inside these dungeons. None of those scriptures formed a real language. Every theory they had lacked proof. But the ring of wisdom hidden here? That's a rare item that holds all the answers. Ikoma's eyes sharpen with pure determination. He's getting that ring, no matter what it takes. Out of nowhere, a massive fire spell erupts. Caught off guard, Sage yells out and quickly slams down a magic shield to block the incoming barrage of fireballs. The spell slams into the barrier with massive force, shaking the entire area with the impact. Then, the enemy finally shows its face, a level 40 librarian goblin ready for blood. Hiru instantly activates Shadow Walk and appears behind the monster in a blink. With one brutal backstab, the goblin is dead before it even has time to react to the hit. The creature's lifeless body hits the floor right at Ikoma's feet, ending the fight instantly. While Sage claps and praises the ninja's lethal technique, Hiru just tells him to cut the flattery and stay focused. He turns to the newcomers and tells them to start picking up the stones, it's their only job. Sion snaps that they better get moving, but Satsuki points out that Sion didn't even do anything. Sion loses it, screaming that it wasn't even her turn to fight yet. Terrified by the sudden outburst, Satsuki immediately starts apologizing just to keep the peace between them. In that moment, Ikoma realizes these two are actually quite strong and know how to use skills. You and I saw that too, right? Ikoma just watched the ninja's movements very closely and finally figured out exactly what this guy's real class and secret identity is. So, Ikoma walks right up to the ninja and asks if he's Hirugasai. The ninja turns around, visibly annoyed, asking who gave this brat permission to use his name. Satsuki is panicking in the background, wondering why Ikoma is even talking to such a scary guy. Our lead just ignores her, replaying those moves, the shadow walk, the backstab in his head. He gets a huge grin, knowing for a fact that this guy is a rogue. Satsuki is standing there completely lost and shocked, barely able to even mutter Ikoma's name. He looks at the ninja and tells him he'll need way more power for the upcoming bosses. With fire in his eyes, he suggests the ninja start using specific skills. Hiru is just baffled, wondering what kind of lunatic he's stuck with in this dungeon. Ikoma warns that he needs to start teaming up with mages or distracting them, so he better choose quickly. But Hiru snaps, grabbing him and yelling that he'll take his head off if he tries to give advice again. Satsuki asks why he'd even bother, but Ikoma knows the rogue class inside and out. He knows rogues lose their edge at high levels and he doesn't want Hiru to fail. That's when Sion calls him an idiot, bragging that Hiru is actually a top-tier rogue hunter. Ikoma just smiles sadly. In his past life, he was literally the greatest rogue in the entire country, not that they'd ever believe him. Meanwhile, Hiru feels like something is off. This was supposed to be a rare, high-level portal, and you and I are about to see if this easy run turns into a total nightmare. Alright, You and I are jumping into a world where even the cute things are deadly. A shadow flickers past our ninja, and suddenly, a level 45 pocket watch rabbit peeks out from the corner. Hiru notes its high level, but Ikoma is genuinely shocked to see such a dangerous creature lurking in a place like this. This thing isn't just a monster. It's a party killer known for its terrifying ability to annihilate entire teams in a heartbeat. Ikoma warns them it doesn't attack from a distance, so the best move is to just go around it. But Hiru completely ignores him. He snaps, telling the weakling to stop giving orders because he's getting on his last nerve. Ikoma's mind is screaming for him to stop. If that rabbit activates its skill, everyone here is in massive trouble. But Hiru ignores the warnings and keeps walking toward the stuffed animal. He knows he can't protect everyone and fight that creature at the same time. Hiru leaps into the air, blade ready to strike, but the rabbit senses the threat and prepares to move. In a moment of pure desperation, someone yells for him to stop. These rabbits aren't just dangerous, they're a death sentence. The rabbit lunges as Hiru swings his blade with full force, but the monster is a blur, dodging with speed he can't track. Hiru is stunned. How can something so small move with that much intensity? It's like trying to hit a ghost. Then, it happens. The rabbit glows, activating a skill called Rabbit Dash. It vanishes, leaving the hunter complaining about its annoying escape skill. Hiru just smirks. A rare monster with unique moves usually means some top-tier loot is waiting for him at the end. He's already committed to the kill, but Ikoma's face turns serious, knowing this is about to get way more complicated. Pay attention here, because Ikoma is stepping up. He tells the group to stay sharp and guard up, because this rabbit's skills are absolutely lethal. Sai seems totally confused, asking Ikoma what he's talking about with that look of pure disdain on his face. He looks at the creature and shrugs. It's only level 45, surely 5 seasoned hunters can handle one little rabbit, right? But then his eyes widen. Does it have that skill? Hiru just snaps at the rabbit, telling the loser not to boss him around. Hiru leaps again, ready to end it, but the rabbit's instincts are sharp. It knows exactly when to make its move. Someone yells for him to stop. Hiru realizes he can't dodge, but Ikoma teleports in, blocking the hit at the last second. Ikoma breathes a sigh of relief for making it in time, while the rabbit lets out a frustrated, low grumble. He grabs the rabbit's paw with his hand, which glows with dark energy, before landing a powerful kick that makes the monster scream in pain. Ikoma explains the secret to his success. In the air, he has the ultimate advantage because he can manipulate gravity itself. The rabbit pouts, puffing out its cheeks like it's trying to act cute to get out of the situation. Ikoma isn't buying it. He tells it to stop the act, it's just a cursed rabbit. Behind him, Hiru approaches, still recovering from shock. Hiru takes a breath. That was way too close. He starts to wonder if Ikoma knew that attack was coming all along. The rabbit uses its dash skill again and bolts. Ikoma explains the scary truth. This rabbit isn't a fighter, it's a bait. It runs away to summon an ambush. Ikoma yells that he'll fight 3 of the books, leaving the other 4 to handle the last one. Sai tries to defend his ego, saying they might be slow, but they're still experienced hunters who know what they're doing. Ikoma shuts him down instantly. One wrong move, and they're all dead meat. They need to listen if they want to survive. The rabbit is faster and smarter than them. Fighting it in its own ambush is practically a suicide mission for anyone. Now, you and I can see the panic setting in. Even Hiru, their most skilled fighter, almost died right there. Sion is in a total state of terror, trembling and unsure of what to do next. And don't forget Sai and Satsuki, their support classes. In a direct brawl like this, they're practically defenseless and can't fight properly. That's exactly why Sion is losing it, screaming at Ikoma that taking on 3 monsters at once is a total death wish. But Satsuki believes in him. She knows his plan is their only hope. She tells the team to kill their monster and help. Suddenly, one of those grimoires flies straight at Ikoma, jaws open and ready to tear him apart in one clean strike. But Ikoma is a beast. He dodges the bite with incredible agility, moving like a ghost at the very last second. These monsters move freely through the air, attacking from a distance with fast, devastating magic. This is not going to be easy. Ikoma has to stay on high alert. That rabbit is still out there, waiting for the perfect moment to jump back in. He sighs. Fighting in such a bad situation is rare, but his determination is already burning brighter than ever before. He actually loves this. Battles that push him to the edge are his favorite. He calls them trash and promises to shred them. The rabbit seems to enjoy the challenge, sensing that this fight is about to turn into something incredibly fun and chaotic. 3 grimoires charge him at once, surrounding him completely. Seeing the trap, Sai casts a shield spell to protect the entire team. The monster's attack slams into the shield, causing a massive explosion. Thankfully, the magic barrier holds firm against the crushing impact. Sion seizes her chance and leaps at the enemy, not holding back. Trust me, you and I need to see what's next. Stick with me, because she just ripped a piece off that monster book with her scythe. These things are fast, lethal, and ready to spam some deadly spells. To make things even worse, she realizes that annoying rabbit is still lurking around. She is fuming, wondering how anyone can take on 3 at once and what that idiot thinks he is doing. Meanwhile, Ikoma holds his own, driving his blade deep into an attacking grimoire. He holds his ground in mid-air while other monsters prep their magic circles to blast him. With his eye glowing, he focuses every bit of his energy to manipulate the gravity in the area. He kicks off a book like a platform to dodge an incoming spell. Airborne, he fires a purple energy beam that slams right into one of the monsters. Smirking, he sticks a stylish landing after completely deleting his first target. Then he triggers his meteor fall skill and dives headfirst at the final monster. The monster his head explodes from the impact, and a system window confirms Ikoma just leveled up. Cold and serious, he notes that is 1 down. But the fight is not over yet. On the other side, Satsuki fires shadow balls at the grimoire chasing her, while Hiru uses a quick thrust to skewer another monster book. Sion and Sagi are hyped, thinking they have cleared 2 of the enemies, but that rabbit pulls out its watch again, flooding the field with a creepy pink light. Now watch this. It uses its Alice magic to summon 2 new grimoires to replace the ones they killed. Ikoma explains that the rabbit can control 4 monsters at once. It just swapped out the pieces. Satsuki starts to panic, screaming that the attacks will never stop. Even worse, the 2 new monsters are flying straight for Sion. She braces herself, shouting that they are making a huge mistake if they think she is an easy target. Sensing the danger, Ikoma shouts for Sion to run and take cover behind the shield. But she is annoyed, admitting he is skilled but refusing to be underestimated. Furious, she screams she will kill both at once and prepares to strike. She starts a circular slash, but freezes when a strange sound catches her off guard. Hiru is stunned to see the rabbit closing in with a terrifying expression on its face. Sion turns toward the noise, only to find the little rabbit looking innocent and cute. The monster taps its foot, faking that spring-like sound to distract her. Sion wonders if the monster did that just to trick them. He screams for her to move, but it is too late as a grimoire sinks its teeth deep into her side. She shrieks in agony as the surprise attack slams her into the dirt. The monster hangs on, its teeth tearing into her as she begins to bleed out. I know what you are thinking. Panic sets in as she thinks she is going to die right here. Ikoma appears, warning everyone that they will have to rip this monster off her by force to save her. He prepares to strike, warning her that this is going to hurt. His eyes glow as he activates his Grante magic, forming a purple gravity sphere. The magic pressure crushes the monster, making it scream in pain as it finally lets Sion go. Finally free, she collapses to the ground and drops her scythe, overwhelmed by the intense pain. She catches her breath, thinking it hurt like hell, but she is just relieved to still be alive. The last grimoire is shaken, shrieking in fear as it looks at her. Ikoma strikes the final monster with his sword while Sion remains down. He barks at Sagi to use white magic for healing, and the boy quickly confirms he is on it. Satsuki realizes their formation is trashed and they are totally backed into a corner. Things look grim with the team split and Ikoma alone, but he knows there is a chance since the rabbit is burning through its mana. Ikoma glares at the rabbit, knowing the creature is feeling the pressure too. The little monster realizes it has to end this fast before it runs dry. Ikoma triggers his skill to crank up the gravity, pinning the grimoire flat against the ground. But the book's cover is incredibly tough, and it snaps its teeth to defend itself, forcing Ikoma to back off. Realizing that failed, he shifts tactics to strike from below. With a roar, he gathers all his power into one final Grante magic blast. A gravity sphere streaks forward at max speed, hitting the grimoire dead center before it can even react. The hit lands perfectly. He gains more experience as the shredded remains of the book fall to the earth. Satsuki cheers, shouting that they got another one and they need to keep the pressure on. But Sion yells that he is overextended, warning Ikoma to watch out for the rabbit. She screams that he will be surrounded if he stays there alone. Suddenly, the rabbit teleports behind him with a demonic look, ready to strike. But Ikoma was ready for the sneak attack, using reverse gravity to leap over it. The rabbit is left baffled, as its target literally vanishes into thin air. You and I can see the rabbit's plan. Now it knows it has to take down the leader to win. Alright, you and I are watching the monsters close in, but that rabbit needs a blind spot to strike. Ikoma figures the beast will pounce the second he shows himself, lure it right into a deadly trap. The plan kicks off, and he charges full tilt at the rabbit, catching the creature completely off guard. Our main character realizes the creature is insanely fast, almost dodging his blade entirely. Wasting no time, he unleashes a massive, powerful sword slash that covers a huge area. Ikoma grit his teeth, realizing that single blow wasn't enough to take the monster down for good. The strategy was simple: crank up the gravity and crush it with a heavy downward strike. But the beast is too quick, forcing a horizontal swing that misses the mark. Meanwhile, Hu gets nipped by a monster book, but he barely even flinches. C's shield takes a massive impact. It's clear their defense is at the absolute breaking point. The team screams that they can't hold this line much longer. Ikoma knows he has to end this rabbit now or the magic will kill them all. He sprints with everything he's got. But this rabbit is just way too nimble to catch by running. That little monster actually smirks, already reading Ikoma's movements and prepping its own lethal counterattack. Now watch this. He roars his magic name, Grante, and fires. The rabbit leaps high, using its rush skill to dodge the blast. It mockingly holds up a sign giving him a score of 10, totally disrespecting his best shot. But the mockery stops when the gravity sphere begins dragging everything toward its center. The rabbit is slammed down, crushed into the dirt by Ikoma's power. As it lies there, it realizes Ikoma was 10 steps ahead, predicting every single move it made. He explains that its own skill forced it into the air, leaving its weakness wide open for the finish. Desperate, the rabbit shows its true, demonic face and screams in pure rage. Ikoma seizes the moment, slashes through the monster, and earns a massive level up. With their master dead, the monster books lose their spark and tumble uselessly to the floor. Satsuki and Sage look at the loot, finally letting out a breath now that the danger's passed. She tells Ikoma she's just glad they made it out alive. Sion is nearly in tears, still in total disbelief that they actually survived this nightmare. Satsuki sees how emotional the girl is getting and gently calls her name with a kind smile. But Sion snaps back that she's not crying, it's just sand in her eye. Then Sai turns to Ikoma, apologizing and admitting he was wrong to ever doubt his strength. He confesses he thought Ikoma was a goner, and that the whole team would be dead without him. Suddenly, he spots a glowing book on the floor and asks what kind of rare drop they found. Ikoma picks it up, it's a demon stone and a rare skill book. This thing teaches the powerful rabbit rush ability they just faced. 10 million? You and I both know that's life-changing money, and it leaves Sage absolutely floored. C does the math, that's 2 million for every single person on the team. They're hyped about the cash, but then he rethinks things, suggesting they should head out and return much later. They underestimated this portal, their mana is low, and they're hurt. But Ikoma gets serious, he cannot let anyone else get their hands on the Ring of Wisdom. He claims the rabbit was their toughest foe, and now Sage can finally patch up their wounds. He mentions an easy way to get mana back, piquing Sage's interest. But Satsuki looks terrified, begging Ikoma not to put her through that trauma again. He explains that the librarian goblin is the perfect target for draining massive amounts of mana. Satsuki is desperate to avoid it, but Sai looks at the group and agrees they should keep exploring. Hu nods along, saying he's definitely not the type of guy to run from a good scrap. He thinks Ikoma is looking pretty useful and plans to exploit that. Sion is furious, screaming that they've already forgotten how close they came to dying. Sai mocks her, telling her she can leave if she's too scared, but she denies it instantly. Outside the portal, some heavy hitters are discussing the scene. One shows a card, explaining the eradication forces are here for lockdown. The guard freezes, suddenly realizing this man is a big shot straight from the guild's headquarters. He immediately apologizes and throws up a salute, showing total respect to his high-ranking superior. The girl grumbles about protocol and snaps her ID card with a loud crack. She tosses it aside while her partner sighs about complicated portal laws. He mentions her skill helped them out, just as her ID card flutters to the ground. Eris asks why they're destroying rare boss loot, but he just shrugs it's not their problem, they're just following orders. He tells her to drop the illusion spell so they don't waste mana on this mission. She complains that Gyo is such a total stickler for the rules every single time. He insists on following orders, while Eris smiles knowing no one's clearing this portal before her. Trust me on that. Alright, you and I are jumping into the action with level 54 hunter Gyoki Goku and Eris Yumawa, who is level 57 and craving a bloodbath. Out of nowhere, a massive book demon emerges before them, letting out a terrifying roar. Sion is completely caught off guard, screaming in pure terror at the sight of this freakish creature. Ikoma moves in a flash to protect her, clashing his blade against the monster to parry the strike. He shouts for Sion to retreat, ordering her to get away from the blast zone before things get ugly. Our main character lunges, slicing the monster's arm as it swings, but pay attention here. The demon stretches its body like rubber, a move that would throw anyone off. Ikoma realizes Sion just doesn't have the mental grit for this, just like back during the rabbit fight. Sensing the opening, Satsuki leaps into the fray and screams her spell name, Shadow Hand. Dark tentacles erupt from thin air, binding the demon as it lets out a cry of shock. She slams the beast down with overwhelming force, and it shrieks in agony from the crushing impact. With the kill, Satsuki levels up and stands firm with a newfound fire in her eyes. She is evolving, and her skills are getting deadlier. Ikoma grumbles about the wasted mana, but he knows they needed to put these monsters down fast. He gives Satsuki a nod for the assist while moving to clean up the rest. She just smiles, showing off a boost in confidence. Satsuki tells the girl to get away from Ikoma, who looks more than a little annoyed. Sion jumps back, flustered, stammering that she did not mean to grab onto him like that. Ikoma tells her nobody asked, but she makes up some excuse about tripping. Then she shoots a glare at Satsuki, wondering why she is staring. Sion finally mumbles a thank you, but warns it is the last time. Suddenly, across the room, Sai yells, "Shield." A barrier shimmers into existence against magic. Hu appears, drenched in blood and howling in pain from his wounds. Ikoma announces there is only one left, as everyone grips their weapons, staring down the final monster. Hu does not hesitate, lunging straight for the librarian goblin while ignoring everything else in the room. Sage screams for him to stop, reminding him that Ikoma wanted the last one taken alive no matter what. But Hu ignores the noise, blocking the goblin staff with his dagger before dropping his blade. He tells Sage to shut his mouth. With one sharp movement, he snatches the goblin by the collar, leaving the creature totally helpless. This goblin is packed with mana, making it the absolute perfect battery for Satsuki to drain. Ikoma is genuinely impressed, realizing Hu is the most talented one here, as the weakened monster hits the floor. Satsuki steps up and activates Mana Drain, funneling every drop of the monster's energy directly into Sage. He is ecstatic, cheering because he finally has enough power to cast his defensive barriers in the upcoming fight. Let us be real, capturing monsters like this is tough, and as Ikoma points out, they should not count on being this lucky again. C nods in agreement, patting him on the shoulder and thanking him for the massive help. They peer down the dark corridor, sensing they are finally closing in on the heart of the portal. Ikoma suggests that maybe they should stop playing around and head straight for the boss monster. Hu is down for more blood, but Sion is visibly shaken, asking if he has completely lost his mind with such a reckless plan. He taunts her for being a coward, which she quickly denies. Meanwhile, Sage goes quiet, refocusing on his original goal of boss hunting. He admits that the experience points they have earned so far are way beyond his wildest expectations. Then, Ikoma drops a bombshell. He actually has a special item that reveals details about the boss monster. C is stunned, asking if they actually have a real shot at taking the big one down. Sai realizes that killing a B-rank boss will make his career. He imagines the fame and the elite parties that will want him after this. But Ikoma has a condition: he wants to keep every single piece of the boss loot for himself. In exchange, he offers them all the stones and extra drops, leaving C completely floored by the heavy proposal. Ikoma mentions he already cleared it with Satsuki, and will even pay extra cash. Sai starts getting very suspicious. He figures the item must be insanely valuable for Ikoma to want it this bad, but then he remembers the money. He gets lost in thoughts of the 10 million from the skill book, and Sion snaps at him to get his head straight. She pressures Hu, asking if he is really going to turn his back on the group for money. Annoyed, Sion finally agrees to help, but she warns Ikoma that they are officially even after this. Ikoma notes her surprising loyalty. But trust me, things are about to get complicated. A mysterious woman appears in a massive hall, and the real game begins. Alright, you and I are about to meet Akasha, the deadly master of the Library of Illusions. The group finally reaches the boss door while Ikoma warns them that the monster is right inside. He reminds everyone to stick to the plan. This boss is stationary, but her hits are devastating. Hiru and Sion listen as Ikoma tells them to stay calm. Sai is already grinning, feeling like a pro who's cleared rank B gates before. Sion is suspicious though. She asks how they can trust info from some magic item. Satsuki points out she wasn't complaining earlier, but Sion just shouts that something feels totally off. She glares at Ikoma, saying he never explained the item. She can't believe how everyone else just trusts him. Sai defends our lead, saying nobody shares their secrets, and Ikoma doesn't strike him as a liar. Sion is getting fed up while Hiru refuses to run. Ikoma tells them if anyone is scared, they can all just leave together now. Sion gets defensive, yelling that she's not scared, she just doesn't trust his word. Sai tries to settle her down, explaining that he and Hiru will provide her with full support. She glares at Hiru, thinking he's looking down on her, but Ikoma realizes she's just anxious. Now watch carefully, Ikoma's handling her well, but Hiru has his own secret objective. Before the showdown, Ikoma decides it's better to dump all his skill points at once. Checking his screen, he sees that 15 points are required to level up his magic. With the boss ahead, Ikoma decides that boosting his gravity magic is his best bet. The system confirms the magic has upgraded to level 3, spending his 15 points. Suddenly, a new window pops up, notifying him that he has successfully learned a spell called Gravita. The description says the skill crushes its targets. He knows this is going to be incredibly useful. With a confident smile, he's ready. He's satisfied to have a fresh skill for this fight. The moment finally arrives, and Ikoma slowly opens the large doors to the boss room. The entire group enters the chamber, all with serious expressions and ready for a brutal battle. Our hero takes another step forward, his gaze locked onto the target with absolute determination. Inside the giant hall, they see the boss, Akasha, standing at the far end with her back turned. She slowly turns around. Her name and level 60 appear, radiating a truly imposing presence. Hiru and Sion analyze the enemy, noting she's just standing still. Sai gets ready while Hiru shouts for everyone to follow the plan, and Ikoma immediately agrees to the strategy. Wait for it, the boss strikes first, releasing a terrifying burst of yellow energy. A massive lightning bolt slams down on the group, catching every single one of them off guard. Ikoma realizes the item was spot on, she really uses lightning. He explains it loses power with distance, which is why it hit the front. He moves fast, using his gravity magic to lighten his own body. Hiru is also naturally very agile since he's from the bandit class. With their combined speed, Akasha wouldn't be able to cast another spell in time to hit them. The strategy is simple. Find an opening the second she finishes using a skill. Satsuki takes her shot, conjuring a massive sphere of shadows with her staff. Sion isn't far behind, unleashing a sharp energy slash from her scythe toward the boss. Both hits land squarely on the boss, who feels the impact of the combined attack. But Akasha turns to Satsuki and says she won't forgive her for this. The mage is in complete shock. She never expected the monster to be able to speak. Ikoma yells that she's about to use an area attack and tells Hiru to fall back to Sagi. Hiru hates taking orders, but for the sake of the plan, he decides to follow along. Just like that, the boss summons a massive tidal wave of fire rushing toward the team. Sion panics, screaming in terror because there's nowhere to hide. But Ikoma just smiles. If they can't dodge, they'll just block it. The group pulls back as Sagi steps up, telling them to leave this defense to him. He conjures a powerful shield of light that successfully holds back the boss's wall of flames. Sage realizes Ikoma was right, area spells don't hit that hard when focused on a single point. He tells the group they can handle her skills as long as they stay sharp. Since Akasha is immobile, she relies on area spells, which makes her much more predictable. Ikoma shouts for everyone to stay focused. They definitely have what it takes to take her down. Hiru and Sion get fired up. She flashes a big grin, shouting that they can really do this. But Hiru thinks everything is going too well. He needs a few of them to die to make things easier. He eyes Ikoma, thinking the protagonist is way too skilled to be left alive. And trust me, as our hero stays focused on the fight, you and I know he's completely oblivious to the betrayal coming his way. Alright, you and I are watching Ikoma and Hu face down boss Akasha on the front lines. Right then, she starts gathering a surge of blue energy in her hands, prepping a devastating new skill. The boss summons a massive blade of pure electricity called the Sword of Zeus, slamming it down to trigger a massive blast. Ikoma barely dodges the explosion, already positioning himself to strike back at the monster. He spots a tiny opening and lets out a lightning-fast slash aimed right at her chest. Akasha mocks his speed as she retreats, but Ikoma realizes she is actually terrible at close-quarters combat. He taunts her, asking why she isn't sticking to her cowardly long-range spells. In the back, Sion cheers, noticing the fight is way easier with those two leading. Satsuki agrees that this boss isn't so tough, reflecting on how terrified Sion was earlier. Sai watches, feeling Akoma's plan is working flawlessly. He is blown away by his guts, finding ways to survive even the most lethal strikes. The priest gets goosebumps seeing the confidence and battle experience Akoma is showing off. Suddenly, Akasha pivots, smashing the floor to open a massive chasm across the room. Ikoma spots the shift, knowing she is changing patterns because she is finally feeling the pressure. He realizes the pillars are perfect shields. He screams for the team to move in closer, and Satsuki immediately confirms the order. The boss fires a lethal lightning bolt. Hu uses a pillar to tank the hit, giving Sion and Satsuki the cover they need to keep firing. Sion even mocks her, sarcastically thanking the boss for providing such great cover. Sai keeps the pressure on, saying the boss made a huge mistake, but Ikoma notices Sion is getting reckless and moving too far out. For him, that spot is simply perfect. It fits his plan perfectly. He sprints toward her, shouting an apology for what is coming. She is totally confused as Ikoma charges her, only for him to stomp on her back like a human springboard. Using that boost, our hero flies up and sticks the landing. Sion is fuming, screaming at him for treating her like a piece of equipment. He explains he is using the height to rain down magic. Then, he triggers his big move. Now pay attention, Ikoma lands Meteor Fall on her helm, shattering one of her horns. Sion starts celebrating, thrilled they finally landed a massive blow. Ikoma stays serious, it isn't over yet. Her health is tanking, but her defense is still insane. He tells the team her HP is low, they can win. Taking advantage of the chaos, Hu creeps up, marveling at how powerful Ikoma is. With a sinister look, he decides the protagonist has to go. Meanwhile, Akasha prepares her next big spell. A massive orb of blue energy forms, signaling a total wipeout move is coming. Ikoma recognizes it instantly, a high mana spell that is impossible to cancel once it starts. He knows she has entered rage mode. Our main character rushes her, shouting that they have to kill her before the spell fires. Luckily, Hu and the rest are already in position on the other side to help. Okay, you saw that too, right? Hu didn't aim for the boss, he threw that dagger at Ikoma. Hu is stunned, he blocked it, shocked by the protagonist's insane reflexes. He makes up a lame excuse about slipping, but Ikoma gives him a look of pure suspicion. He focuses on the fight, yelling that the ultimate attack is coming now. They vow to end this quickly. He notes there aren't many items left. He spots a familiar-looking ring and realizes it came from the portal's boss. Akasha stares him down, convinced that the boy is just pulling a bluff. She laughs, mocking him for betting everything on a random item. He says the ring is for her clones. Trust me, you and I won't believe how his plan plays out. She challenges him, sending every clone at him now. All right. You and I are diving in as the summon warns Akasha is weak, but his mana still fuels her powerful skills. He points forward, commanding Akasha to strike. Answering the call, she rips through the air with a devastating blow toward the enemy. Shocked by the blast, she wonders if she is facing an area of effect spell. She has absolutely no way to escape and realizes she won't be able to dodge that massive attack. Hit by the blow, she tries to shield herself, but realizes it's not that strong. Both of her copies take the brunt of the damage instead of her real body. The clones begin to crumble, unable to handle the pressure. She admits her doubles have a strict limit on how much damage they can tank. The summon notes that the wave of fire was more of a distraction than a deadly strike. Summoning is a drain on mana, but even weak area attacks are the perfect counter for an illusionist's clones. These illusionists? They have zero defensive skills to protect their real bodies from a direct hit. Pay attention here. He reveals he can cycle spells through his summoned gear before the little creature finally starts to vanish. With her clones gone, he declares it's his turn. She's stunned, realizing she completely underestimated his offensive power. A terrifying thought hits her. Was this his master plan from the very start? The pressure is building, and she knows she might actually lose this fight. Still, she refuses to fall to a low-level hunter. She starts laughing, her entire aura shifting as the thrill of the fight finally kicks in. Loving every second of this, she admits he is actually pretty impressive. It has been ages since she felt this kind of hype, but she warns him he hasn't seen her true power yet. She floods the area with illusions that charge him at once. With a sharp look, she screams that it's time to end this. Her skill blends lethal spells with decoys, though it eats through her mana reserves. He has to focus to spot the real threat, leaving his guard wide open. Seeing the opening, she lunges in for the kill. Trapped in a storm of attacks, he knows any normal person would be dead by now. But for him, this is nothing. She spots a gap and dives in with her dagger to finish the job. Her blade whistles through the air, hitting nothing but the dirt. She's completely shocked to find he is no longer standing there. She scans the area, panicking, but he suddenly reappears high above using a gravity skill. I know what you're thinking. And yes, he uses that momentum to skyrocket upward as she finally spots him in the air. He comes crashing down with a downward strike that feels like a mountain falling. She parries, and their weapons clash with a thunderous bang. She is gritting her teeth, unable to shove him back. She screams that his strength is off the charts. Under the insane pressure, her weapon literally shatters into pieces. He doesn't miss the chance, landing a direct hit that sends her plummeting. She slams into the ground with bone-breaking force. Flat on her back, she hears his cold voice declare that the fight is finally over. He mutters that she hasn't seen all his tricks yet. Screaming, she charges forward for one last desperate strike. She realizes he just won't go down. No matter how hard she hits, her partner wonders if the attacks are even doing anything. It looks like his skill makes him stronger with every blow. Even so, the skill has dulled his senses. He will keep swinging as long as his limbs are still attached. They realize there is no need to rush to defeat him. He just needs to buy a little more time until his backup finally arrives. Suddenly, a girl yells for help, but something cuts her off. Both of them whip their heads around to see what exactly is happening beside them. The scene shifts, showing Ikoma standing tall over his defeated enemy. The girl cheers for Ikoma victory. Meanwhile, the enemy is in shock, wondering how Ares could have actually lost. Rewinding 4 years, the Chimera Gang was a notorious, deadly group. While walking, one of them suddenly stopped and looked back. Even back then, Ares was a league above the rest. He admitted that she and her squad were incredibly dangerous. Sword in hand, he hoped she would not take it personally. With the mission blown, he knew he was down to his last resort. A teammate shouted that the enemy was finally on the move. The enemy blurred past them, charging forward with insane speed. The boy was totally lost, caught off guard. Sprinting toward our hero, the enemy got ready to strike. In one move, he landed a blow right on his back. Caught off guard, the protagonist did not understand what happened. And trust me, you and I need to see what happens to our hero after taking that massive, full-force hit. Alright, you and I are diving into the aftermath as he leaps back, mocking the enemy for trying to run away. He promises to finish him for good next time. Staring the enemy down, he demands to know who hired him. He tells Ares to hide while he carries her. With a quick goodbye, she uses an illusion spell to help them escape. Watching them vanish into thin air, he simply comments that the fight was actually pretty fun. Suddenly, he drops to his knees, totally drained. His hand is shaking like crazy, and he realizes they got lucky they left. One of his companions approaches and apologizes for the mess, but he tells her they did a great job. He didn't think the three of them could handle it alone, so he just had to step in and help. Her growth is incredible, and the gang is finally exposed. With everyone safe, the group gathers as the battle finally ends. Looking at his ring, he feels pretty satisfied with how that whole fight turned out. He's certain the Ring of Wisdom is the portal key, especially since the Chimera gang is so desperate to grab it. Now pay attention, because his past memories reveal a research group once stole the ring. Someone definitely sent these enemies on purpose. Just then, a mysterious voice calls out to the four members of the group from out of nowhere. Lying there, the man begs them for healing or a way out. The girl snaps, telling him to shut up, while her friend tries to keep things calm. He suggests they just hand the guy over to the monster eradication forces and let them deal with him. The scene shifts, and she asks him why he bothered to save her instead of just leaving her behind. She worries their boss will be furious they fled. He explains it's better to bring back intel than to die there. He knows who took the ring, so retrieving it will be easy. After all, they have an S-rank hunter on their side. She turns away in silence after hearing that, but she's determined never to hand that ring over to that bastard. Stepping out of the portal, the group is immediately met by two officers, waiting for their arrival. Shocked, one officer asks if the four of them actually cleared the Library of Illusions all by themselves. The blonde guy is hyped about his growing reputation, but he swears he's never going near a high-rank portal again. Arriving with his squad, a man regrets his training spot. He turns and asks the boy if he cleared the portal. Introduced as Toya, he complains about wasting his time coming all the way out here. He snidely remarks about them using portals freely. Furious, the girl asks if he has any idea what they survived inside. He holds her back, asking her to just ignore them, even though she keeps shouting that it isn't fair. Many soldiers want civilian hunters banned from portals. He tells them to go complain to the ministry instead of crying to him. It'll take 10 years before the ministry's current policies are actually proven to be right or wrong. You and I can feel the tension here as he stares at the sergeant, thinking the man won't survive to see it. Called Sumuji, she's just relieved the high-rank portals are finally closed for now. He asks them to arrest the man who tried to rob them, but the accused man just stares back, completely unfazed. Confused, the sergeant asks for clarification, but the thief gets smacked and called out for what he really is. He demands a full guild investigation, knowing this definitely isn't the first time this guy has pulled this stunt. He explains that every hunter knows they gain nothing. The guards eventually drag the man away for questioning. He asks for one more favor, telling the officers to search the portal and the surrounding areas immediately. He reveals the Chimera gang was inside. Hearing that name, the sergeant's face turns deadly serious. He looks the boy in the eye and asks if he's absolutely sure about the information he's giving. He tells them to send a team and promises a full explanation later. The sergeant watches him, wondering how a kid knows so much. Walking away, the boy thinks to himself that the sergeant is a very unsettling man to be around. Unable to ignore the lead, he orders his team to contact headquarters. The scene then shifts to the front of a building. Once inside, both groups have to wait around to finish all the boring paperwork. The long day finally ends with red tape. Walking down the street, they're just happy that the long, exhausting mission is finally over and done with. She complains that everything would have been a breeze if they hadn't been backstabbed by that traitor. She claims class defines the person and swears off rogues. He stammers back, saying a character's class doesn't reflect who they are. Laughing at the bickering, the blonde guy says the only thing that matters is they all made it out alive. He celebrates getting the traitor's share of the loot. And trust me, you and I both know the real trouble is just beginning. Alright, stick with me because we are diving into a secret that starts with one ring. They claimed it was just a reward, but this is actually the most valuable item in existence. Noticing they are new to town, he simply points them toward the station to get them moving. He says his goodbyes, thanking them for a job well done. As their new allies walk away, the two of them just stand there in the quiet, watching them fade into the distance. Honestly, he just wanted to clear the library for the fame and some quick cash. Pretty simple goals, right? But with a smirk, he says he is ready to test himself by taking on a portal all alone. The protagonist just smiles at that bold claim. Suddenly, the girl gives him a sharp nudge to get his attention, looking a bit apologetic for what she is about to say. She admits she saw him as a total crybaby at first. He just laughs it off, telling her they can always team up again if she is bored. Knowing they have got each other's backs, they finally split up and go their separate ways. Walking home, they are finally catching their breath after that brutal mission. But she is curious, what exactly is that weird item he pulled from the portal? Watch closely now, because he is about to show her. Using the ring's power, he summons that massive great witch they fought back in the library. But instead of a monster, a tiny, pint-sized version of the witch pops up right before them. The girl screams in shock as she realizes this little creature is actually Akasha. He explains she looks this cute because she is currently in a heavily weakened state. By funneling his mana through the ring, he can tap into her abilities. It is a huge drain, but it massively boosts the range of his own spells. She asks if this tiny thing is really the key to the portals. He explains that Akasha has one incredibly rare trait among monsters. Here is the secret: she can understand every single word humans say. The girl goes quiet, just staring at him in disbelief. Then she remembers Akasha's chilling words from before, that she would never, ever forgive her. Turns out, the monster's power level scales directly with whoever summons them. Some creatures get stronger, while others get sharper and more observant as they level up. It is all about their specific parameters. For Akasha, her wisdom grows with every level. Once she is strong enough, she will be able to speak and spill every dirty secret the monsters are hiding. He leans down, gently reaching his hand out to the small creature. The girl watches the little thing move and gets totally hyped. She thinks Akasha is trying to talk, which catches him completely off guard. Now listen, in a haunting voice, the tiny creature whispers a warning: the end is near. She predicts the world will soon fall into ruin. Hearing this, the two of them just stand there, completely paralyzed by the terrifying prophecy. Elsewhere, a knight stalks through a massive building in the city. A dark new plot is starting to unfold. A man slams his phone down in a rage after hearing the news. The Chimera gang failed their mission, and he is not happy. He hops on his computer and immediately starts digging up dirt on the boy. He finds out the kid has been smashing records by taking down multiple portal bosses. He hit B rank faster than anyone in history and even stopped a massive portal disaster all on his own. And on top of that, he survived a head-on clash with the dangerous Chimera gang. The man stares at the file for Ikoma, the gravity user. He is convinced the boy does not deserve to hold such a powerful ring. With fury in his eyes, he vows to hunt him down. Meanwhile, inside a dungeon, a monster lunges at our hero. He activates his gravity magic on the beast. With a heavy thud, the monster is crushed into the dirt. An easy win, but it brings in a solid chunk of experience points. One of them mentions how lucky they were to escape that enemy ambush. She is just bummed her manager was not there to record the fight. He, meanwhile, is rethinking his choice of portal. The monsters were lethal and came in endless waves. Luckily, Hosa was free to help since her manager was away on a vacation. The scene shifts as they head toward a large commercial building nearby. Sitting down, she thanks him for the assist, but he tells her it is fine. She laughs, happy to snag some easy experience points. With sparkling eyes, she says she knows exactly how he can pay her back. She is dying to film the little creature, convinced the video will blow up and go viral instantly. But he shuts her down immediately. There is no way he is letting her film it. He insists it cannot be exposed online. While they argue, Akasha just sits there calmly munching on some candy. He has not forgotten that dangerous people were specifically hired to wipe this little creature out. You and I both know he cannot ignore her warning. She is not just a pet, she is the key to everything. Alright. You and I are diving back into a world where the future is literally a dying prophecy. Inside the car, the conversation turns to the portals everyone knows. These tears in reality are becoming common, terrifying phenomena. People wonder if this is truly the end. Predictions say portals will decrease over 10 years. But is that actually true? Believing he is the only one who knows the truth, he reveals he is an S-rank hunter from the future. He decides they need a third member. Even with his insane perks, his class is vulnerable against specialists who master a single skill. He focuses on binding magic, using spells designed to freeze enemies in their tracks during a fight. They need an attacker. Hosa is too busy streaming, and Sion is not exactly the type to charge in and attack directly. He considers calling the Thunder Knights, but Hosa reminds him that being a B- rank hunter changes the entire game for them. She is right, finding an unattached hunter at his specific power level is like finding a needle in a haystack. Then, a face from his past life flashes through his mind. A girl, asking him why he risked everything to save her. Even though she was bleeding out and broken, she just smiled and said she was glad he was safe. With her final breath, she begged him to become a legendary hunter. Now, only her weapon remains left behind in the dirt. Back in reality, he wonders if she is alive in this timeline. Satsuki notices him zoning out and asks what is wrong. He plays it cool, claiming he was just lost in thoughts about things that happened in the very distant past. He knows her tragedy is still 3 years away. Suddenly, a new hunter walks in, spotting the group from across the reception hall. She starts grumbling about how the exact portal she wanted to raid was already cleared by their squad. He does not recognize her at first, but then it hits him like a lightning strike. It is definitely her. Now pay attention, because the weapon she is carrying radiates an absolutely terrifying and imposing presence. Is it really her? Without a second thought, he bolts toward the girl, leaving his confused friend in the dust. He stops her and asks if she is Mio Kagurazaka. She just stares back with a faint, mocking smirk in total silence. Clearly annoyed, she asks who gave him permission to speak to her. Satsuki catches up, wondering if Ikoma actually knows this girl. He cannot exactly say he is from the future, so he claims he just heard some rumors about her around town. He brings up the stories of a solo elite hunter and cuts straight to the chase. Join my party right now. She just scoffs. Apparently, it is not the first time she has been invited to join some random hunter party. She turns her back, walking away while making it clear she has no time for weaklings slowing her down and getting in her way. Feeling the girl's raw power, Satsuki finally understands why he is so desperate to recruit her for their new team. Still, Satsuki thinks the girl is a total jerk. He stays quiet, just watching how she handles his sudden and bold invitation. Satsuki complains about the rude attitude, but the girl does not care. She was just being honest and clear with them. He plays his trump card, mentioning that their small team has already successfully conquered several B-rank portals. He tells her this deal is a steal, but she just scoffs at his proposal with nothing but pure, cold disdain. We both know ranks lie, and she tells him right to his face that his level proves absolutely nothing to her. She grinds her teeth as he steps closer, daring her to see for herself if they would actually be a hindrance. He suggests a training duel to settle this. If she does not trust his words, let's test their fighting skills instead. She shoots him a look of pure irritation, clearly tired of his persistent and annoying badgering. She shoves him aside, telling him to quit the provocations because he does not interest or intrigue her in the slightest. But as she walks off, he realizes something. She is actually heading straight toward the training hall for their fight. Satsuki worries he will get wrecked. Usually, these training duels are just an excuse for the strong to bully the weak. He claims he was not being serious, he just wanted to uncover the real reason behind her cold refusal. She repeats the girl's excuse about avoiding weaklings, but he knows there is a much deeper story behind her solo act. Nearby, two girls walk by, chatting about where they could go to have some fun and relax for the night. He is sure there is more to her lone wolf attitude. Satsuki, though, she seriously doubts they even need this much drama. Then he drops the bomb. Mio possesses the insanely rare and powerful Death Knight class. He explains she could be the world's strongest if she survives. Satsuki reminds him he needs someone he can actually trust. She is not sure they will ever get along, but he swears she is trustworthy, finally winning his friend over to the idea. That is where we leave it. Trust me, you and I need to see this duel. Stick with me as our hero tries to save a girl from her own fate. He researches Mio, remembering her reckless dives into dangerous portals. She was always a lone wolf, aggressive and solitary, constantly turning down every party invitation that came her way. But their past connection is what matters most. He remembers the haunting moment she sacrificed her life just to save him. Gripping his mouse, he is terrified she will meet the same tragic end again. To change her future, he decides she needs a team. With a sigh, he asks Akasha how to convince such a stubborn girl. The small creature stays silent, just staring at the screen. Suddenly, a strange reflection flickers within the eyes of the small summoned creature. Akasha warns him that someone is currently moving the hands on the clock of time. Confused, he asks what that mysterious message means. The creature turns suddenly, making a soft sound while staring at him with an intense, steady gaze. He decides his best move is to level up as fast as possible. Looking determined, he remains silent for a long moment. Remembering his needs, he hears they are looking for a high-damage dealer. He smiles, knowing someone perfect, even if she is stubborn. Waving her way, he just watches her from a distance with a calm, focused expression. She mutters something and walks away while he watches with pity. Later, a new moment unfolds between them inside a bookstore. Holding a book, he tries to start a cheerful conversation. He then moves to the station, determined to get closer to her. Showing off a card, he invites her to go somewhere with him. Eventually, the two meet by chance outside a portal. Looking annoyed, she asks if he is really going to claim this is just another huge coincidence. He crosses his arms and watches her with a smirk. Meanwhile, people in the background whisper about how common it is for them to keep meeting. He tells her it is the perfect chance for them to finally see each other's skills in action. Suddenly, a dark creature appears and attacks the crowd. Chaos erupts, leaving the two of them standing in the middle of it. Startled, the boy looks up with a look of pure shock. Waking from the dream, he wonders why that memory suddenly came back. Suddenly, a news report flashes on the screen about a portal disaster happening over in Saitama. Security was tightened after two monsters escaped the site. It does not seem serious yet, but he knows he must guard against any anomalies. Now watch this. He freezes in total shock after reading the name of that specific portal. That cave was not supposed to appear for another 3 years. He instantly realizes this is the exact portal where Mio died. With a reflection in his eyes, he struggles to understand what is really happening. On his computer, the emergency alert is still showing the latest news. They walk into a building to handle some important business. Wearing new clothes, she compliments him, saying he looks absolutely great in them. Thanking him for the help, she says she is happy they went on a date. She even suggests they do it again. Worried, he sees news on his phone about a portal that appeared out of nowhere 3 years earlier than it was supposed to. Since the portal is right near her house, he is certain she will head straight there. Even though he beat the boss, he is not as strong as before. His current gravity user class just is not powerful enough. He knows nothing, he says, will stop Mio from going inside. To protect her, he decides he must join the raid himself. Remembering her sacrifice, he realizes he cannot let Satsuki get dragged into this mess. You can see his worry. He stares at his phone, making her ask if something is bothering him. He turns to her and clenches his fist tight. Holding his hand, she tells him he can share anything with her. With a sad expression, he just whispers her name softly. She says she was truly happy when he asked for her help. Clutching her phone, she tells him she wants to be there for him whenever he is in trouble. She is confused but knows he is deeply shaken. She reassures him that even if she does not understand, she is ready to help. Thankful for her support, he looks at her with a calmer gaze. He then admits he wants to join a raid. Showing her his phone, he points to the Cave of Curses announcement. She asks why he is so focused on that specific raid. He reveals that the hunter they met, Mio, is going to die in that portal. Shocked, she asks if it is really true. Explaining the situation, he says the only way to save her is to join the raid too. She is stunned by the plan. Looking serious, he tells her it is time she knew the whole truth about what is going on. Confused, she questions everything. He admits he lied about the item, and that he actually knows things about the future. She looks at him, wondering how it is even possible for someone to know exactly what is going to happen. That is where we leave it. As she stares out the window, he watches her stunned reaction to his massive reveal. Let's dive into this wild story together. She looks at him and admits that despite everything, she finally believes his secret about those unexplored portals. Smiling, she says she trusts him now, even if this is the end. He just gives an awkward laugh, watching her positive reaction. He's grateful for the trust, sure, but he thinks a little doubt might be safer. We cut to a train pulling into the station. Inside, our duo is gearing up for the brutal mission waiting just outside those doors. He warns her that this raid could be the deadliest fight they've ever seen. With a serious look, he tells her to stay on alert. She checks her phone and sees the portal boss is supposed to be level 65, but he drops a bombshell. Thanks to an evolution, that boss is actually level 80. She's stunned, questioning how that's even possible. Realizing the sheer power they're facing, he says the plan is simple. Avoid the boss, find Mio, and get her out. Since other teams are there, they might find an opening. Clenching his fist, he stares ahead with eyes full of pure, unshakable determination. She gets why he's so desperate to save her, but she can't help noticing he seems way more on edge than usual. He explains that as things stand right now, she wouldn't even remember who he is. Now pay attention, because here's the real kicker. He remembers her sacrificing her life to save him. In the original timeline, she's why he's even alive. She's floored. She can't believe the girl they just met once saved his life. The train reaches its stop, and they head out toward the city tracks. Once there, they introduce themselves as one of the groups ready for the raid. The receptionist beams, saying they really needed every bit of help they could get. Now they just wait for the other 5 groups. But when Mio spots him, she looks like she's seen a ghost, unable to believe he's actually there. She demands to know if he's stalking her. He just shakes it off, claiming that hunters with similar levels are bound to run into each other eventually. She's not buying it. Annoyed, she snaps at him to stop joining any more of her raids. Satsuki finds her attitude totally aggressive. She seriously doubts this girl ever saved anyone. Irritated, Mio just glares back, telling her to mind her own business. Suddenly, a man walks up and asks if they're joining the raid. He mocks them immediately, saying he expected very little, yet he's still disappointed. Satsuki notices that despite their fancy uniforms, they don't look like regular guild members or soldiers. Then she spots the logo. These guys are part of a corporate hunter unit. With a heavy gaze, he quietly observes the newcomers, sizing them up. It's explained that corporations are training their own hunters now for public safety. But for most companies, this whole thing is still just a test. One of the members tells his teammate to shut up before he ruins their company's reputation. That's when Captain Shiraki steps in, ending the bickering. He bows deeply, apologizing for his team's behavior and promising to train them better. Relieved by his attitude, she thinks he seems reasonable. He hands over a card, and the captain tells him they'll be counting on them during the raid. He introduces himself as Ryo Shiraki from the elite Kokare Hunter unit. Looking at the card, he starts analyzing the situation with a very thoughtful expression. Something feels off. He decides it's best to keep an eye on him. The man claims he respects young hunters and offers to help with whatever they need. With a polite smile, he wishes everyone luck on the mission. Finally, they enter the Cave of Curses. But watch closely because this is where things get wild. A strange creature suddenly lunges at them. In the blink of an eye, the monster is defeated with a single strike. Using his axe, the man effortlessly blocks the creature's frantic attack. Seeing the swarm, he jokes about the big welcome party. Even for a small portal, some anomaly is causing monsters to flood out. With 7 hunters on their side, he's confident they can handle this easily. The captain calls for calm and tells everyone to get ready. One teammate steps up, using a specialized skill to shatter the monster's defenses. Then, 2 other members charge in, hitting the creature's critical points with dead-on accuracy. Watching them fight, he realizes their teamwork is top tier. The 2 heavy hitters focus on thinning out the incoming monster mob. Meanwhile, another teammate stands guard, stopping any monster that gets too close. The leader stays ready to back them up. Satsuki joins in, casting a spell and firing a shadow ball toward the swarm. It's a direct hit. The spell explodes, tearing through the nearby creatures. Another team member follows up, fiercely slashing through with his sword. The monster is badly wounded and clinging to life, but it's clearly on its last legs. Satsuki notices that even these regular mobs have insane health. She suggests he finally use his gravity moves to wipe them all out at once. He says it's not necessary. They need to stay focused and take them down one by one. Mio agrees, saying they must save their energy for the real disasters ahead. She unleashes a massive strike. And trust me, you and I won't want to miss what's next. Alright, you and I are jumping in as he sees her flash this much power way sooner than he remembers. He is questioning her actual level now. Even with everyone at full health, she is clearly way stronger than before. These monsters aren't a real threat yet. He tells Satsuki to step up and drain the mana from the beast closing in. Out of nowhere, another hunter shoves her aside. He swings his massive axe, burying it right into the monster's skull. The captain barks at him, asking if he is trying to wipe everyone out. One hunter cheers, finally hitting a level up. But our guy steps in, calling him out for stealing experience points right under their noses. He is accused of sniping those points on purpose, knowing exactly how vital they are for ranking up. The thief just smirks, telling him to chill out. Satsuki tries to de-escalate, but he keeps burning a hole through the guy. Look, a level is everything to a hunter. But our hero knows he can't trust people like this when things get messy. At the end of the day, having a trustworthy ally is worth more than a few cheap experience points. The captain walks over to check the drama, but he just ignores it. He orders everyone to push forward immediately. The captain apologizes, brushing the whole thing off as a simple misunderstanding. Feeling suspicious, he decides it was probably a mistake to even mention it. Now, pay attention here. The captain starts talking about his grand dream. He wants to build the world's strongest team. She smiles, admitting it is a bold goal. But honestly, leveling up an entire squad together is way harder than it sounds. That's why only 4 of them made the cut for this raid. Still, he notes they have already got 4 skilled fighters. The captain sighs, complaining that his team never listens before, apologizing with a look that is almost full of pity. He hopes things improve soon. For now, they have to keep moving and update the layout of this portal map. The group keeps trekking deeper, navigating the shadows of this incredibly dangerous and pitch-black cavern. Suddenly, he freezes. The air feels off. Even with their issues, the team still follows the captain's lead out of respect. He clearly could have called out his team's bad behavior if he really wanted to. The captain turns back with a grin, finally showing his hand. One hunter scoffs, saying they worried about portal anomalies for nothing. They keep moving carefully, pushing through the dark and mysterious tunnels of the cavern. Feeling themselves now, they brag about being able to crush the boss monster, assuming it is an easy win. If they take down the boss, the administration won't look down on them. The captain laughs, reminding everyone that safety comes first. He reminds the group that in an open raid like this, they need to be mindful of everyone else. You and I see it too. She thinks the guy in glasses is more of a leader than the actual captain. In his original timeline, the boss monster evolved. He's worried it might have already happened again right now. He has to stop this exploration and keep Mio away from that boss. Later, he will report this spot as high risk. To do that, he must take total control of the raid. The other team is leading for now, and Mio is stubborn as hell. Plus, she's not exactly his biggest fan. The other hunters keep pushing forward, totally clueless. But suddenly, he catches a weird vibe in the air and goes on alert. Why is Captain Shiraki approaching Mio? He says he works the nearby area and has heard some legendary stories about her. He praises her, saying she fights like a B rank even though she is only a C rank. He's excited, saying he has wanted this chat for a while. She is deadpan, asking what he really wants right now. He turns serious, just staring at her in total silence for a long, heavy moment. Smiling, he gets ready to make her a massive offer. He reaches out, inviting her to join his squad for glory. He claims that with her help, his unit will become unstoppable. She senses his desperation to recruit her before anyone else. She refuses instantly, saying she is not interested in his offer at all. He's heard she's a solo player, so no one slows her down. He promises that won't happen here, vowing to build a worthy team. He mentions he's a B-rank hunter too, but she cuts him off mid-sentence. Conversation over. She tells him she works alone and walks off. grumbling about annoying recruiters as she pushes deeper into the cave. She regrets joining this raid. He says he knows she always challenges portals that are way above her level. He warns her that if she keeps being reckless, she's eventually going to get seriously hurt. Let's see what happens next. She tells him to back off as he watches her go. Alright, you and I are jumping right into a scene where things are getting seriously tense between Mio and these newcomers. Smirking, he mentions he isn't quite as patient as his captain when it comes to talk. Resting his axe on his shoulder, he warns them to stay out of his way. Our guy just stands there, staring him down. He claims they're just desperate to prove themselves to the higher-ups. Shocked by his nerve, the man wonders how he knows that. He demands to know how he figured out their secrets. Regardless, the tension in the air is rising. Satsuki begs him not to provoke the guy and to call the captain. He says there is no point, it is all an act. He explains the whole thing was a setup just to win over their trust. The captain just glares at the boy in total silence. Not following, she asks what he even means by that. He explains the guy is being a jerk on purpose so the captain can play hero later. Seeing the trap, she finally gets that this is all a performance. A real soldier wouldn't ignore orders in a fight. Now pay attention, because he is calling out their little game before someone gets killed. He warns that their lives are at risk if this charade continues. The captain claims it's a mistake, but he knows better. He tells them to drop the act so they can actually work together and survive. Both groups just stare, the air thick with suspicion. Moving deeper into the cave, the hunters enter the mysterious portal. In silence, the captain leads the way, but the bad blood is still very much there between them. She thinks he was too harsh with the captain. He explains he had to test their reactions to see their plan. At the very least, he got that guy to stop acting like a reckless idiot for a moment. The captain is impressed a teenager has this much guts. He realizes the kid is way more experienced than he looks. Even without seeing him fight, she can tell he's bold. He thinks this is the perfect chance to level up. Things are looking bad, and they definitely don't have time to keep arguing like this. You saw that coming, right? A scream echoes as a massive swarm of monsters surrounds the entire group. Smiling, the captain sees his chance to finally put the boy in his place. After all, manipulating people is his specialty. Screaming, an assassin mantis lunges out to tear into the hunters. The man says not to worry, they'll be easy kills. But at level 47, this battle will be a nightmare. These monsters aren't anything like the weaklings they saw at the entrance of the cave. Beyond their high level, they have thick armor and lethal blades. He knows these tricky creatures have hidden abilities too. Knowing it's suicide to go alone, he tells her to stick with the group for now. Rejecting him, she dives straight into the middle of the swarm. She swings her sword, parrying a deadly strike. Dodging with insane speed, she dances through the sea of creatures surrounding her. Frustrated by her stubbornness, he can't believe she charged the danger zone. He orders the others to clear a path. The captain realizes these things won't go down as easily as the other monsters did. He sees a chance to terrify him and take back control. He already warned them their lives were on the line. With a wicked grin, the captain just stands back and watches his plan unfold. In a flashback, a man is slammed onto the floor after a brutal lesson. Others watch, too terrified to speak. He says power is everything in this world, and it always draws in the weak and immature. Yelling, the man apologizes for his disrespect. The captain knows fear is the best way to keep them in line. Turning away, he says he's risked everything for things the boy considers worthless. With a quick signal, he tells his team to take the monster on the right. The man nods and prepares. Looking over, he sees Mio locked in the fight. She's focused, waiting for the perfect opening to strike. Screaming, the mantis monster throws its entire weight into a charge toward the hunters. Blade ready, she prepares for the impact. Suddenly, her instincts flare, and she spins to the side. In that split second, the captain appears, winding up for a devastating blow against the creature. He tells Mio she shouldn't try to solo them. Annoyed, she snaps that she hates people getting in her way. With a smug smile, he just watches her reaction to his sudden move. And trust me, you and I are about to see if our main character can handle this chaos as the captain activates his barrier. Alright, you and I are jumping into the action as Satsuki launches a massive shadow ball with full force. Direct hit. The monster's limb is completely blown apart. He shouts a quick thanks for the assist before charging forward to deliver the final blow. Activating his ability, he flips gravity on its head and slams the creature into the cave ceiling. Hanging up there, he gets ready to unleash his next attack from above. He triggers his meteor drop, coming down like a hammer to crush the creature into the dirt. Satsuki looks on, worried. He is burning through way more mana than he usually does. He knows he has to end this fast because he does not trust Captain Shiraki one bit. But look at that, even after taking a meteor to the face, the monster stands back up. Stunned by its persistence, he can only stare as the beast prepares for round 2. The captain watches the boy from the corner of his eye, evaluating every move. He is starting to realize that gravity users are much more dangerous than he first thought. He realizes this raid is the only thing that can save his team. In a quick flashback, we see the captain learning his project is about to be totally defunded. His superior reminds him that he was always complaining about having a weak team. They have to prove their worth now or lose everything. Leaning in, the captain whispers a dark, secret order to one of his loyal subordinates. He knows if the battle ends too soon, he will miss his chance to take action. Now pay attention, because here is the betrayal. With a subtle hand signal, he orders his team to attack the boy and make it look like a tragic accident. Amiya is absolutely speechless, shocked by the cold-blooded command. Shiraki thinks this will finally teach the brat a lesson about trying to disobey him. Still doubting the order, she wonders if the captain has actually lost his mind. Suddenly, a team member lunges forward. He swings his sword, pretending to target the monster, blocking the path while actually closing the distance on our main character. Amiya shouts for everyone to take the monster down, moving into position to strike from the shadows behind. She whispers an apology, terrified of what the captain will do if she fails. With a focused gaze, she decides to aim for a minor wound on his shoulder, hoping to satisfy the boss without killing the boy. Sensing a sudden spike in killing intent, he spins around to face the threat. Amiya triggers her ability, firing a precise, concentrated blast of energy. She is pouring all her power into this one strike. He turns, realizing the attack is meant for him, not the beast. That is when he sees her eyes cold and locked onto his. With a monster on one side and a traitor on the other, he is trapped. But then, he just gives a slight, confident smirk. He charges ahead anyway, striking the approaching creature with incredible force. You saw that coming, right? Out of nowhere, a shadowy hand erupts from the ground, perfectly blocking the treacherous strike aimed at his back. Amiya grumbles as her attack is completely neutralized. He turns his head and thanks Satsuki for having his back. Satsuki just scoffs, saying she expected him to handle it himself. Then, the team leader steps up, demanding to know what Amiya was doing. Looking totally flustered, she claims she was just trying to help. Shiraki notices they did more than just block the hit, they were not even fazed by it. Watching the boy face the monster, he is shocked by his sheer experience. As the creature glares at them, he shouts to draw its aggro. He warns the girl that the battle is not over yet and tells her to stay focused. The monster lunges at her with blinding speed, unleashing a barrage of ice strikes. It is a direct hit that sends her flying. The captain is furious, realizing too late that the monster can use magic skills. Seeing his comrade hit the dirt, he starts regretting his entire strategy. He barks out orders, telling one person to heal Amiya while the others provide cover. To make matters worse, another member warns that they are now completely surrounded by monsters. Our hero arrives just in time, parrying a blow meant for his partner. He tells the guy to get lost, he will handle this monster alone. The guy listens and runs for it, leaving his teammate behind to face the beast. From the distance, another group member watches the whole disaster unfold. Clenching his fists, the team leader tries to focus on what to do next. He places his hands over Amiya and starts using his healing ability. With his monster finally defeated, he announces that his side of the room is clear. Charging ahead with his sword, he lands a perfect, precise blow. The fight ends right there as he drops the creature with a single attack. Satsuki immediately questions why they even bothered saving that group. She points out they were clearly attacked by them during the chaos. She keeps lecturing, saying they could have died because of those traitors. Shiraki tries to play it off. He claims it was all a big misunderstanding, but he is cut off. With a smirk, our lead asks if Shiraki really thinks he is that stupid. He warns the captain that the rest of his team is not strong enough to survive. Seeing how bad things look, she realizes this is their best chance to escape. She starts planning how to stop Mio from coming back here. Meanwhile, the injured girl is still on the ground, barely recovering. He announces he has spent too much mana and officially cannot trust them anymore. So what do you and I take from this? Never try to backstab a gravity user. Mission over. Let's dive into a world where one man's knowledge of the future is the only thing keeping this girl alive. She snaps back that she does not need anyone and would have entered the dungeon solo if she had the choice. Noticing her icy wall, he points out she hates teammates. Then, he drops the bomb. Did everyone she once worked with end up dead? Stunned by that question, Satsuki freezes. She has no idea how this guy could possibly know her darkest secret. She lunges forward, pressing her blade against his throat. With fire in her eyes, she demands to know who told him about her past. He stays calm and silent, refusing to give her an answer. Disgusted, she turns away and sheathes her weapon to keep moving. Done with the talking, she tells him he is free to leave, if he is so worried about the danger. She bolts toward the back of the portal, leaving him behind while he screams her name. Seeing this, the other leader grumbles that his man is still down. In his past life, he only learned her secret after she died. Now, pay attention, this is where everything changes. He yells to his partner that they have to follow Mio right now. He is terrified the same tragedy is about to repeat itself. The other leader steps up and tells them to hold on. He warns that splitting up now would be a total suicide mission. Since one of their fighters is wounded, he argues that the group's morale is already at a breaking point. He keeps pushing, saying staying together is their only shot. But Ikoma ignores him, knowing that girl is going to die if she is alone. It clicks. Ikoma realizes this other group has already written Mio off and has zero intention of helping her. Facing him, the leader explains his logic. He thinks they need to wait for their injured member to recover just to keep the team whole. If he lets Ikoma and his partner go now, he will have even fewer bodies for the upcoming battle. He needs results to prove his group is worth the investment. Since he cannot clear this alone, he refuses to let them leave. Her former teammate scoffs that it is Mio's own fault for being reckless. He says her selfish actions are putting everyone at risk. Ikoma fires back, reminding him that his group was the one that walked right into an ambush in the first place. Seeing how stubborn Ikoma is, the leader drops the act and claims the whole thing was just a big misunderstanding. You and I both know money talks, so he offers 2 million yen to bury the grudge. Ikoma is genuinely stunned. He apologizes, but insists that his group absolutely must walk away with a win to satisfy their corporate sponsors. He asks why he would bother helping someone as arrogant as Mio. Despite his partner's protests, he thinks the mission's payout is worth it. He starts rambling about how hunters are basically the military muscle and the future for massive global corporations. His reputation and funding all come from a major construction firm, and he cannot afford to let those investors down. With a smirk, he says 2 million is cheap for the future he wants. He even suggests they keep working together after this mission. He invites Ikoma to join him in building a massive organization that could literally change the face of the entire country. Even with the promise of more cash, the answer is a flat no. Looking the leader straight in the eyes, Ikoma states he has zero interest in joining that unit. The leader stands there, completely shocked that anyone would turn him down. Shoving him out of the way, Ikoma announces he is going after Mio. Next to them, the injured girl is still struggling to breathe. The leader snaps and grabs his shoulder, shouting about the money. Desperate, he hikes the offer up to a massive 6 million yen. Trying to sway him, the leader explains his vision, but Ikoma only cares about testing the limits of his own abilities. Warning that the talk is over, Ikoma makes it clear he will use force to leave if the guy doesn't let go. With a sinister grin, the leader challenges him. He asks if Ikoma really thinks his support partner is strong enough to get past him. He taunts him, asking if Ikoma is really willing to abandon his partner here just to go off on his own. He suggests it would be better for everyone to avoid a useless fight. Clenching his teeth, Ikoma's patience finally reaches its limit. He is visibly irritated by the leader's attitude. The guy claims the mission is priority, and he doesn't mean to be threatening. Beside him, his partner is annoyed by the fake kindness. She asks Ikoma's level, and he calmly tells her he is level 50. The leader smirks and says that, coincidentally, he happens to be at the exact same level too. With a sharp look, he makes a final proposal. The two of them fight right now, and the winner takes command of the group. Panicked, his partner yells that they are in the middle of a dangerous dungeon exploration, not a sparring match. Gripping his hilt, he argues it is riskier to keep going with all this tension. He asks Ikoma if he is man enough to accept. His partner screams that the whole idea is insane, and they are both going to end up seriously injured. Ignoring her, he turns around and accepts the duel. Trust me, you and I are about to see who really runs this dungeon. His partner watches, realizing that behind Ikoma's confidence lies a power far greater than any of them could have ever imagined. You and I are about to watch a captain so terrified of losing that he orders his allies to stack every buff they have on him. Even though the team is shocked by the desperate request, they follow orders and keep their mouths shut. Starting their prep, the teammates begin cranking up his raw attack, power, and speed. They don't stop there, boosting his defense and magic too. Looking at his hand, he brags about feeling unstoppable with all this power. With a smug grin, he asks if they can finally start a fair fight. Ikoma's partner screams that it's a joke, there's nothing fair about this. He just shrugs it off, explaining there are no rules against using team buffs for a duel. Ikoma snaps back that it's 4 against 2, and tells him to be grateful before his temporary buffs start wearing off. Getting into a fighting stance, he mockingly tells Ikoma that there's still time to surrender if he's scared. With all this pressure, he's hoping his opponent will just give up before things get ugly. Now watch this. Ikoma just stands there looking bored, asking if that was really all he had planned for him. That unexpected chill leaves the other team's captain completely speechless and visibly shaken by the lack of fear. Warning them that he's on a tight schedule, Ikoma says this whole fight will be over in a flash. Infuriated by that audacity, the captain curses him internally while his partner wonders what Ikoma is actually up to. Thinking back, he fears this taunt will push his captain into a blind rage. He realizes he knew Shiraki's class the second he saw those skills. It's the Paladin class, the ultimate commander type, specializing in both crushing offense and ironclad defense. With every buff now active, his power, speed, and defense are pushed far beyond normal human limits. He asks one final time if Ikoma is sure about not surrendering. He thinks he'd have no use for the guy if his skills were actually trash. Sick of the talking, Ikoma tells him to stop stalling and just get on with the fight already. He taunts back, saying he doesn't want to hear any excuses once the dust settles. Faced with that confidence, the captain finally charges. Screaming that he's a total fool, the captain lunges full force toward Ikoma with everything he's got. His partner is stunned, noting he's way faster than expected. Leaping into the air, he brings his massive sword down for a crushing blow. The impact of the strike causes a massive explosion of energy that rocks the entire area. Ikoma is thrown back, sliding across the dirt from the sheer weight of that strike. His rival smiles, thinking he's done. Despite the trash talk, the captain admits he's impressed that Ikoma actually managed to block a hit like that. You and I both know the captain was strong before, but now? He's a monster. Anyone surviving this would have to be legendary. Another explosion goes off, blasting everyone back. His partner realizes he's actually using gravity to negate those heavy blows. Terrified, she just hopes he wasn't seriously injured by that direct hit he took earlier. Not feeling the resistance he expected, the captain realizes Ikoma dodged at the last millisecond. He mocks him, saying he's just stalling for time. The other group member chirps in, saying Ikoma doesn't stand a chance against their raw strength or speed. Boasting about his edge, he claims an individual can never beat an organization. One person can simply never overcome the power of a group. We jump into a flashback here, where he remembers learning this harsh lesson back in school. Back then, he was always the top of his class. The other students would just watch him from a distance in the hallway. Even when he was on the ground, his classmates would taunt him about his perfect grades. They mockingly called him the student council president. He remembers that even though he was stronger, he was always ganged up on. That one lesson taught him that a single person could never truly overcome a group on their own. As he gained experience, he proposed the hunter units. His only goal was to rise above the chaos and grab power. Back in the present, he prepares for the finishing move. Shouting at the top of his lungs, he charges forward to end it with one strike. With a look of pure contempt, Ikoma calls his attitude pathetic. In one swift motion, he lands a clean, perfect hit. Dropping to his knees, the captain finally feels the agonizing pain of the strike he just took. Totally lost, he wonders how he even got hit. Ikoma calmly explains he shouldn't worry, he only used the dull side of the blade. His partner is frozen in shock. She can't believe the captain couldn't even see the attack coming, let alone react. Gasping for air on the ground, he can't wrap his head around how Ikoma was so much faster than his buffed state. Ikoma explains the truth, his body simply can't keep up with that many artificial power enhancements at once. He tells him that raw strength isn't everything. You actually have to know how to control the power you have. And trust me, you and I are about to see how much more he was hiding. He was reading those movements the whole time. Alright, you and I are jumping right into a clash where the captain refuses to stay down. He claims he just let his guard down, and those defense buffs are still active. He roars that Ikoma just blew his only shot at actually winning this fight. Secretly, Ikoma admits he's been holding back because he actually needs this guy alive. Seeing his stubborn pride, Ikoma realizes he has to get rough. Meanwhile, the captain tries to steady his breathing, hoping focus alone can save him. The captain notices his buffs are fading fast, so he decides it's now or never. He prepares to unleash every ounce of power left in his tank. Ikoma simply retorts that the man lacks the combat experience to even stand as his equal. Confused and angry, the captain snaps back, demanding that Ikoma starts taking him seriously. Ikoma warns that his attacks won't even graze him. Hearing this, the captain freezes in absolute shock, his mind racing to process that level of disrespect. He doubles down, telling the captain that not a single strike will find its mark. The captain screams in pure disbelief. Behind them, his partner watches, completely lost as to how the power dynamic shifted so fast. Seeing his leader breathless, the partner has no idea how intense this fight really is. Ikoma realizes the buffs made the captain's moves predictable. He steps back, creating space to finish things with a high-level spell. Pay attention, Ikoma is concentrating his mana for one final devastating blow. He fires off a massive energy blast. His partner watches the sheer scale of the explosion and realizes there is absolutely no way to dodge that. Instead of jumping, Ikoma decides not to waste mana on his reverse gravity technique. Standing by a massive monster carcass, he prepares to absorb the hit. Using gravity, he yanks the heavy beast into the air as a shield. The energy blast slams into the defense with a violent explosion. The captain is floored that Ikoma used a literal corpse to block him. Ikoma explains he chose this exact spot specifically to counter those long-range attacks. Desperate, the captain screams while trying to retreat. But Ikoma is already floating above him, looking down like a god who controls the world's weight. He drifts forward slowly, closing the gap while his opponent waits in position. With a simple tap to the forehead, Ikoma uses gravity to break his balance. Frustrated, The captain swings his sword in a wild, desperate arc. He loses control of his own limbs, feeling a wave of intense dizziness wash over him. As he stumbles, he realizes a gravity spell hit him. Ikoma then points out that the heavy buffs actually made him harder to move. Ikoma unleashes a flurry of precise strikes that give the captain zero room to breathe. Okay, I know what you're thinking. How is he this strong? The captain is wondering the exact same thing as Ikoma holds a blade to his throat. The captain can't fathom how Ikoma's raw base power completely overshadows every single buff he had. It finally clicks. Ikoma is the most talented hunter he's ever seen. Even the partner admits from the sidelines that this whole situation is just insane. He wonders how Ikoma became so much more powerful than a veteran captain. The captain staggers, still believing this raid is for his team's growth. He lets out a final, soul-shaking scream, refusing to accept defeat. Seeing the desperation, Ikoma tells him it's over because the buffs are finally timing out. The captain is left speechless by the news. He launches one final, suicidal charge through the air, putting everything into one last strike. With a fluid motion, Ikoma spins his blade, perfectly timing his final countermove. He parries the sword and slams the hilt into the captain's forehead. The man's eyes go wide, unable to believe he's actually lost. He hits the dirt hard, finally and completely defeated. Standing over him, Ikoma explains that short-term buffs are easy to forget in the heat of battle. He then commands everyone there to follow his lead. He tells them to lay low and vanish the moment the girl is back on her feet. Suddenly, Satsuki arrives, complaining that they wasted Ikoma's mana. She grins, threatening to drain Shiraki's energy as a little bit of payback. Seeing the sheer terror on their faces, Ikoma tells her that won't be necessary. She gives the group a casual wave goodbye. While healing Ikoma, she mutters that this whole trip was a waste of their time. The captain still tries to stop them, but Ikoma coldly reminds him that he's already rejected their proposal once before. He makes it clear that he couldn't care less about their corporate hunter units. Since he knows the future, he reveals their company will never amount to anything. He asks why anyone would ever trust them for help. He tells the man to start over from nothing. The captain is stunned into silence, having no comeback for that harsh truth. As they head for the portal, Satsuki asks if he was the one who told them to attack, and that's where we leave things with Ikoma walking away, explaining that he had far deeper reasons for sparing the captain's life. Alright, you and I are about to see some wild floating islands in the sky. Across the way, the party realizes their mana is completely drained. Even while bleeding out, he insists he can still stay in the fight. He's beating himself up over having 0 points, wishing he'd shown off his true power. In the silence, he senses his teammates' fear of being dead weight. He gets it, he remembers what it feels like to be tossed aside. Satsuki just stares at him, softly calling out his name. With a warm smile, she vows she'll never leave him behind. As they sprint off, he realizes the dungeon boss must have evolved. He's dragging Mio out of there, even if she hates his guts for it. Deep inside the cavern, a massive shadow looms between the stone pillars. Suddenly, a colossal nightmare drops from the ceiling, straight for Mio. Even with her veteran instincts, she can tell this boss monster is built different. The beast slams down, kicking up clouds of dust as the level 80 cursed queen roars out. Finding some demon stones, he examines them closely just to be sure. That's when he spots signs of a fresh battle and recently slaughtered monsters. Satsuki wonders why the stones were left behind. These things are basically monster hearts, packed with pure mana and worth a fortune as energy. They sell for crazy money. She asks if that story about Mio was real, since he's usually kept in the dark. He mentions some dark rumors. Apparently, her entire party was wiped out the moment she became a professional hunter. Satsuki finally gets why she's such a lone wolf now. Based on her face, he knows the rumors are true. She demands to know where he heard those stories about Mio. Panicking, he claims he was just doing research for recruitment. Then he remembers the truth: she actually died trying to save his life. Satsuki snaps at him, asking if he's in love with Mio. With no sign of her, they push deeper into the cave. Now, pay attention, the path ahead is deadly, but he's charging in anyway. Just then, a massive beast emerges with an earth-shaking roar. Looking at its level, she realizes she's totally outmatched here. The creature lunges, opening with a deadly strike. She barely rolls away, feeling the wind from that crushing blow as it narrowly misses. In that split second, she truly understands the terrifying speed of a level 80 monster. She wants to call for help, but there's no way past this monster. If she runs, the others will get caught in the crossfire. Thinking of the group, she decides she has to face this danger alone. She steadies herself. Her only shot is putting everything she's got into one final strike. Even with a plan, she's terrified. Can she actually take down something this strong? A vision of a dead comrade appears, asking if she's ready to die. She shakes it off, visibly rattled in the heat of battle. You and I need to watch this closely. She locks onto the beast as it starts conjuring several massive spheres of glowing, destructive energy. With its power peaked, The monster fires 4 energy spheres right at her. The pressure is insane, but she realizes the attacks are powerful, yet surprisingly slow. She lunges forward, timing her dodge for a counter. She leaps high, clearing the spheres to position herself for a devastating direct hit. This is it. She feels a surge of confidence that she can end this now. The monster is wide open, and she blasts it with a massive wave of energy. But as she's thrown back, she's stunned it didn't work. The creature doesn't even move, just watching her struggle back to her feet. That look in its eyes, she realizes the monster is just playing with its food. Fuming, she realizes it let its guard down on purpose just to mock her. She screams, cursing the beast for this humiliating disrespect. She charges in for another round, swinging her sword down from above, trying to shatter the monster with everything she has. Tapping into a new surge of power, she's ready to show her true worth. The monster just crosses its claws to block. When her strike connects, the impact triggers a massive energy explosion that shakes the room. She screams that she won't quit, but the beast stops her cold with its claws. To break its defense, she literally burns her own life force. With a desperate howl, she charges the monster one more time. The counterblow slams her into the dirt. She cries out in despair, unable to believe her ultimate move failed. With a deafening roar, the monster attacks with even more terrifying speed. It wasn't even trying before. In a blur of motion, the creature's claw tears right through her shoulder. You and I can almost feel that pain as she screams in agony. Then, the beast just slams her body into the cave wall. All right, let's dive into a battle where every second counts. A blinding flash erupts, and with one final impact, her weapon is sent flying out of reach. The entire cave floor trembles from the sheer. She lies there, her body screaming in pain as consciousness fades. It is a total miracle she even survived that devastating blow. Her vision is blurred. She wonders if that monster is still nearby. The beast lets out a deafening roar, slowly closing in. Despite the terror, she forces herself up to face the creature. Suddenly, we see a girl sprinting through the rain in a ruined city. She reaches a massive gate and pauses, taking it in. Just then, a group of hunters appears out of nowhere, catching her completely off guard with their sudden arrival. She meets their gaze with pure determination. One hunter shouts a warning, telling her she cannot stay because of the monsters nearby. She begs them to let her in, explaining that this ruined place is actually where she lives. Stunned by her words, he is speechless for a second before stepping in front of her, yelling that she cannot pass. Seeing her desperate reaction, he shouts for her to just wait a single moment. Now pay attention, because this next part, it's heartbreaking. She sees her parents lying still on the living room floor. She wonders why monsters take everything. Fueled by a dark power, she stands back up, ready to keep fighting. The monster lunges for a strike, but she barely manages to brace herself and block the hit. Backing away, she tells the creature she's reached her limit. Suddenly, with her health low, a death aura ability sparks to life. The aura is a clever trick, letting her fight until her mana hits 0. She knows this monster will just regenerate soon. Determined to go out swinging, she charges forward, aiming to rip a limb right off the beast. Blades clash as she defends against another assault. Then, the monster strikes with its claw, putting everything into the blow. Sliding backward, she feels her mana reserves draining rapidly with every single move she makes. She cannot stop now. She has to keep attacking. Meanwhile, the monster prepares to launch spheres of dark energy. Dodging the spheres, she realizes the monster is only getting stronger and attacking with even more violence. One blast comes straight for her head. With no time to dodge, she can only brace for the impact. Despite the explosion, she pushes on, refusing to quit. She raises her weapon and successfully blocks the monster's heavy blow. She notices it used its own arm as a shield. Screaming with everything she has, she believes she can win. After the impact, she wonders if that strike finally did some real damage to the creature. But the monster counters, landing a brutal hit with its other claw that sends her tumbling to the ground. Looking up, she realizes the worst has happened. Her mana has completely run out. You and I can see she is at her limit facing that monster with 0 mana. Is this really the end? In a flashback, a friend tells her she is just a burden before asking if they can finally stop to rest. Limping, she complains about her aching feet. Back in the present, Mio vows to kill every monster in existence. She then walks away, declaring she will never enter another portal with her again. Turning her back, she tells her friend to just stop bothering her. Then, a hallucination of that friend questions Mio. Haunted by the vision, Mio can only whisper her friend's name in despair. The friend asks if she is finally ready to join her. Mio covers her face and whispers yes. The beast roars for a final kill, but suddenly, a shadowy hand appears and grips the creature tight. Shouting out, Satsuki warns that she will not be able to hold the monster back for very long. He thanks her, saying she has done enough. Now, he finally prepares to step into the heat of battle. With an intense glow, he triggers his ultimate ability. In a massive explosion, Ikoma appears, holding Mio safely. He quickly carries her away, moving to a safe distance alongside Satsuki. Once they are hidden, he admits they got lucky. Satsuki looks on, worried about Mio's fading consciousness. Breathing hard, she says they need to treat those wounds. Meanwhile, the monster is nearby, angrily searching for them. He says they have to run, but Satsuki thinks escape is completely impossible now. The giant creature takes a step toward them, reaching the exit first and blocking their only way out. Checking the map, he notes the monster is actually smart. Mio weakly asks why he came, since winning is impossible. He rubs his head, complaining that's exactly what he's been saying. Trust me, you will want to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are about to see a massive level gap showdown. He tells Satsuki to run, because there is no way they can win this. He offers to distract the beast, but Mio flatly refuses. She says she has nobody left, and is ready for the end. Raising her weapon, she makes it clear she will not let anyone else sacrifice themselves. Ikoma decides to use her own logic to get her moving. Agreeing with her, he says he will not try to hold her back from the front lines anymore. Instead, he shocks her by saying they will win this together. With a grim expression, he says this is their only shot. Satsuki screams that she is too hurt, and fighting is literally impossible. He tells her to use her skill to restore Mio's mana while he charges in to buy them some time. He steps out, ready for war. Mio tries to warn him, screaming that he has no idea what this monster is capable of doing. He casually replies that he actually knows exactly what is coming. As the monster lunges, the entire cave ceiling starts to shake. Satsuki pulls Mio into a hug, shielding her from the falling rocks. She is stunned by the overwhelming power and the weight of the energy. Now, watch this. Ikoma stands right in front of the beast and refuses to back down. Climbing onto a jagged rock, he stares down the giant beast with pure focus. He declares he is here to fight and finally end this nightmare. Activating her skill, Satsuki begins dumping her mana directly into Mio. Panicked, Mio says he is totally underestimating the cursed queen's power. She warns him that fighting alone is suicide and he is going to die. With a deafening roar, the monster swipes, pulverizing the rock. The beast's massive strikes trigger explosions that rip across the entire battlefield. Pinned against the wall, he braces himself for the next deadly move. Using reverse gravity, he dodges the slam and rockets toward the beast. With one massive leap, he lands right on top of the giant creature's head. He swings his sword with everything he has got. Mio is shocked, seeing him actually hold his own against a monster this strong. Satsuki is just as stunned, saying she has never seen him move so fast. She cannot believe her eyes. Like he knows every single move beforehand. The monster lets out a roar, thrashing its body to shake him off. He lands a perfect strike right in the center of its skull. Pivoting mid-air, he dodges another swipe from the massive creature. The monster charges with everything it has. Enraged, he thinks about how he never stopped having nightmares about that one tragic day. Remembering Mio's death, he says he remembers every detail from that original battle. Think about it. He does not even need to see the monster's moves to know what is coming next. Sensing the attack, he ducks under a massive claw. With a lightning strike, he hits the monster's hand, tearing a piece right off. He mocks the level 80 monster, asking if that is all it has got. Satsuki starts to believe he might actually win this. Mio argues that even if he is strong, the monster's level is just too high. She says he will eventually burn out from spending so much mana. Ikoma knows she is right and is fully aware of the risk. Mio wonders why he restored her mana and how he knows so much. Smiling, he says he is just glad for a shot at revenge. Facing the beast, he says his nightmares finally end today. The monster roars and fires off a barrage of cursed energy spheres. Mio realizes the monster was not even trying against her before. She now sees the monster views Ikoma as a real threat. He charges ahead, yelling that these random attacks will not hit him. Satsuki is confused, wondering why he is not trying to dodge the blast. With a leap, he dives straight into the middle of the energy balls to strike. A massive explosion erupts as the monster's attacks collide. Looking the creature in the eyes, he says he has waited a long time for this. Surrounded by a dark aura, he prepares to go all out. The monster roars, readying its lethal claws. Leaping high, he avoids the swipe and gets ready to counter. He lunges with his weapon, landing a heavy, precise blow. He quickly dodges another attack. Mio cannot understand how a B-rank hunter is this skilled. Despite his strikes, the monster's health is still way too high to go down. Clenching her fist, she realizes the monster's defense is insane. She decides she must use her ultimate skill to end this fight. Mio says Ikoma must be exhausted and they can't help. She realizes she is the only one who can keep this fight going. Activating her death aura, she tells the others not to worry. She explains this ability lets her fight forever, as long as she has mana. Now Ikoma's plan finally makes sense. Stepping forward, she says this ends now. In a vision, her friend asks if she is okay fighting beside other people. Taking a deep breath, you and I are about to watch her prove that she finally has teammates she can rely on. You and I are watching a warrior who refuses to lose this fight. With a thunderous roar, the beast charges forward. Together, they combine their elite skills to launch a devastating counterattack against the creature. She is surprised, noting he seems to know everything about her specific class. He confirms it, even mentioning her ultimate move. She admits she can't use it because it kills her mobility. Suddenly, the monster launches a barrage of energy spheres right at them. He shouts that he will buy her 5 seconds. Despite her doubts, she prepares her power while he charges in. She leaps away, dodging a massive strike to gain ground. But as the next attack nears, she realizes her move won't be ready. Trapped and cornered, she braces herself for the monster's crushing blow. With a quick touch, he launches her skyward. Then, using reverse gravity, he redirects the monster's own attack back at its face. The impact is massive, exploding and shaking the very ceiling of the cave. As the gravity shifts, the two start floating upside down. Confused, she wonders what kind of magic is messing with the physics here. Now pay attention, this is where the teamwork gets insane as he throws her toward the beast while a shadowy hand pulls it down. He strikes with his sword, putting every ounce of strength into the blow. From the shadows, Mio's friend watches in total shock. With one final surge of power, he pins the creature down. She realizes the cursed queen is finally trapped and open for a killing blow. Feeling confident, she prepares her ultimate move. Since her health is low, the damage output is going to be off the charts. Even though she is frozen, she plans to drop right onto the monster. He yells for her to strike it as their last shot. Her ability flares to life as she charges forward with world-shattering power. A massive explosion rocks the room as the final blow connects. Beaten and broken, the monster finally collapses under their combined strength. Sliding across the floor, she struggles just to stay on her feet. She's reached her absolute limit. Even with the monster down, she wonders if they actually won. You saw that too, right? This beast is just pretending to be defeated so it can launch a deadly surprise attack. The creature fires a concentrated beam of deadly energy. Everyone is paralyzed with shock. With no time to dodge the surprise attack, she can only close her eyes and wait. Completely drained, she knows this hit is fatal. But then, he steps in front, ready to shield her with his life. He knows he has to deflect this projectile to save everyone here. Concentrating hard, he infuses his sword with gravity. With an intense glow, he miraculously parries the energy beam with his blade. With one last strike, he shatters the monster's attack. The giant beast lets out a final roar before fading away. Thinking back, he says that specific skill has never left his mind. He moves forward, never forgetting the tragedy of that day. With a flash, he prepares the true finishing blow. Using a magic circle, he pins the creature to the ground forever. Yelling that it is finally over, he unleashes every bit of his power in one blinding, legendary strike. Points flood in, and he levels up several times from the massive win. Satsuki celebrates the victory with a smile. Relieved, he admits he wasn't sure if his plan would actually work. Watching Mio from afar, he is just happy she survived. Her death was always one of his deepest, darkest regrets. Looking at her hands, she realizes she is alive. She is confused. How did she survive such certain death again? With the image of her friend in mind, he watches the situation unfold. Suddenly, a girl screams in agony. She has a terrifying vision of her friend being dragged deep into the endless sky. Clutching her head in pain, she winces. Satsuki rushes over, asking if she is okay. Ignoring her injuries, she tells him to back off. In her mind, his presence reminds her of her lost friend. She explains that she can feel her friend's resentment burning into her. Her friend tells her she won't be coming along this time. Closing her eyes, she seems to accept her fate. He finally understands why she refuses to join any parties or groups. Everything makes sense now. Satsuki asks if she is truly sure her friend hates her. Trust me, you and I just learned her friend's death was absolutely no accident. Let's dive into a moment that proves some sacrifices are just too heavy to bear. With a pained look, she drifts back to the past. The school bell rings, ending their final class. Her best friend asks if she is truly dropping out of school. She recalls how her friend understood her situation. Now an orphan, she explains that the government's help is useless. To survive, she decides to become a hunter. Then, with a shout, "Stick with me," because her friend is about to make a choice that changes their lives forever. Stunned by the declaration, she is speechless. Later, her exhausted friend begs her to finally head back home. Annoyed, she snaps that her friend lacks what it takes to be a hunter. Gripping her hand, the girl begs her to stop. She asks Mio if she really thinks she would abandon her. Looking away, she remembers those words. Screaming for her to hang on, her friend promises to get her out. With a leap, her friend pushes her away from danger. "Watch this," she smiles. Happy Mio is safe, while Mio kneeling believes she is hated. He tells her to stop lying and being so unfair. Her friend would never rest in peace with that attitude. She remembers claiming that no one would ever cry over her own death. He asks if she would understand if he cried for her. He knows her friend would have wept, too. Eyes full of tears, she is speechless. Her friend's final words? She was happy Mio was safe. She worried about Mio being alone. She knew Mio needed her to keep going. She begged her to live and be happy for both. Sobbing, she remembers those final words. Trust me, we won't forget her name.